Chapter 751. He gently dodged the giant beast's attack and slapped it away. Levi stepped on the giant beast's head, immobilizing it. As usual, he extracted its bloodline and tested it. The skin displayed the green iguana bloodline at 68%, the titan snake bloodline at 54%, and the jade dragon bloodline at 1.5%. It actually contains the jade dragon bloodline. Although it is not of much use to me now, it is not bad to collect it to fill the extraordinary bloodline library. Take it all away. With Levi's realm and the richness of the dragon clan's bloodline, it was not difficult for him to tame these ordinary first circle mixed blood dragons. Before long, Levi sent the green-scaled beast into Alice's ring. This giant beast was most likely a new species. Levi named it the Jade Dragon Lizard. The existence of a mixed blood dragon clan is a good sign. This plane is probably also a plane left behind by the dragon clan. There should be other mixed blood dragon clans. I have a plan for my breathing technique secret medicine. According to Levi's research and experiments during his time in the human world, after the fusion, his current 6-dimensional breathing technique required a certain amount of secret medicine compared to before. Take the Crimson Emperor Dragon breathing technique as an example. It was a combination of King Kong, Red Lotus, Black Whale, and Dragon Demon strength breathing techniques. Before the fusion, the secret medicine Levi needed to cultivate these 4 breathing techniques was very mixed. The Frost Giant and Saint Ape of the King Kong breathing technique, the Ostrich Mountain of the Dragon Demon and Musk Bull, the Red Lotus, the Black Whale, and so on, all required specific secret medicines to cultivate. Every ingredient was important. After the fusion, all the breathing techniques combined into a dragon element breathing technique, the Crimson Emperor Dragon, created by Levi. The benefits were obvious. The main ingredient for the Crimson Emperor Dragon's breathing technique cultivation became the bloodline of the fire element mixed blood dragon clan. Based on satisfying this condition, the higher the level of the mixed blood dragon clan, the better the cultivation effect. As for the complicated Frost Giant, Holy Infant, Black Whale, and Ostrich Mountain Bird, they became secondary materials. Compared to the main ingredients, the quality of these secondary ingredients was insignificant because they had a lower effect on the cultivation speed of the breathing technique. Even without them, the effect remained minimal. He had the proficiency panel, so in theory, he could cultivate without the secret medicine, but the speed would be too slow. Therefore, Levi's goal for infiltrating the alternate plane was clear. Other than various medicinal herbs and minerals, he needed various types of mixed blood dragon clan creatures to enrich his bloodline library. As for the Crimson Emperor Dragon, Levi only had a second circle dragon finch to support him. It could not keep up with his strength. He was not in a hurry for the wind and lightning attribute sky dragon for the time being. He could still cultivate the third circle wind thunder winged dragon for a long time. As for what the golden snake, death ember, and scarlet dragon needed, they were special. So far, the main ingredients for the golden snake's secret medicine had come from Gustav of the water element and the three-horned dragon, king of the earth element. The golden snake breathing technique still held room for fusion and advancement. There were perfect and excellent defensive breathing techniques in the library he had mastered. When he had time, he would cultivate them and fuse them with the golden snake again to mutate a stronger breathing technique. Otherwise, the golden snake felt a little low. It paled in comparison to the Crimson Emperor Dragon in the strength dimension. As for the scarlet dragon breathing technique, whether it was the blood beasts that focused on blood or the jade dragons that focused on poison, they did not have the usual elemental attributes. After Levi studied it, he categorized it as a negative energy attribute based on the classification of various factions by wizards. Unfortunately, negative energy attributes were rare. If he wanted to solve the problem of the Scarlet Dragon's secret medicine, he might have to go to Hell, the Abyss, the Underworld, and other places where negative energy gathered to search. Currently, the Scarlet Dragon's secret medicine was mainly made up of Blood Clan and ordinary Dragon Clan bloodlines. In the end, the Death Ember breathing technique, which was mutated by the Undying Bird and the Ash Dragon, might be from the Dragon Clan, but its main secret medicine could not be separated from the critical first circle Undying Bird. The powerful self-healing ability of the Undying Bird bloodline was the core of the Death Ember, Earth, Fire, Wind, Water, Thunder, and Negative Energy Dragon Clan, coupled with the Undying Bird bloodline, were all goals that Levi would have to fight for over a long time. As his breathing technique changed, it might increase or decrease. In the following days, Levi wandered in the primeval forest for half a month. There were too many medicinal herbs and resources here, and he could not stop himself from collecting them. No, it is time to get down to business. I cannot waste time searching for materials. It is better to let the knights do this in the future. Collecting resources is a matter of strength. No matter how fast I collect them, it is a waste of time. Levi released Keku from Alice's ring, watching the lizardman regain his bearings. Take me to the nearest gathering place. After Keku came out of the ring, he could not calm down for a long time. There was such a real small world in the ancient Saint Lord's personal space. In the small world, there was the sky, earth, and the sea. There were also many powerful transcendent creatures. Keku had been inside, trembling in fear, afraid of being beaten. Now, he was finally out. The ancient Saint Lord's ability was like that of a god. It was unfathomable. In terms of transcendent technology, compared to the wizard civilization, the ancient saint civilization was similar to the difference between primitive and modern people in Levi's previous life. According to Kiku's knowledge, a few years ago, there were two ancient saints who fought over an ancient magic ring with a storage function. In fact, the storage ability of that ancient magic ring might not have been 1,000th of Levi's Alice's ring. That was why Kiku was so surprised by the small world in Alice's ring. 3 days later, Kiku led Levi to the nearest crawler's gathering place in the ancient Saint Empire, Black Line City. The one who ruled the city was the Black Line tribe. It was a large tribe. Their commander, Lord Blackline, was an ancient serpent-level expert. To be honest, Kiku's knowledge of this plane was limited. There were many things that he knew nothing about. If Levi wanted to explore this plane, he had to come into contact with the higher UPS of the ancient Saint Empire. Only then could he obtain more plane knowledge. Kiku, do not tell anyone that I am an ancient saint. I do not want to attract attention on this mission. Levi retracted his ancient saint aura and looked at the black city in the distance. He did not know much about the situation in the alternate plane, so he could not be too ostentatious. Understood, Lord. Kiku nodded. The master and servant quickly headed toward Black Line City. Chapter 752. Black Line City, constructed from dark giant stones, exuded an ancient, rugged aura. The place gave off a sense of barbarism. The origins of this city dated back countless years. It was impossible to verify its exact age. The current lord, Lord Blackline, defeated the previous lord 100 years ago. He led his tribe to seize control of the city and renamed it Black Line City. The ancient Saint Empire was the earliest name for the ancient Saint civilization. During that time, the ancient Saint Empire existed as a truly unified nation. The founder of the empire was the first ancient saint in the history of the ancient Saint civilization, later known as the initial ancient saint, Yuan Tuo. Before the emergence of this initial ancient saint, crawlers were merely weak creatures that served as prey for ferocious beasts. With the appearance of the initial ancient saint, he rose to power like the protagonist in a novel. In just 100 years, he went from being a tribal chief to conquering in all directions, assimilating other tribes, and ultimately forming the unified ancient saint empire. The title Ancient Saint originated from that period. Crawlers believed that the initial ancient saint was a holy snake envoy born with the will of the holy snake, a god sent to save crawlers from the challenges of their existence. Regardless of whether the initial ancient saint was truly a holy snake envoy, after the emergence of the ancient saint empire, crawler civilization continued to prosper. They evolved from being prey for ferocious beasts to beings capable of contending with them. The initial ancient saint established a unified crawler language and script. He transformed tribes into city-states. He also passed down many methods that directly connected to the ancient saint, collectively known as the ancient saint laws. With the support of the ancient saint laws, crawler civilization could give birth to ancient bloodline beasts comparable to ancient beasts in each era. These beings were considered ancient saints. Thanks to the protection of these ancient saints, crawler civilization has endured to this day. During the peak of history, in the later years of the initial ancient saint, there were a total of 18 powerful ancient saints of the same era, known as the 18 saints of the empire. The 18 saints united around the initial ancient saint. Under his leadership, they not only addressed the great challenge of ferocious beasts weighing on crawlers, but also proactively expanded, conquering new territories. However, with the disappearance of the initial ancient saint, the once unified crawler empire faced the fate of city-states and lords. Much like numerous human empires in history, the region became embroiled in chaos. Afterward, there was no longer an exceptional powerhouse like the initial ancient saint, capable of subduing numerous ancient saints, unifying all tribes and city-states, and establishing the absolute unity of the ancient saint empire. City-states and lords holding sway became the prevailing theme of the present ancient saint empire. Each city-state represented a tribal society of small nations and few people, with its lord possessing absolute rule and authority over the city-state residents. As of today, the number of city-states in the ancient saint empire has reached hundreds. Powerful tribes often established their city-states. With the city-state as the center, they delineated a territory. Non-tribal crawlers within the territory were considered foreigners. Their status within the city was lower than that of the locals. After the disappearance of the initial ancient saint, continuous wars between city-states plagued the land, leading to unending suffering for the inhabitants. Small tribes, like Chief Keku's, were forced to risk their lives, barely surviving in the primal forests where ferocious beasts roamed. Compounded by beast invasions, the ancient saint civilization had significantly declined compared to its peak period. Currently, only 13 ancient saints held sway over different territories, making it difficult for them to unite. Moreover, the ancient saint empire faced the constant threat of powerful enemies. To the south of the ancient saint empire lay a vast sea. Within it, several civilizations rivaled the ancient saint empire in strength. The most notable was the Mosasaurus Empire, established by ancient saints who had defected from the ancient saint empire. Leveraging the rich resources of the ocean, they prospered and repeatedly encroached upon the borders of the ancient saint empire. In the northern reaches of the ancient saint empire, within the vast and endless Yuntus Mountains, a rising powerful empire had taken root. The Wind God Empire, founded by the feathered people, was considered by crawlers to be their descendants, albeit mutated. Almost all members of this race possessed the ability to fly. They rapidly established dominance in the Yuntus Mountains, and currently disturbed the northern borders of the ancient Saint Empire. Within the ancient Saint Empire, only a few powerful ancient saints, particularly those led by the skybreaking ancient saint, could effectively harm the feathered people and engage in aerial combat. Inside Black Line City, Levi and Keku sat in a tavern, sipping on the crawler's intensely bloody blood demon wine. An old man named Cain discoursed on the past and present history of the ancient Saint Empire and the current situation. Cain, once a librarian in a city-state where an ancient saint resided, found himself enslaved after the city-state collapsed following the ancient saint's demise in war. His library went up in flames. Eventually, he became a slave among foreigners, experiencing a tumultuous journey that brought him to Black Line City. Due to his cultural knowledge, he became a butler in the Lord's mansion. In his leisure time, Cain frequented the tavern, enjoying a drink, sharing stories, and showcasing his knowledge. Gradually, he gained a degree of renown in the city. Chapter 753. Lord Cain, where did the initial ancient saint go? Levi inquired. Cain glanced at Levi, particularly noticing his crimson scales. The Fire Lizard clan held a relatively high status within the ancient Saint Empire. Even in foreign cities, the Fire Lizard clan faced no discrimination for being outsiders. After all, who would dare discriminate against a powerful tribe that had given birth to an ancient saint? Moreover, it was widely known that the initial ancient saint was born into the Fire Lizard clan, giving them a somewhat transcendent status. In Cain's eyes, Levi and Keku were distinguished young members of the esteemed Fire Lizard clan, venturing out with their green lizard servant. The whereabouts of the initial ancient saint have been untraceable for years. Cain sighed, looking down at his drink. The historical records have been lost due to constant warfare. Ancient saints typically live only 500 years. Some exceptionally powerful ones might have a lifespan of 1,000 years, but compared to the long history of the ancient Saint Empire, it is just a fleeting moment. Therefore, it is highly probable that the initial ancient saint has perished. If the initial ancient saint were still alive, the Wind God Empire and the Mosasaurus Empire would not dare to act recklessly in front of the ancient Saint Empire. The initial ancient saint alone would be enough to suppress these traitors to the crawler civilization. Cain's voice rose with frustration. Lord Cain, are there any nations to the north of the Yintus Mountains? Levi inquired. I am not sure about that. No one has survived crossing the Yintus Mountains. Those feathered people, soaring high and overlooking the earth, are not to be trifled with. Cain shook his head. Levi contemplated the reality. There were only 3 explored regions on this plane: the ancient Saint Empire, the Wind God Empire, and the Mosasaurus Empire. All 3 empires originated from the crawler civilization, though they had diverged. A common challenge faced by all 3 empires was the threat of ferocious beasts. If the neighboring empires can contend with the ancient Saint Empire, then there should be no shortage of ancient saints comparable to Fourth Circle wizards. From the known maps, there are dozens of ancient saints of this level. Even in the wizard world, ordinary middle-level wizard organizations might struggle to produce as many Fourth Circle wizards. The conquest of this plane seems more challenging than I imagined. It is best to proceed carefully. Fortunately, these 13 ancient saints are not united. Maybe I can sit back and watch them clash, supporting a puppet dictator similar to the initial ancient saint. This way, I can control the entire ancient Saint Empire, rule from behind the scenes, and eventually absorb the Wind God Empire and the Mosasaurus Empire. I will explore the broader boundaries of this world. Levi muttered the thoughts to himself. He had already formulated a preliminary plan in his mind. Kid of the Fire Lizard, if you are interested in the initial ancient saint, and if the opportunity arises, you can visit the city-states where ancient saints reside. Black Line City is still a small place, Cain advised. With a satisfied belly, Cain patted his stomach, stuck out his snake-like tongue, and left the tavern. He and Levi chatted amiably. It had been a long time since Cain had encountered a young crawler like Levi, who was willing to listen to his talk. Thank you, Lord Cain. Levi smiled. In the tavern, Levi and Keku continued to enjoy some light drinks. Lord, where are we heading next? Keku asked. The Lord's Manor. Levi replied calmly. In the Lord's Manor, on the training grounds, a robust lizardman, covered in gray scales and wearing bone armor, swung a large sword. The fierce wind generated by the sword's movements scattered dust and stones across the training grounds. An invisible heatwave permeated the area, creating an extraordinary spectacle. This was none other than the ruler of Black Line City, Monka. Members of the Black Line tribe were powerful black-spotted lizards among crawlers. Known for their formidable defense and natural strength, they were courageous warriors. Lord Monka, there is a fire lizard seeking an audience outside. A servant announced. Fire lizard. Monka furrowed his brow. Let him in. Soon after, a fire lizard, adorned in crimson scales, entered with a rather ordinary green lizard crawler. Greetings, City Lord. The fire lizard respectfully said. What brings you to the Lord's Manor? Monka inquired. I wish to become the City Lord, Levi said with a slight smile. Monka's expression changed. In the next moment, Levi's body shot forward. The true form of a fiery dragon emerged, flames blazing, and runic symbols of strength flickering. Monka raised his great sword and swung it at Levi. His blood boiled, white wolf-like smoke billowed, and scorching flames spewed from his mouth, turning the sword red-hot. Burning heart slash. Monka roared in pain. He knew the visitor meant trouble, so he exerted his full strength. Levi did not dodge or evade. His scaled fist struck the blazing sword. The sword shook violently, cracking Monka's palm open, and it flew away, landing some distance away. The red-hot sword turned the ground beneath it into charred soil within a short period, emitting flames. The temperature was evident. In contrast, Levi's fist was unscathed, emitting only a faint wisp of white smoke. Too weak. In the blink of an eye, Levi appeared behind Monka, his large hand gripping Monka's neck, and forcefully pushed him. Chapter 754. Monka toppled with a thud, his face hitting the ground, sending dust flying. I only need a gentle squeeze, and you will be dead. Levi tightened his grip, his gaze icy. Monka remained pinned to the ground, unable to move. The city lord of Bloodline City possessed limited strength. He proved less powerful than figures like Bo Gang, let alone senior wizards of the Third Circle. Who are you? Monka asked, his voice thick with fear. There is no one like you among the 13 ancient saints. The victor was decided in a single move. The gap between them remained vast. The opponent stood as an ancient saint-level powerhouse. Monka, an ancient serpent-class strongman, accepted that only ancient saints could easily defeat him. Among the current 13 ancient saints, Monka recognized them all. The one before him resembled the Inferno Ancient Saint most closely. The issue remained that the Inferno Ancient Saint usually resided in his own city, the city of Inferno. How could he possibly appear in this modest Bloodline city? Had the Fire Lizard tribe unexpectedly produced 2 ancient saints? It does not matter who I am. What matters is that if you do not behave, you will die. Levi released an ancient saint aura that swept over Monka like a tidal wave. What do you want to do? I do not want to do anything. Stop struggling. Offer up a bit of your soul voluntarily, and sign a contract with me. I will ensure I do not kill you. Otherwise, Levi produced a contract slate. Lizardmen belonged to a humanoid race. Theoretically, a contract with a contract slate could affect them, provided the other party willingly surrendered their soul. Monka saw the slate in the man's hand. He remained ignorant of its specific nature, yet he understood it favored him poorly. With such an overwhelming gap between them, he lacked a choice. I will do it, Monka sighed. Don't worry, I always do what I say. Levi grinned. Shivers crawled down Monka's spine. Monka felt as if calamity had befallen him. The origin of this ancient saint remained a mystery, but his luck had taken a terrible turn. In the end, Levi and Monka signed an unequal treaty. After signing, a certain restraint gripped Monka's soul. If he violated the terms of the contract, his fate would undoubtedly prove miserable, leaving him despondent. Once I reach the 14th level of the Scarlet Dragon breathing technique, I can add another contract slot, making things less troublesome. At the moment, Levi held 2 scarlet contracts. He had given one to Baron Deep Sea Baghdad, and the other to the Blood Clan member Skin. Both remained important to Levi, and he could not easily dissolve them. Outside the door, guards heard the commotion and rushed in. City Lord, is everything all right? A guard asked. No problem. You can leave. I was just sparring with this friend from the Fire Lizard tribe. Monka spoke, though bitterness clouded his tone. This was not a spar. It was a one-sided crush. What does the ancient saint want to do? Why not speak plainly? I, Monka, am just the lord of a small border city, with limited capabilities. With the discerning eyes of an ancient saint, you surely would not have any interest in my remote city-state, right? Monka sighed. You are very clever and pragmatic. Those who understand the situation are the true talents. My goal is simple. I intend to unify all city-states and restore the greatness of the ancient saint empire, Levi said. Ancient Saint Lord, forgive my bluntness, but I believe this goal is shared by the other 13 ancient saints. Since the disappearance of the initial ancient saint, no one has been able to achieve the reunification of the ancient saint empire, Monka said. How do you know if you do not try? Levi said. You can continue being the lord of your city. I was just joking. I have no interest in your lordship. I only need you to act according to my wishes in the future. Levi remained uncertain whether his current strength could secure a victory against an ancient saint. Otherwise, he would have traveled to those city-states where the ancient saints resided to conquer them. A more cautious approach involved controlling an ordinary city lord first. Once he gained a deeper understanding of this world, he could gradually interact with those powerful ancient saints. In the following days, Levi stayed in Bloodline City. As the lord of Bloodline City, Monka knew much more than Keku. From Monka, Levi gained a deeper understanding of the 13 ancient saints. In return, Monka shared with Levi the ancient saint technique he practiced. In a mansion in Bloodline City, Levi sat at a desk. On the desk lay a rough piece of paper made from what seemed like animal hide. The text on the animal hide paper appeared in the common language of the crawler civilization, which Levi had already mastered. In addition to text, the page displayed various poses and actions. After reading it, Levi fell into contemplation. This seemed similar to the inheritance diagram of the night breathing technique. The only difference is that this ancient saint technique only contains illustrations of a little figure. It lacks the depiction of a candle-holding black snake, like the black snake breathing technique. Is it a modified version of the night breathing technique? According to Monka, the cultivation of the ancient saint technique involved using the recorded verses, methods, poses, and actions of the ancient saint technique as a foundation. It also required consuming large amounts of specific ferocious beast meat to obtain energy, transforming the lizardman body, and ultimately achieving continuous physical evolution. Chapter 755. Transform from insect to lizard, lizard to snake, snake to ancient, and evolve into a saint. These are the 4 stages of cultivation in the ancient saint technique. Monka provided Levi with the flame blood ancient saint technique, which he obtained from the ruins of an abandoned ancient saint temple. Practice required the regular consumption of flesh from creatures known as flame beasts. By absorbing the unique flame blood energy from the blood and flesh of these flame beasts, practitioners of the ancient saint technique undergo a transformation of their entire bodies. This process involves refining organs, strengthening muscles and bones, and replacing blood. The ultimate goal is to become an ancient saint. The more powerful the flame beast, the better the effect on the practitioner. At the highest realm, one stood shoulder to shoulder with the kings among flame beasts. One such ancient beast was the flame blood rampage dragon. This powerful creature dwelled underground, often accompanied by molten lava. Within the body of the flame blood rampage dragon flowed the ancient bloodline. The ancient bloodline was the blood left behind by the few ancient kings who stood at the pinnacle of all living beings at the beginning of the world. These ancient kings were Utharos, the Sky King; Deoxys, the Forest King; Uranus, the Ocean King; Mobius, the Underground King. These four ancient kings represented the elements of earth, fire, wind, and water. Each ruled over one of the four ancient kingdoms. Legends claimed they served the Supreme Lord, the Holy Snake. They obeyed the Holy Snake to create and maintain order in the world. At that time, neither the feathered people nor the crawlers existed. Various factions of ferocious beasts roamed the sky, forests, oceans, and the underground. These factions were led by the ancient kings. The ancient Saint Empire, the Wind God Empire, and the Mosasaurus Empire all feared the ancient bloodline. Later on, the powerful ancient empires seemed to collapse overnight, and the four ancient kings fell one after another. The flesh of the ancient kings was consumed by surviving ferocious beasts, giving rise to the first ancient beasts. The crawler civilization likely emerged around the same time. These were the legendary stories of uncertain authenticity that Levi learned from the old man Cain. Everything seemed connected, whether it was the ancient kings, the initial ancient saint, or the ancient saint technique. The ancient wizard who entered this realm likely left a mark. Who entered here, and what was the purpose behind all of this? The drawings depicting the ancient saint technique raised questions. The flame beast meat arrived from Monka's men. It was an ordinary large piece of meat, weighing about 100 kilograms. It was exceptionally robust. Even after being dead for so long, it still emitted high temperatures. This was the source of the so-called flame blood energy. Taking a bit of blood from the sample, he placed it into the rolling crystal. The report displayed 56% crimson fire snake bloodline, 68% stone red lizard bloodline, and 1.5% gloomy lamp dragon bloodline. The gloomy lamp dragon bloodline appeared on the screen. There was no information about this dragon clan in his database. Finding out what kind of dragon clan the gloomy lamp dragon would be a priority in the future. In this world, Levi had already found the bloodline descendants of two dragon clans, the Jade Dragon and the Gloomy Lamp Dragon. Levi researched the supreme holy snake revered by the crawler civilization. Based on the records and descriptions left by the holy snake, it was depicted as a snake with its head and tail connected. It coiled in the sky, constantly rotating, emitting a holy light that dispelled darkness and illuminated the believers, much like the sun. In this regard, there were similarities between the holy snake and Levi's family emblem, the black snake. However, the most prominent feature, the holding a candle aspect, was not seen by Levi. He could not be certain that the holy snake was the black snake. Now, within the ferocious beasts containing ancient bloodlines, he discovered the bloodline of the gloomy lamp dragon. According to legend, the ancient bloodline was the bloodline of the four kings under the holy snake. The gloomy lamp dragon could be the black snake holding a candle. Perhaps the black snake was a high-ranking officer under the holy snake, or maybe it was a disguise of the holy snake itself. Chapter 756. The 1091st year of the Holy Brilliance Calendar, month of Germinal. The 60th year of the Great Expedition. This took place on the Myriad Machine Plane, one of the planes under the jurisdiction of the Wizard Council. A mechanical sun hung in the sky. It consisted of countless metals, gears, and runes. Wizards and mechanical beings of the Myriad Machine Plane referred to it as the Eternal Furnace. Inside the Eternal Furnace, endless fire elemental power gathered and reacted. It transformed into the energy source for the mechanical beings of the Myriad Machine Plane. This stood as the most critical place in the Myriad Machine Plane, the central hub of energy. On the side of the Eternal Furnace, a massive legendary wizard Sky City stood guard. A towering azure wizard tower rose from Sky City. At the top of the tower, a wizard dressed in blue robes stood before a floating crystal ball. Luther, the legendary wizard of the Ocean faction, possessed eyes as deep as an ancient sage. He had engaged in multiple magical battles with the Father of Plagues since arriving in the Myriad Machine Plane. Victories and defeats marked each clash. The opponent proved an extremely tricky evil god. Plague divine power infiltrated everything. Even mechanical beings risked infection. Infected mechanical beings collectively lost control, forming a terrifying tide of intelligent mechanical crisis. However, the recent disturbances from the Father of Plagues seemed to have decreased slightly. Luther felt uneasy. He sensed the opponent brewing a larger conspiracy. Apart from being a legendary wizard of the Ocean School of Thought, Luther, the Deep Blue Sage, also acted as a rare prophet in the wizard community. He sought to unravel mysteries and foresee events using the crystal ball to dictate his next move. The divination reached the final stage. On the crystal ball, vivid and complex scenes flashed one after another. Finally, the image froze on the vast land of darkness, a plane predominantly showing a blue hue. Nora, The father of plagues was a powerful evil god. Even with the methods of a legendary wizard, Luther could only divine this much information. Other details remained impossible to foresee. However, having dealt with the god for many years, the Deep Blue Sage mostly understood the tricks of the evil god. He wants to descend the incarnation of a saint in Nora. This might be a good opportunity to take action. Whether it was an evil god or an orthodox god, they could manifest in a certain plane through the incarnation of a saint. This required the correct god descent ritual conducted by their believers. The strength of the incarnated saint, the power of the god itself, the level of the god descent ritual, the hierarchy of sacrifices, and the level of the plane itself all mattered. The mysterious power of belief communicated all of this. The descent of a god into the incarnation of a saint was not something done casually. The farther the distance, the greater the cost and consumption. Therefore, the Deep Blue Sage felt that now might be a good opportunity. Wait, that guy must be able to guess that I will divine him. Could this be a trap intentionally set by him? I will enter and catch him off guard. But if I do not try, I might miss an opportunity to severely wound, or even kill him. Right, why not consult the mysterious fate coin? A seemingly ordinary coin appeared in the Deep Blue Sage's palm. Fate coin, tell me what to do. The Deep Blue Sage gently tossed the coin. It followed a perfect parabola before landing on the ground, spinning incessantly. In the end, the coin landed with its obverse side up. The Deep Blue Sage's robes fluttered without wind. His eyes flashed with countless stars, reflecting the entire expanse of the myriad machine plane. With a firm expression, the legendary wizard transformed into an endless stream of azure particles, dissipating within the wizard tower. In the original spot, only the fate coin lay silently, with its obverse side facing up. The image on it depicted the elegant and gentle smile of a lady. After an unknown period of time, it seemed as if the agonized wails of a deity echoed through the multidimensional plane. This suggested a colossal battle capable of reshaping the heavens and earth had erupted somewhere. With the terrifying reverberations, the wizard tower trembled, causing the fate coin inside to quiver and reveal its reverse side. On the flip side appeared the smiling visage of the woman, exuding an air of certainty, determination, and courage. The legendary wizard's miraculous fate coin showed only the same side. In a certain location within the myriad machine plane, yellow sand filled the air. Everywhere lay the remnants of mechanical wreckage, parts, gears, and the corpses of rotting green-skinned creatures. This was one of the battlegrounds between the wizards and the Plague Legion in the myriad machine plane. Although the father of plagues was a god, he was also a bona fide inventor. Through various pestilent divine arts, coupled with potent creatures from the multidimensional plane, he controlled, modified, and formed a formidable plague legion. In reality, except for large-scale wars involving legendary wizards, the father of plagues did not need to personally intervene in most plane invasions. Being a divine entity, and the father of all the unclean, it would be quite inappropriate for him to personally descend. Essentially, a plague grand lord, comparable to a grand wizard, leading a certain number of plague legions, could conquer most planes without demigods. Below the grand lord were numerous plague lords, also known as unclean great ones. These plague monsters, equivalent to high-level wizards, were the nightmares of the enemies on the battlefield. This place was originally a base for a wizard battle group. 3 days ago, a plague lord, beyond the intelligence reports, led a vast army to sweep through this area. Many wizards perished on the battlefield, and quite a few evacuated. Chapter 757. Far from the battlefield, 2 alchemical spheres, one large and one small, rolled forward in the midst of swirling sandstorms. The surfaces of the spheres were scarred, and their alchemical components varied in age and condition. I wonder when the war will end. I really want to go back to the endless sea, and see that vast, endless blue ocean. Even my mood would improve, Stella murmured softly. She turned to Herman, whose brow remained furrowed. Herman, are you still worried about the Grey Tower? Yeah, when we left the Grey Tower, without the presence of a third circle wizard, Morpheus would definitely take advantage of them, Herman replied, his voice heavy with concern. Don't think too much. Endure a little longer, and when the war is over, perhaps we can go back. Besides, didn't you say Levi is extraordinary? Maybe he has grown up and can handle things on his own now, Stella said. That kid is indeed extraordinary. I even suspect he might be a primordial soul wizard who reincarnated and rebuilt. Herman let out a dry laugh, his voice lightening as he reminisced about the companions from the endless sea. Unconsciously, it has been 60 years. Yes. The 2 spheres sighed and disappeared into the sandy horizon under the setting sun. Far away, in the mortal realm, the Peacock Kingdom stood as a prosperous and affluent region in the south. In a foul-smelling valley, corpses lay scattered everywhere, many of them human. After the Great Plague last year, many lords and commoners from the south discarded those who died due to the plague here. In a foul-smelling valley, corpses lay scattered everywhere, many of them human. After the Great Plague last year, many lords and commoners from the south discarded those who died due to the plague here. Although some doctors advised these lords to cremate the bodies to prevent contagion, due to ignorance and foolishness, only a minority followed through with this recommendation. Such a perfect place for God's descent. Earl Wilson held a green ghoul claw in his hand, savoring the captivating stench of decay. A delightful aftertaste. For ghouls, dirtiness and the stench of corpses provided the most appetite-stimulating sensation, because only in this way could they express their faith in the Father of Plagues. Every follower of the Father of Plagues, whether ghoul or any other filthy and decaying creature, took pride in becoming an unclean great one by the side of their father god. Get out, and no stealing. These are offerings for the Father God. If these offerings are not enough, go to the nearby cities and secretly capture more. Try not to provoke those human rangers. Although they are not very powerful, now is a critical time for summoning the Father God, and we cannot afford any complications. Earl Wilson's voice echoed through the valley as he commanded the group. Underneath the discarded decaying bodies, countless wriggling entities resembling rotten flesh appeared. Tens of thousands of white maggots surged through this rot, making the decaying flesh look like a beehive. Then, these decaying masses gradually coalesced, transforming into the figures of nobles. The ghoul race, ranging from the lowest tier feeders to barons, earls, dukes, grand dukes, and princes, possessed strength equivalent to a first circle wizard for the majority of these figures. Earl Wilson sensed that if he could rewind time by 100 years, the strength of his subordinates would be enough to sweep through the mortal realm. However, with the resurgence of the Dark Wave, this manpower proved completely inadequate. Even without considering the church, a force seemed to have emerged recently in the mortal realm that opposed the dark creatures and repeatedly disrupted the plans of the Ghoul clan. Miracle Dr. Watson was highly likely to be associated with this covert force. The ghouls needed the guidance of their god to confront this opposition effectively. The day they had been waiting for was approaching. 3 days later, in the valley, the ghouls gathered, accompanied by freshly prepared corpses. These bodies were arranged in a specific array, forming an octagram made of corpses within the valley. Earl Wilson efficiently directed his subordinates. Finally, the sacrificial array for the descent of their god stood ready. Earl Wilson felt a surge of excitement, for he had waited for this moment for a long time. With the leadership of their god, they no longer needed to hide. Ghouls stood beside Earl Wilson, waiting for nightfall to shroud the earth in darkness. Earl Wilson placed the arms of the ghouls at the center of the sacrificial array. The ghouls looked solemn, indistinguishable from the prayers of the church's worshippers. Perhaps these monsters had a purer faith in their god than humans did. After all, except for their god, they were despised as decayed creatures in most planes. Only their god treated every believer equally, without distinction. In comparison, the god of the Church of Holy Light was a false father. You were the source of all plagues. You were the incarnation of all diseases. You were the father of the unclean great ones, great ancestor of ghouls, father of plagues, god of despair and corruption. Descend. With the prayers of all ghouls, the pitch-black night became even deeper, and even the stars lost their luster. After a long time, no response came to their prayers. This left Earl Wilson hesitant. The other ghouls felt doubtful, but the Earl did not instruct them to stop, and they dared not speak up. Chapter 758. The ghouls prayed dozens of times, yet the array showed no response. Boss, what is going on? One ghoul baron asked, his brow furrowing as he looked at the still array. Do not ask, continue praying. It must be that we are not devout enough. Increase the intensity, Earl Wilson said. Okay, the baron nodded. In the valley, time passed second by second. The ceremony for the descent of their god had not succeeded. It is impossible. My rituals, prayers, every step was strictly according to the Book of Ghouls. This book was personally compiled by the Lord Prince of Ghouls, who has even faced the Father God, and received the title of the Unclean Great Ones. Maybe the sacrifices are not enough, Earl Wilson thought. Just as he prepared to send ghouls to nearby territories to capture more people, a star above turned dimly green. The next moment, the light of the god descent array shone brightly. All the corpses, flesh, intestines, rotten bones, and various decaying substances began to hum and tremble. These materials condensed and moved toward the ghoul lord at the center of the array. Before long, a meat mountain towering dozens of meters high formed in the center. Rotten intestines wriggled into the belly of the meat mountain like earthworms. Dense maggots composed the muscles of the meat mountain. Pale bone spikes protruded from the surface, and a strange long tongue emerged from the belly, sniffing around like a snake. A green miasma emanated from the meat mountain, accumulating in the valley. When the terrifying monster, impossible to look directly at, finally took shape, fanatical expressions crossed the faces of all the ghouls. In their eyes, this grotesque green meat mountain appeared tall, majestic, kind, and gentle. Its palm, filled with oil stains, fungi, and viruses, seemed capable of touching the boundless void. Even the stars extinguished in the face of this corrupting force. Earl Wilson fell to the ground with a thud. The other ghouls followed suit. They collectively shouted, God. The head of the meat mountain, with indistinct features, revealed a face that resembled a smiling father. My dear children, I am really, truly grateful to all of you. The heart of the meat mountain was peaceful as it looked at the starry sky. The plague will not be defeated or eradicated. Luther, we will meet again. Levi spent half a year in Black Line City. During this time, he did not engage in battles or military campaigns. He quietly collected and absorbed all knowledge about the ancient saint civilization in Black Line City. On the other hand, he delved into the study of ancient saint techniques. At one point, he considered learning them, but ultimately decided against it. He believed that although ancient saint techniques could give rise to powerful ancient saints, they were not as perfect as the night-breathing technique. He planned to collect more ancient saint techniques before deciding whether to practice this particular method. Soon, Monka's voice called from outside. Lord, I have urgent matters to discuss, Monka said, his voice hurried. Come in, Levi said. What is the matter? The White Scale tribe from Laven City and the Swift tribe from Eat City are advancing toward our Black Spot City. It is said that these two tribes recently joined forces with the ancient serpent, and might be acting under its influence to exert pressure on us. Levi's mind flashed with information about these two tribes. The White Scale tribe and the Swift tribe were the two largest tribes within 1,000 miles, aside from the Black Spot tribe. Both tribes possessed ancient serpent-level powerhouses. Since Monka led the tribe into Black Spot City, territorial disputes had continued for many years with no resolution in sight. Levi had planned to wait until he had time to lead Monka in eliminating these tribes, integrating them to form a powerful army to face the ancient saints in the future. He had been too busy with his research and had not given it much thought. Now, the opposing forces had come to their doorstep. Prepare for battle. I will fight as one of your generals for now. Do not reveal my true strength yet, Levi said with composure. Understood, Lord. It is up to you to decide, Monka said. Cain and Levi had been discussing the unification of the ancient saint empire at Monka's mansion during this time. Initially, Monka thought that the ancient saint lord was joking, but later he discovered that Levi was serious. This nameless ancient saint powerhouse was genuinely determined to unify the ancient saint empire, achieving a feat that no one had accomplished since the first ancient saint. Outside Black Spot City, Monka rode a massive beast resembling a rhinoceros. The cold, lizard-like pupils of the beast peered forward at the vast army. By Monka's side, an armored lizardman covered in red scales rode another beast, his expression indifferent. Monka, the clan leader of the Swift tribe, and I are here today on behalf of the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint. Our three tribes have been in conflict for years, evenly matched with no clear victor. It is meaningless to continue like this. The Cyan Scale Ancient Saint has set its eyes on our territory. Take my advice and surrender. Ultimately, this world will be divided by the Ancient Saints. Under the Ancient Saints, all are mere ants, the leader of the White Scale clan said. White Scale, your tribe has produced ancient saints in history. Are you willingly bowing down like this? Willing to be someone's lapdog? Even if I, Monka, am no match for the ancient serpent, I would rather die in battle than lead my subordinates to surrender, Monka declared with great determination. Chapter 759. He kept a hidden ancient saint powerhouse by his side. Otherwise, Monka would have surrendered long ago, given his astute nature. Monka, with the strength of your clan alone, how can you match the combined forces of our two tribes? Stop this meaningless struggle and surrender, the Swift clan leader urged. Don't waste words. Come at me together, and I will roast you with the endless power of scorching heat. Monka stood fearless. On the city wall, Cain, one of Monka's commanders, gripped the stone railing. This battle might be more ominous than auspicious. With only Monka, how can he stand against two ancient saint-level powerhouses? That fire lizard lad, why is he rushing onto the battlefield? He is just causing trouble. Over the past few days, Levi had approached Cain as a seeker of knowledge. He maintained a mild and humble attitude, entirely different from the arrogant demeanor common to the fire lizard tribe. Cain had assumed that Levi was a cultured person like himself. He never expected this youth to quietly follow the city lord onto the battlefield. Well, since that is the case, there is nothing more to say. We have given you the chance. The Scales clan leader sneered. Time is of the essence. Let us quickly take down Blackline City and report back. The Swift clan leader led his lizardman army toward the battlefield. The Swift lizards possessed astonishing speed. The clan leader, a practitioner of the Rift Sky Ancient Saint technique, turned into a blur. He wielded a long sword and tore through the battlefield, heading straight into the fray. Ha ha ha, this is exhilarating. The Swift clan leader laughed, thoroughly enjoying the slaughter. On the other side, Monka engaged in a fierce battle with the White Scales clan leader. Black and white figures clashed on the battlefield. No lizardman dared to approach the combatants. This is the power of an ancient serpent powerhouse. Although it is far from an ancient saint, it is still enough to slaughter these ordinary lizardman armies, Cain remarked, his voice trembling. Having witnessed battles at the ancient saint level, he felt little surprise at this minor skirmish. The Swift clan leader cut down a Blackline tribe member with a swing of his long sword. Suddenly, he saw a fire lizard warrior clad in armor engaged in combat within his army. You seek death. The Swift clan leader plunged into the battlefield. His speed was too fast. Most attacks failed to land on him. Rift Sky Slash. Using his own ancient saint technique, he executed a devastating slash that swept through everything in his path. However, the fire lizard warrior extinguished the attack with a single sword strike. Interesting. You can withstand one of my strikes. I did not expect Monka to have invited an ancient serpent-level powerhouse. The power of the Rift Sky exploded. The Swift clan leader's figure suddenly disappeared. Levi, riding a massive beast, watched as the Swift clan leader's illusory figure rotated around him, attempting to confuse him. Fancy moves. The tidal force of Rift Sky slashes surged towards Levi. Explosive sounds echoed through the air. Levi did not directly crush his opponent. Instead, he engaged using the power of an ancient serpent. The Swift clan leader's once confident heart filled with uncertainty. So strong in speed. It compares to my Rift Sky power. Does the ancient saint technique of the fire lizard tribe excel in speed as well? The Swift clan leader began to doubt everything. As the battle progressed, Levi remained unscathed. The Swift clan leader panted heavily, spitting out his snake-like tongue. His body trembled from exhaustion. He knew he was no match for this fire lizard warrior. Even though the opponent was not an ancient saint, the difference was negligible. He began a hasty retreat, turning into a blur, attempting to escape right under Levi's nose. Levi wielded the reforged Frostmourne, pointing the sword to the sky. The power of grey destruction erupted. With a single sword strike, a vanishing crack appeared in the swift lizard army ahead. Any lizardmen in the trajectory of the grey destruction sword light met their demise. Do not run. Levi drew the blood feather bow. A blood imprisonment all appeared on it. With ease, he pulled the level 3 blood artifact. The bow arched like a full moon. The arrow flew like a shooting star. Like a true ancient general, he released the shot. The Swift clan leader, who had been fleeing as an illusion, grunted. The blood imprisonment all pierced through his body, causing immense pain. One by one, more alls penetrated the body of the Swift clan leader. In the end, he knelt on the ground, gazing forward with a vacant look, having breathed his last. Witnessing the sudden death of their tribal leader, the other Swift lizard warriors stood shocked, unsure of how to react. The White Scale clan leader noticed something amiss. Dead. How is that possible? Who in the Black Line tribe can kill the Swift clan leader, known for his speed and agility? A blood-red figure rushed to the forefront of the battlefield. Together with Monka, he besieged the White Scale clan leader. Surrender, White Scale. Look at your subordinates. They are all in fear. Monka shouted. Impossible. Before the White Scale clan leader could finish his words, Levi sent him flying with a punch. He crashed into the ground, causing the earth to crack. White flame. Enveloped in anger, the White Scale clan leader emitted white flames from his entire body, a manifestation of the phosphorus firepower burning within him. If he surrendered, the retaliation of the meticulous Cyan Scale ancient saint awaited him. That would be genuine despair. If you cannot see the situation, then perish. Monka's scorching slash, accompanied by waves of heat, entwined with the white-flamed warrior in battle. Chapter 760. Levi did not continue the battle. He quietly returned to the formation, watching the scene unfold. The time had come to stop. A relatively strong fire lizard ancient serpent had made its presence known. If he displayed greater strength, a new ancient saint might emerge, and all the ancient saints would likely descend to observe the anomaly. It had been a long time since a new ancient saint appeared in the crawler's civilization. Every time a new one appeared, the event became significant, quickly spreading throughout the ancient saint empire. Levi still wanted time to develop. He planned to wait until his Crimson Emperor Dragon Breathing Technique, or Scarlet Dragon Breathing Technique, reached the 14th level before unleashing his full power. In the end, the indomitable White Scale clan leader fell to Monka. Monka stood covered in white smoke, panting heavily, and lifted the head of the White Scale clan leader high. All members of the White Scale clan and Swift clan, surrender or face merciless death. Monka declared loudly. He stood like a god. Vertical pupils radiated a murderous intent that swept across the battlefield. The ordinary warriors of the White Scale clan and Swift clan eventually dropped their weapons. Satisfaction filled Monka. He never expected that he would one day be able to personally take the head of the White Scale clan leader. Perhaps, the Lord's dream of unification was not a fantasy. He was gradually achieving this goal. The long-dormant hot blood within Monka's body reignited. He watched the back of the battlefield where the Lord, riding a huge beast, slowly departed. With the Lord's assistance, I, Monka, can unify this borderland of the Empire within 10 years. Once my ancient saint technique advances further, the Lord and I, two ancient saints together, might be enough to sweep through the entire empire. Images of the future filled Monka's mind. The most terrifying thing about the Lord was that, up until now, he had never revealed his full strength. He only used one move against Monka. Certainty eluded Monka regarding the Lord's upper limit. Of course, the Lord probably remained weaker than the few leading ancient saints. Otherwise, the Lord would not need to hide in this borderland and act low-key. Monka even speculated that the Lord might be a close relative of the Scorching Heaven ancient saint, who had been hidden away, but due to certain issues, they became enemies. In the end, the Lord concealed his identity and plotted revenge. The next day, Levi sat in his study, researching the ancient saint techniques obtained from the White Scale clan and Swift clan. The one from the White Scale clan was called the Phosphor Ancient Saint Technique, and the one from the Swift clan was the Rift Sky Ancient Saint Technique. The former required prolonged consumption of the blood and flesh of an underground ferocious beast called the Phosphor Beast, while the latter needed the Rift Sky Insect. Both of these ferocious beasts were extremely ancient and challenging to hunt. They were also descendants of ancient beasts. Levi speculated that the bloodline of the Phosphor Beast could ultimately be traced back to Mobius, the Underground King, one of the 4 ancient rulers. Meanwhile, the Rift Sky Insect probably had a high probability of being associated with Utharos, the Sky King. All the ancient saint techniques in this ancient saint empire are essentially similar. In the end, they all rely on ferocious beasts inheriting the bloodline of the 4 ancient rulers for cultivation. By devouring these ancient bloodlines, these lizardmen continuously revert to their ancestors, eventually transforming into ancient saints of the ancient beast level, reaching the maximum limit. But clearly, the 4 ancient rulers are far stronger than ancient saints, likely comparable to primordial soul wizards, or even grand wizards. The gloomy lamp dragon, seemingly representing fire, could it be the underground King Mobius? The jade dragon, known for its speed and poisonous traits, could it possibly be the Sky King Utharos? Of course, other dragon clans may have visited this place besides these 4 ancient rulers. My speculations may not necessarily be accurate. I will wait for Monka to send someone to retrieve the Rift Sky Insect and Phosphor Beast. After testing their bloodline, I will know for sure. In Loki Great Grassland, there was a remote land far from Black Line City, where a towering cyan-colored giant city stood on the vast grassland. This was Cyan Scale City. This city was the largest in the western part of the ancient Saint Empire. Compared to Blackline City, Cyan Scale City was even more magnificent and grand. This was the city of the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint. 100 years ago, the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint sanctified here and later became the 12th Ancient Saint. The ranking of ancient saints in the ancient Saint Empire was determined by the strength of the tribes each ancient saint commanded, as well as their achievements in battle and other comprehensive factors. Although the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint ranked 12th, he was exceptionally young, having been only a little over 200 years old, with significant room for future progress. On the throne in the Lord's mansion, a lizardman adorned in cyan scales reclined, resting a hand on his cheek. The ministers below stood silently, not daring to utter a word. A messenger from the winged crawler clan suddenly flew into the hall and prostrate there, trembling. Ancient Lord, there is a battle report from the front. The White Scale clan and the Swift clan, they were defeated and surrendered. The Cyan Scale Ancient Saint, who had been pretending to nap, opened his sharp eyes. What about the two clan leaders? They both died in battle. They were clever, knowing that surrendering would be worse than death, so they chose to die in battle. Two ancient serpent-level beings could not take down a Blackline city. My lord, it is said that a powerful member of the Fire Lizard clan, also of ancient serpent-level strength, appeared by the side of the Lord of Blackline City. I see. Since that is the case, who among you is willing to represent me and march to Blackline City? Chapter 761, Blackline City. In Levi's mansion, Levi received the meat of the phosphor beast and rift sky insect sent by Monka. He utilized the rolling crystal to test the specimens. The ancient rock lizard bloodline measured 57%. The gloomy lamp dragon bloodline measured 1.3%. The giant dragonfly bloodline measured 79%. The jade dragon bloodline measured 1.6%. The results confirmed his suspicion. All the ferocious beasts in this world, traced back to their origins, are descendants of the four ancient kings. The two dragons confirmed now are the gloomy lamp dragon and the jade dragon. As for the other two dragons, Levi still needed to collect more ancient saint techniques and ferocious beasts to identify them. A sudden clarity washed over him. He recalled Monka's words regarding the ancient wizard who entered this place. A few years ago, ancient ruins emerged in the Intis Mountains. Many ancient saint-level experts from the three major empires explored the site. Some died, but others found miraculous items. A magic ring capable of storing many items stood out among the relics. In order to compete for this magic ring, the ancient saints fought fiercely, and blood flowed like a river. For these primitive crawlers, the ability to store ferocious beast meat and other items was a treasure. While many other items came out of the ruins, they remained unusable and incomprehensible to the ancient saints. The magic ring served as the only exception. Levi developed an idea. The crawler civilization does not know what a wizard is, nor have they seen a wizard tool. He could use this spatial ring as bait. He would let the ancient saints who lacked a ring destroy each other, then intervene once the fighting subsided to suppress them. Those who obeyed would offer their souls and sign a soul contract. Those who resisted would meet their end. After the Scarlet Dragon advances, he would enslave one of the most powerful ancient saints with the Scarlet Contract. He would support them to become the lord of the ancient saint empire, indirectly controlling the empire to achieve unity. Next, he would use the ancient saint empire as a stepping stone, move south to suppress the traitorous Sea Crawler tribe, and go north to subdue the Feather tribe in the Intis Mountains. From then on, the explored areas of this world would fall under his complete control, becoming his own resource secret realm. The plan seemed feasible. The current ancient saint empire lacked chaos. The 13 ancient saints remained wary of each other, unwilling to act. Levi needed to ignite this fuse, let them fight each other, and take advantage of the outcome. In the following days, Levi cultivated quietly in Blackline City. The concentration of elemental power in this world surpassed the current earthly realm. His practice of the meditation art progressed significantly faster compared to his time in the human realm. He became determined to turn this place into his stronghold. He knew that with the intensification of the Dark Wave revival, more powerful races and forces would arrive in the Nora plane in the future. If he wanted to preserve this plane, he would need the strength of high-level primordial soul wizards. He had to strive. 1 month later, Monka led a large army and conquered the White Scale clan and Swift tribe. According to statistics, the battle incorporated 15 snake-level experts, over 100 lizard-level experts, and tens of thousands of ordinary insect-level experts. Now, Blackline City dominated this borderland of the empire, becoming a local powerhouse. Monka's reputation spread, and small tribes began to join. The overall strength of Blackline City grew day by day. Levi studied the statistics with surprise. While these lizardmen seemed weak, they represented a force that could not be ignored. A lizard-level expert equated to a first-circle wizard. While not comparable to wizards of the same realm in overall strength, they could contend. In the wizard world, even the Jostar family would appear inferior to Blackline City in terms of first-circle and second-circle combat power. If Levi could bring all three major empires under his command in the future, the Crawler civilization, despite lacking fifth-circle strength, would surpass most fifth-circle wizard organizations. All of this would serve as Levi's reliance for facing the Dark Wave revival in the future. One day, Levi practiced meditation. A restless feeling prevented him from entering a state of concentration. He opened his eyes. The hairs on his arms stood up. Danger loomed. It must be the one coming, Levi muttered to himself. Only an existence above the 4th level could threaten Levi now. In this ancient saint empire, that meant an ancient saint. He thought the Scion Scale Ancient Saint would send subordinates to conquer Blackline City, but the enemy came in person. Levi summoned Monka. Monka stood before him, waiting for instructions. I am going out for a while, Levi said, pacing the room. Strengthen the defense these days. The enemy is coming. Monka's face changed. He paced nervously, his voice tight. Lord, I have not received any information about the Scion Scale Ancient Saint mobilizing troops. He stared at Levi, stunned. Could the Lord possess the ability to foresee the future? Just trust me, Levi said, and he turned to walk toward the door. Monka felt a great sense of impending danger. He possessed complete conviction in Levi now, so he followed the orders without question. Chapter 762. Monka issued his orders. Attention, spread the word. Implement martial law throughout the city. Everyone, prepare to face the enemy. Before long, dark clouds choked the sky over Blackline City, creating an oppressive atmosphere. Kane stood nearby, his brow furrowed. Lord Monka, is there really an enemy approaching? I do not know. Let us wait patiently, Monka replied. Kane leaned in, lowering his voice. Lord, is that powerful fire lizard from the Fire Lizard clan a secluded ancient saint? Monka glanced at Kane and coughed. Do not ask what you should not. You will understand later. Old Kane, a new era is about to dawn, and you should consider yourself fortunate to have boarded my ship, because you will witness history with me. Kane studied his lord. Monka acted strangely, as if someone had injected him with something, or perhaps brainwashed him. All of this likely related to that powerful fire lizard from the Fire Lizard clan. Kane mused, his own curiosity rising. Could another initial ancient saint be born within the Fire Lizard clan? He found himself unexpectedly looking forward to the answer. In the wilderness thousands of miles away from Blackline City, a massive army marched forward, consisting of tens of thousands of individuals. The crawler civilization population remained small compared to the human world, yet every citizen stood as a potential soldier. Therefore, leaders mobilized at least half of a tribe as warriors. In the center of this army, a colossal beast resembling a dragon moved forward. A luxurious sedan chair sat fixed on the dragon's back, carrying a tall lizardman with Scion scales. This figure exuded a domineering presence. It was the Scion Scale Ancient Saint. After the defeat of the White Scale clan and Swift clan, the Scion Scale Ancient Saint originally intended to send subordinates to conquer Blackline City. However, considering the current crucial moment for hunting, he could not afford to fail again. Allowing authority in the western region of the empire to decline would prove an embarrassment, especially in the eyes of neighboring ancient saints. Therefore, he personally led the charge this time. He intended to eliminate the Lord of Blackline City with thunderous means and serve as a warning to others. A nearby general approached. Lord, the other two tribes have already advanced from both the east and west sides towards Blackline City. According to our current marching speed, we should be able to converge tomorrow. The Scion Scale Ancient Saint revealed a confident smile. This time, with 3 armies converging, and my personal intervention, how long do you think it will take to destroy Blackline City? Half a day is sufficient. Too conservative. It will take no more than the time it takes to eat a meal. The might of an ancient saint resembles a natural disaster. Crushing cities and mountains acts as mere child's play. The generals flattered and praised their lord. One general voiced concern. However, Lord, we should be particularly cautious about the nameless expert from the Fire Lizard clan this time. I suspect that he might be a peak-level ancient serpent, akin to a half-step ancient saint. The Scion Scale Ancient Saint scoffed. What half-step ancient saint? Nonsense. There exists no such realm. As long as it remains not an ancient saint, they will not last 3 moves in front of me. Enjoying the compliments, the Lord continued. Speaking of which, the ancient saint of the Fire Lizard clan is indeed extraordinary. In the last battle at the ancient ruins, he single-handedly confronted 2 ancient saints, and even obtained the ancient magic ring. It is a pity. Having such a portable space would make things much more convenient in the future. No need to envy, Lord. The ancient ruins manifest periodically, and there exists more than one ancient magic ring. Other opportunities will arise in the future. As the group exchanged pleasantries, a massive hand descended from the void above the Scion Scale Ancient Saint's head. Endless crimson flames accompanied the giant hand as it slammed down, sweeping across the area. The colossal dragon pounded into the ground, its body bursting apart. Generals who moments ago flattered the Lord either managed to escape the descending hand, or met instant destruction. They did not comprehend the situation before they met their demise. Indestructible armor. The Scion Scale Ancient Saint roared in anger, and looked up at the sky. Beneath the celestial dome, a towering figure ablaze with hellfire gazed down from a commanding height, resembling a dragon overlooking ants. The figure draped in crimson scales remained silent. With 3 heads and 6 arms, each wielding a sword, it descended upon the Scion Scale Ancient Saint, slashing through the army with sword lights spanning tens of meters. The Scion Scale Ancient Saint leaped into the air, using gleaming Scion fists to shatter the sword lights one by one. He cultivated the ancient saint art of Scion steel, relying on the formidable Scion steel beast to form an unyielding armor that defied blades and resisted fire and water. I do not care about your relationship with the Fire Lizard clan. Today, even if the ancient saint of Hellfire comes, he will not be able to save you. The Scion Scale Ancient Saint roared, his ancient saint aura sweeping across the battlefield with an ancient and primitive vigor. Among the army, the ordinary crawlers submitted one after another. Levi sensed the invisible majesty the moment it swept over. So, this is the aura of an ancient saint. I have it too. At that moment, Levi's 5 dragon bloodlines with incensed contempt, as if a switch had triggered. The Golden Snake, Crimson Emperor, Scarlet, Sky, and Death Ember dragons awakened one after another. All the dragon majesties converged, forming a more powerful and irrational tide of ancient saint power, surging against the current. Boom. As this aura swept across the battlefield, occasional lizardmen fell suddenly, astonishing the onlookers. This is the collision between ancient saints. Is this the ancient saint of Hellfire? No, I have seen the Hellfire ancient saint in action, and it is definitely not like this. The science scale ancient saint grunted. His inner turmoil became uncontrollable. What level of ancient saint is this? Even if the first ancient saint were to come, would it not be just like this? The science scale ancient saint felt as if he had returned to his weak childhood, facing an ancient saint high above, just as he did in this moment. After becoming an ancient saint, this feeling surfaced for the first time. Science Steel Break. The boundless power of Science Steel converged around the science scale ancient saint. In his hands, a spear materialized. With the spear, he broke through the imposing aura, rising against the heavens, charging towards the arrogant crimson figure. Levi activated the sea-swallowing whale and giant dragon warrior states. Abundant power surged as the 9 swords Azura Law body rotated behind him. 9 swords merged into one. Slash. Both the Golden Cross Slash and Grey Destruction Cross Slash unleashed simultaneously by Levi. The forces of the Golden Revolving Slash and Grey Destruction power intertwined, forming a black airflow. The airflow coiled around the 9 swords. Crack. The Science Steel spear shattered without suspense. The power of Science Steel disintegrated. Science Steel shield. The Science Scale ancient saint exerted all his strength, letting all the Science Steel power within him burst forth without reservation, forming a shield considered the strongest in the ancient saint empire. The massive Science shield protected the Science Scale ancient saint. Boom. The shockwave created a vacuum in the army, leaving the crawlers within it in ashes. The Science Scale ancient saint, along with the giant shield, cut down to the earth by the 9 swords. The shield shattered with a crack. Lying in the pit, the Science Scale ancient saint gasped, exhausted. The giant shield saved him, but left him with no strength to continue the fight. The expressionless Crimson Giant looked down on him. Do you want to die, or do you want to live? The Crimson Giant asked. Without hesitation, the Science Scale ancient saint replied. I want to live. The figure chuckled lightly. An ancient saint, just so. Chapter 763. The battle with the Science Scale ancient saint proved easier than Levi had imagined. He initially assumed that beings like the Science Scale ancient saint could rival Fourth Circle wizards in strength. He overestimated these ancient saints. They did not stand on par with Fourth Circle wizards or even the level 4 demon incarnation he had defeated before. These ancient saints lacked depth. Ancient saints could not fly. Levi countered their close quarters aggression with ease. Furthermore, beyond their defensive capabilities, the other qualities of the Science Scale ancient saint barely matched a Third Circle transcendent creature. They fell short of the true power of the Fourth Circle. Their attack methods relied on simplicity rather than the intricate complexity of wizard spells. Levi produced the contract slate. Don't entertain thoughts of resistance. Leave your soul imprint on this slate. You will live. I have no interest in killing you. The Science Scale ancient saint hesitated. He had never faced such intimidation as an ancient saint. Yet survival compelled him. He understood compromise. I will do it. As the contract information flooded his mind, the skin of the Science Scale ancient saint turned ash pale. He stared at Levi. Who are you? This soul contract exceeded anything in the realm of crawlers. The one who came to save you from a dire situation. Bring your people, leave this place, and continue to be an ancient saint in your city-state, awaiting my orders. Fine. The Science Scale ancient saint glanced back at his army. His chest tightened. Victory remained elusive, and they had nearly lost their lives. He kept his life, but he surrendered his freedom to another. The nameless ancient saint of the Fire Lizard tribe possessed too much power. Even the Hellfire ancient saint stood in his shadow. Return to the city. Order the other 2 tribes to withdraw. The Science Scale ancient saint gave the order, but generals lay dead or shattered. The survivors stared into the void. They remained paralyzed by the terror of the ancient saint's majesty. The suppression at the bloodline level had petrified them. The ancient saint empire stood on the brink of change. I wonder which ancient saint will face misfortune next. In Blackline City, Monka stood with a grim expression. The ancient saint lord warned him of an army sandwiching the city. Defensive fortifications stand ready. Ancient serpent-level powerhouses await orders. Urgent deployment orders echoed through the streets. Blackline City braced for doom. A crimson figure materialized beside Monka. Monka jumped. Relief flooded him when he recognized Levi. Lord, as you predicted, what should I do now? Wait. An emissary from the Science Scale ancient saint will arrive to propose an alliance. Maintain silence. The danger facing Blackline City will vanish. Monka stiffened, confusion warring with incredulity. The Science Scale ancient saint was withdrawing. A formidable ancient saint retreated before reaching the city gates? In the past, Monka would have dismissed this as fantasy, but after witnessing Levi's methods, anything seemed possible. By the way, Have you found the whereabouts of those ferocious beasts I asked you to locate? I have dispatched experienced ferocious beast hunters from the tribe to investigate their traces. However, for creatures like the nightmare lizard, none of our tribe's elders, including myself, have ever heard of them. Never mind then. If there are other ferocious beasts or ancient beasts, notify me immediately. Levi returned to his mansion. After securing the ancient Saint Empire, I will have to leave for a while. I have stayed here for quite some time, and I need to return to the Endless Sea. I also need to finalize my innate spell. He opened the proficiency panel. Levi, Destruction Sword Chi, 7th level, 7 out of 50,000, special effect, Power of Destruction, level 1. I did not expect that in the midst of battle, I would break through the limits by fusing the Golden Cross Slash and Revolving Slash. In the battle against the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint, Levi unleashed that overwhelmingly powerful strike. A moment of enlightenment struck him. The power of the Golden Revolving Slash and Grey Destruction power fused, forming a grayish airflow. The destructive force of that airflow shattered the renowned Cyan Steel shield of the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint. Levi combined the two sword skills he mastered into a technique of his own creation. The power of destruction stood unstoppable. Anything along the path of the gray airflow shattered. Next, it is time to cultivate my sword skills further. 1 month later, the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint secretly sent someone to establish an alliance with Black Line City. Hostilities ceased. Afterward, the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint and Black Line City joined forces to sweep through other tribes in the west of the empire. Moreover, the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint sent a snake-level Cyan Steel beast he had raised to Levi's mansion as a gesture of goodwill. Chapter 764. Levi learned that the ancient saints in this world cultivated ferocious beasts to aid their practice. Inside a massive cage, a Cyan Steel beast lay lethargic. The creature, covered in cyan scales, resembled a gigantic turtle with a fierce appearance. Levi approached to draw blood for a composition test. Suddenly, the Cyan Steel beast stood up and roared. Levi chuckled coldly, unleashed the might of the 5 dragons, and formed spikes that pierced the spiritual essence of the beast. Levi had comprehended this skill during his battle with the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint, though it remained absent from the proficiency panel. It functioned as a basic technique, concentrating his internal dragon power to launch a spiritual attack. This attack proved potent against all crawling and dragon-blooded creatures. The Cyan Steel beast instantly wilted, as if 5 terrifying dragons roared within its mind. Levi extracted blood from the beast and tested it using the rolling crystal. Cyan Lizard Bloodline 68%, Marsh Crocodile Bloodline 45%, Huangxi Dragon Bloodline 5.3%. A Huangxi Dragon. It turned out to be this dragon. Unlike the mysterious Gloomy Lamp Dragon, this creature represented a legendary level pure blood dragon. Thousands of years ago, a subadult Huangxi dragon caused panic in the Endless Sea. The Star Tower required several high-level wizards to expel it, yet they dared not kill the beast directly. One could kill ordinary mixed blood dragons casually, and subdragons presented few problems. However, pure blood dragons required caution. A single pure blood dragon might seem manageable, but problems arose when more powerful ones appeared. Even the Wizard Council struggled with such creatures. The rising wizard civilization inevitably provoked many enemies. Generally, wizards avoided provoking neutral civilizations like the Dragon Clan. It seemed that Ernest, the Ocean King, was the Huangxi Dragon. Levi had identified 3 suspicious dragons among the 4 ancient kings. The Jade Dragon served as the Sky King, the Gloomy Lamp Dragon as the Underground King, and the Huangxi Dragon as the Ocean King. All 3 belonged to the Pure Blood Dragon clan. As for the Gloomy Lamp Dragon, it might have related to the Black Snake. Levi hesitated because the Gloomy Lamp Dragon favored fire, whereas the Black Snake associated with water. That disparity in attributes remained significant. Of course, the same type of dragon clan could control both water and fire simultaneously. Only one remained. Soon, the secrets of this world would unveil. The Holy Snake, the initial ancient saint, the ancient ruler. Who was the ancient wizard who had entered this place? Time flew, and another year passed. Through the alliance between the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint and Black Line City, the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint became the dominant force in the western region of the empire within 1 year. However, expansion required facing the obstruction of 2 formidable enemies. The 10th Ancient Saint and the 13th Ancient Saint blocked his path. Their territories blocked the way forward. Consequently, the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint halted his advance. Rapid expansion during this year necessitated consolidation. Most importantly, his main supporter, the nameless Ancient Saint, remained in seclusion throughout the year and could not attend to him. The rise of the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint drew the attention of his 2 neighbors. The 8th Ancient Saint resided in the Black Swamp north of the Loki Great Grassland, while the 13th Ancient Saint inhabited the eastern Mora mountain range. Cyan Scale's rise put immense pressure on them. However, the strength of these 2 ancient saints compared to the Cyan Scale. They were wary of each other. In the end, neither made a move, for they feared a battle with the Cyan Scale might benefit the other. In this situation, a tense atmosphere brewed. In Cyan Scale City, located on the Loki Great Grassland, the Cyan Scale Ancient Saint sat on the throne. His territory, larger than ever, failed to bring him joy. The nameless Ancient Saint loomed over him like a mountain, casting a shadow on his heart. One day, he received a letter from the nameless Ancient Saint. He read the missive and fell into contemplation. The nameless ancient saint instructed him to host an unprecedented auction in Scale City. The auction would feature highly coveted ancient magic rings that even ancient saints would flock to bid on. Additionally, other ancient treasures would make an appearance, and there might even be ancient secret techniques capable of breaking the shackles of ancient saints. What was the Lord trying to achieve? This push felt like entering the center of a vortex. The Scale ancient saint felt uneasy. Ranked 12th among the ancient saints, many stronger than him existed. If he attracted those individuals to Scale City, disaster would surely follow. However, the nameless ancient saint assured him in the letter that his life would remain secure, urging him to proceed with confidence. Although reluctant, the Scale ancient saint feared the nameless ancient saint's blame. He had no choice but to instruct his subordinates to prepare for the upcoming auction. To prevent his stronghold from destruction during battles among the ancient saints, the Scale ancient saint chose a large city under his rule to begin preparations. Days passed. Time flew. Another year elapsed. During this year, rumors about the ancient magic rings spread gradually among the tribes and city-states of the ancient Saint Empire. Chapter 765. Rumors spread across the lands that the Scale ancient saint had discovered another entrance to ancient ruins in the Intis Mountains, bringing out various items. Among them were surplus ancient magic rings. The Scale ancient saint urgently needed to expand his influence and intended to auction these precious ancient magic rings to exchange for territory and cities. In addition to the ancient magic rings, the Scale ancient saint also obtained an ancient secret technique. It contained information that could potentially break the shackles of ancient saints. However, deciphering the ancient secret technique was beyond the capabilities of the Scale ancient saint alone. Therefore, he invited other ancient saints to come together and decode it. This news was fraught with loopholes, and those with keen insights could sense that something was amiss. Nevertheless, people tend to harbor a sense of optimism, even though they knew the information might not be entirely accurate or could be a scheme orchestrated by the Scale ancient saint. Some daring ancient saints still prepared to venture forth. The third ancient saint, Skybreaking of the Winged Tribe, was one of them. On the cliffs south of the Intis Mountains, a great rift separated the territory of the Wind God Empire from that of the ancient Saint Empire. A towering city, Lonely Wind City, the city-state of Skybreaking, stood on the steep cliffs. Winged lizardmen flew in and out, soaring between the great rifts. The crawlers under Skybreaking, the ancient saint of the Winged Tribe, all possessed wings, allowing them to glide over vast distances. Although their flying speed and agility were not on par with the avian tribe, their gliding distance proved comparable. Thus, the crawlers of the Winged Tribe were frequently recruited by other city-states as messengers, scouts, and more. This highlighted the technological backwardness of the crawler civilization. Even ancient saints, despite possessing powerful physical qualities that allowed them to leap hundreds of feet high, were unable to fly. Skybreaking, the ancient saint, stood proudly on the cliff, gazing into the distance. A secret technique to break through the shackles of ancient saints. As the third ancient saint, his strength had already reached the ceiling of ancient saints. He continued to break through these constraints, pursuing a higher realm. He was not interested in ancient magic rings, but the idea of that secret technique intrigued him. Let us go and see. Even if it is a scheme by the Scale, with my abilities, I can protect myself. Skybreaking, the ancient saint, felt confident. He spread his shimmering black wings, leaped into the sky, and soared upward with the wind. Simultaneously, in other parts of the ancient Saint Empire, other ancient saints who harbored thoughts about magic rings or ancient secret techniques also set out for the Loki Great Grassland. On this day, Levi was immersed in cultivation when Monka sought an audience. Lord, our scouts have discovered the tracks of the Flameblood Earthly Dragon Beast. The Flameblood Earthly Dragon Beast was an elite among flame beasts, possessing strength comparable to that of an ancient serpent upon reaching adulthood. Take me there, Levi commanded, his eyes gleaming with determination. The next day, Levi arrived at the location where the Flameblood Earthly Dragon Beast had been sighted. It was the settlement of a small tribe under the rule of Blackline City. The small tribe now lay in ruins, with the bodies of crawlers scattered everywhere, most of them gruesomely mutilated as if torn to shreds. This Flameblood Earthly Dragon Beast is exceptionally skilled at digging. After each attack, it burrows underground, making it elusive even for ancient saints. Capturing it is quite troublesome. Monka explained the situation. Levi arrived at the side of a collapsed tribal structure, where a pit approximately 1 yard in diameter scarred the earth. The edge of the pit emitted hot steam and appeared charred, likely scorched by something with a high temperature. We have found many entrances like this in the vicinity. Our scouts entered, only to be played with and ambushed by those ferocious beasts. None have returned. Monka lamented. Levi stood at the edge of the pit, placing his palm against the wall. He activated his level 3 intuition, and everything within a radius of dozens of miles revealed itself to his mind. Finally, hundreds of meters deep beneath a mountain peak, Levi discovered a creature resembling a snake with 4 limbs, peacefully sleeping in its nest, much like the stone dragons from his previous life. I have found you, Levi exclaimed, leaping into action. He positioned himself above the Flameblood Earthly Dragon Beast's nest, swiftly descending as the power within him flowed into Frostmourne, the sword in his hand. A gray-white energy enveloped and condensed around the sword blade as Levi gathered his strength. Destruction Sword Chi. Swoosh. The airflow resembled a gray light beam. The ground tore open, and Frostmourne inserted into the gap, with the gray-white energy driving forward in a rotating manner. Soon, a pit several hundred meters deep formed. Plip. When the flame-blood earthly dragon beast sensed the ground trembling, it acted too late. The airflow pierced through its spine, drilling it into the ground. Boom. Levi landed on the ground, stepping on the head of the flame-blood earthly dragon beast. This colossal beast, stretching dozens of meters in length, writhed in pain on the ground, roaring. A majestic aura of ferocious beasts swept over, and the next moment, it faced a resounding slap. Levi smacked it, directly causing its brain to shake. If not for sparing its life, this slap could have killed it. Behave yourself. Levi's dragon's might attack resonated in the flame-blood earthly dragon beast's mind. Submit to me, enter into a master dragon covenant. Among the underground flame beasts, this flame-blood earthly dragon beast was only second to the flame-blood rampage dragon in ferocity. With the rich bloodline of the gloomy lamp dragon within it, it should be capable of entering into a master dragon covenant, just like Gustav, unless it did not want to live. At first, the flame-blood earthly dragon beast naturally resisted, but when it realized that no matter how it struggled, it could not escape the magical clutches above its head, it gradually gave up the resistance. Chapter 766. The Master Dragon Covenant took effect. Levi opened Alice's ring. The ring required the contained entity to submit to Levi and enter willingly. Otherwise, he had to render the entity unconscious. If the awakened entity possessed too much strength, the ring could not contain it. The entity risked destroying the spatial array inside the ring. This would sweep both the ring and the other creatures inside into the turbulent secondary space. Levi collected blood from the flame-blood earthly dragon beast. He tested it with the rolling crystal. The blood contained an astonishing 11% of the gloomy lamp dragon lineage. Flame beasts, flame-blood earthly dragon beasts, and flame-blood rampage dragons belonged to the same species. Differences in the concentration of gloomy lamp dragon blood led to mutations or evolution. Unfortunately, no ancient beasts appeared. Levi shrugged. He should not be too greedy. The bloodline of the Third Circle Fire Dragon clan satisfied his needs. The next cultivation elixir for the Crimson Emperor Dragon was settled. Levi left the area with a content expression. Monka and his subordinates arrived at the large pit. Puddles of blood, saturated with intense flame blood energy, coated the ground. This was undoubtedly the lair of the flame-blood earthly dragon beast. Monka looked at the blood with a tinge of heartache. Hurry, collect it all. Do not let it go to waste, he ordered. In the Holy Brilliance calendar year 1093, during the month of flowers, the 62nd year of the Great Expedition, lay the Endless Sea. The giant tree secret realm sat in the 8th area of the Outer Sea region. This secluded area belonged to the lush forest tower. Riemann, a 4th Circle Star supervisor wizard, protected it. Over the past years, the lush forest tower remained stable. Marlene gathered medicinal herbs inside a small herb garden. The elderly woman had already reached 270 years of age. Under normal circumstances, a 2nd Circle wizard possessed a lifespan of around 300 years without special longevity potions or unique constitutions. Even with considerable costs and the consumption of all available longevity potions, they might only gain an additional 50 years. For a low-level wizard like Marlene, this was clearly not practical. Nevertheless, Marlene showed no fear of growing older. Mortal beings all face death. Wizards are no exception. Granny Marlene, there is new frontline news from the Great Expedition, Winnie said. She held a freshly printed Great Expedition annual report. The newspaper specifically covered the Great Expedition. Winnie, currently a senior 1st Circle wizard, neared advancement to a 2nd Circle wizard due to her exceptional talent. Winnie, read it to me, Granny Marlene said. She sat in her rocking chair, gazing into the sky of the secret realm. Deep Blue Sage Luther severely wounded the Father of Plagues. After 3 years of cleanup, the main force of the Plague Legion was mostly eliminated. Currently, the Myriad Machine plane was partially reclaimed. The battle groups sent there either continued to support other planes, or returned with the Sky City under Deep Blue Sage Luther's command. A divine glow appeared on Granny Marlene's face. So, is there a chance for Herman to come back? She asked. It is not clear yet. The report does not include the list of returning personnel. I hope that old rascal comes back soon. By the way, have there been any updates on Levi lately? Granny Marlene inquired. No, there is no news about Levi. He seems to have gone somewhere. I asked a friend in Riptide City. He mentioned seeing a death notice that might have had Levi's name on it, but he was not sure if it was the same person. Winnie replied in a somber tone. It definitely cannot be. Even if it is a mistake from Riptide City, Levi would not die so easily. I believe in him, and Tower Master will not die either. My old bones are still alive and kicking, so how could Levi, who is young, be dead? Granny Marlene spoke. Her voice softened and her eyes turned slightly red. 60 years of war, and a few old friends still survive. The Star Sea remained the legendary Sea of 6 Towers. As the core of the Endless Sea, the situation here remained relatively stable. Many high-level primordial soul wizards oversaw the region. Ordinary dark wizards dared not easily set foot in these waters. On a long and narrow island, within a wizard market, a seemingly inconspicuous wizard tool shop operated quietly. White Sands Wizard Tool Shop sold quasi-wizard-grade magic wands, 1st Circle and 2nd Circle wizard tools, accepted wizard tool customizations, and offered trade-ins for new ones. A wizard wearing a black windbreaker arrived. His features were sharply defined. He gazed at the wizard tool shop and stepped inside. What kind of wizard tool do you need, Xavier? The owner of the wizard tool shop asked. He sensed a customer and came down from the wizard tower with a smile. The man in the windbreaker coughed. His appearance changed, and Xavier's expression shifted slightly. Lord Sparrow, Xavier asked. That is right. I wonder what brought Lord Sparrow here. I would like to invite you to join the Starfire Wizard Academy as a professor in the weapon-making department. Lord Sparrow, my strength is modest, and my knowledge of weapon-making is only rudimentary. Taking on a professorship is beyond my capability. The Starfire Wizard Academy has flourished in recent years. Surely, you could invite more qualified weapon craftsmen. Why insist on inviting me? Xavier asked. Because you were recommended by an old friend. Who? Xavier asked. Your old friend, Levi. Month of flowing fire, June in the mortal realm. Arrived in the Peacock Kingdom. In the past 2 years, the kingdom experienced occasional outbreaks of plagues or flu on a small scale, but they quickly disappeared. Each time, they claimed some lives. Chapter 767. In the research facility of the church, holy water number 99 gradually lost its effectiveness after treating several waves of plagues. Peacock Capital. Holy Brilliance Cathedral. Heavenly Mountain. Yelin sat beneath the cross, her voice soft. Have you found the people who went to the ghoul hut? Lord, not yet. They were too discreet this time. I suspect a mastermind hides behind them, the saint replied. No need to doubt. The father of the unclean great ones causes this trouble. Did the ghoul hut summon him to the mortal realm? This brings trouble. Continue developing the holy water. Use the seventh sealing sacred object to purify the land before it is ready. Do not worry. The other party acts surreptitiously because they fear us. If things become desperate, seek out the miracle Dr. Watson. If he agrees to formulate medicines and serve the church, we will grant him the position of saint. He will be rejuvenated by divine power, enjoy 1,000 years of life, and be revered by the world, standing above all as a saint for millennia. The saint bowed his head, thinking to himself that the man received a good deal. This truly shaped a saint. The ancient Saint Empire, Beat City belonged to the Science Scale Ancient Saint. The roar of the crowd swept through the colossal arena. This day marked the eagerly anticipated commencement of the ancient auction. Countless strong individuals gathered. Some tried their luck. Others came to witness the legendary ancient saints. The Science Scale Ancient Saint sat nervously in the central grandstand. Powerful auras lurked nearby. Ancient saints concealed themselves with secret techniques, unwilling to reveal their identities at the auction. Ha ha ha. Science Scale, you dare to hold such an auction. I want to see what you plan. A hearty voice echoed through the Colosseum. A robust figure leaped onto one of the platforms. He stood bare-chested. Scales resembling armor covered his skin. A menacing snake head with a flickering tongue adorned his upper body. The snake demon ancient saint, the fourth ancient saint, is here too. This trip is not in vain, a spectator remarked. Regret washed over the Science Scale ancient saint. He had not expected this fellow to attend. This individual had once killed an ancient saint, devoured their life force, and displayed extreme ferocity. Oh, the snake demon is here too. A figure appeared on an adjacent pillar. Crowned spines protruded from his back, towering high. The fifth ancient saint, the Spine Mountain ancient saint, arrived. A chill ran down the spine of the Science Scale ancient saint. Damn it. Both the fourth and the fifth have arrived. He did not need to worry about the unnamed ancient saint, but could he remain at ease with the fourth and the fifth present? Subsequently, the 11th and the 8th ancient saints arrived, followed by many ancient serpent-level powerhouses eager to seize opportunities. The top 3 ancient saints remained absent, though they could be hiding in the crowd, biding their time. Let us get started, Science Scale, the snake demon ancient saint urged after receiving approval. The Science Scale ancient saint immediately announced the start of the auction. The first item for auction is an ancient magic ring. It contains a personal storage space, and is extremely convenient and practical. The starting bid is the ownership of a city belonging to an ancient serpent level. Each increment must be no less than 1,000 slaves. Levi had eliminated this spatial ring. It required neither incantations nor spell power and opened using spiritual force. Although these ancient saints did not practice meditation art, opening the spatial ring with spiritual force proved simple. The ancient saints in the audience began to bid frantically. Levi remained hidden among the crowd, marveling inwardly. He knew the storage ring possessed a value of only 800 ether stones. Other wizards might have thought they were auctioning some soul artifact, given the frequent bids of cities and thousands of slaves. 5 cities, the snake demon ancient saint declared in a cold voice, suppressing the entire scene. He ceded the title deeds of 5 cities to the Science Scale, and entered into an ancient covenant with him. This pact between ancient saints prevented any disputes after obtaining the ring. Having acquired the ring, the snake demon ancient saint did not rush to leave. The real highlight remained the opportunity to break through to an ancient saint using ancient secret techniques. Finally, the inheritance diagram representing ancient secret techniques was unveiled. It displayed various figures of people in different poses, with a jade-colored dragon spewing poisonous fog in the center. I have seen this. I saw it on the murals in the ancient ruins. This is the ancient king, Sky King Utheros, the Spine Mountain Ancient Saint murmured. Could the secret to breaking through to Ancient Saint lie in the 4 ancient kings? The snake demon Ancient Saint also contemplated. The figures on the inheritance diagram somewhat resembled their Ancient Saint methods. A surge of excitement gripped all the Ancient Saints present, including those hidden. The Scion-scale Ancient Saint surprisingly did not deceive them. The ancient secret techniques truly existed. Powerful hostility from all directions scrutinized the Scion-scale Ancient Saint. He lamented inwardly, wishing he could throw the inheritance diagram away immediately. Esteemed colleagues, I invited you all to jointly study these ancient secret techniques this time. Through collective wisdom, we can break the limits of ancient saints together, the Scion scale said. However, the ancient saints in the audience each held their own thoughts. If everyone broke through to Ancient Saint, what difference would it make compared to the current situation? It might be better if no one broke through. Chapter 768. The ancient secret techniques should rightfully belong to him. Only by breaking through to Ancient Saint could he possibly reach the realm of the original Ancient Saint, standing out from the crowd and dominating all other Ancient Saints. Human nature was greedy and selfish. It was no different in this case. The snake demon Ancient Saint stepped toward the platform. Scion scale, I will be frank. Give me the ancient secret techniques, and I will ensure your safety. You should know these guys never intended to obtain what you have legally. The ancient secret techniques are not something you can dabble in. How dare you? A scream rang out from the crowd. A figure exploded from the ground, soaring into the sky and reaching directly towards Scion scale on the platform. A fierce wind swept through, kicking up a sandstorm. Many lizardmen in the Colosseum took flight, tossed aside by the force. Skybreaking, others may fear you, but I do not. The snake demon Ancient Saint soared into the air, shattering stone pillars. Endless earthy strength converged in his right arm, transforming into an exaggerated rock serpent, wildly lunging towards Skybreaking. Wind Fury Strike. Skybreaking Ancient Saint flapped his wings. He unleashed a slashing blow that tore through everything, heading straight for the snake demon. Chaos ensued in the arena. Scion Scale quickly tossed the inheritance diagram to the snake demon Ancient Saint. Snake demon, I am entrusting my safety to you. Scion Scale made his escape. There was no time to wait any longer. The strength of Skybreaking Ancient Saint was something he could not contend with alone. His life was in danger. At first, the snake demon Ancient Saint felt ecstatic. Then, something felt amiss. He had been played. Giving up at this point was out of the question. The Battle of Ancient Saints proved earth-shattering. Colosseum structures collapsed, and the spectators panicked and fled. Levi stood hidden in the crowd, watching the intense battle. Fight! Fight! It seems the first and second ones have not shown up. It is a bit of a pity. I originally wanted to take care of all of them at once. Well, let us capture these ancient saints first, and then pay a visit to those two. Levi remained calm. After the battle with Scion Scale, he realized he had overestimated these ancient saints. With his current strength, he could completely suppress them. It was just a matter of finding the right opportunity. The majority of the third, fourth, and subsequent ancient saints engaged in a chaotic battle within the Colosseum. The area remained shrouded in darkness, with no light from the sun or moon. Levi found a good spot to watch the spectacle. He set up an array called the Shadowless Maze, making himself invisible to the ancient saints. With their spiritual force, they could not discern Levi's array. He remained completely unflustered. He even took out a bottle of snow beer from his storage space, sipping it while enjoying the show. Burp. This is the life. Levi sighed. Skydomine slash. Skybreaking Ancient Saint's hands formed a sword. An endless stream of green energy circulated around him, converging into a colossal sword that cleaved through the ground. The snake demon flew into the dirt, and other ancient saints scattered in all directions. The entire Colosseum split in half, creating a shocking scene. If you force me to reveal my strength, why bother? Could I not continue to keep a low profile? Skybreaking Ancient Saint put away the breathing technique inheritance diagram and the ancient magic ring. You. The snake demon Ancient Saint shook to his core. Skybreaking Ancient Saint's strength seemed much stronger than before. In their previous battle, he had been only slightly inferior. Now, he faced defeat without any chance of retaliation. Even if Hellfire Ancient Saint came, he might not be able to surpass the opponent. Only the first Ancient Saint, Rex, the Tyrannosaurus Ancient Saint, could stand a chance against him. You are too weak. Do you know why that old guy Rex did not come? Skybreaking shook his head and laughed, looking down from a high vantage point with ease. That old guy is on his last legs, and is no longer my match. Before I came here, I specifically went to the capital and killed him. While you were all squabbling, you did not know that the first ancient saint had long been me. Skybreaking held a lizard skull resembling a Tyrannosaurus Rex in his hand. The skull shattered into blood mist and broken scales, dispersing in the wind. Now I, Skybreaking, possess the ancient secret techniques and the power to suppress all of you. I will ask one question. Does anyone dare to defy me? Exhilaration surged through Skybreaking. He roared toward the sky. He had lurked on the northern border for many years, always in the position of the third most powerful. Now he appeared directly, stunning the world. The feeling was beyond description. I do not accept. As Skybreaking's words fell, flames swept out from the void behind him, creating a sky filled with rosy clouds. A pair of large hands reached around skybreaking ancient saint's waist from behind. A colossal, red-colored beast that traversed the sky appeared. It suddenly exerted force. The nearly indestructible flesh of skybreaking ancient saint almost severed. Endless green energy burst forth, pushing the large hands away. The momentarily uncontrolled skybreaking ancient saint stared in horror at what stood behind him. A three-headed, six-armed flame giant showed no emotion. With a sudden movement, it kicked. A torrent of energy swept skybreaking into the ground. Dust and debris filled the air as rocks scattered. Afterward, the giant descended from the sky. Skybreaking quickly withdrew. The ground beneath the entire Colosseum began to collapse. Skybreaking ancient saint had narrowly escaped death, but he had no time to rejoice. From all directions, streaks of light shot straight into the sky. These were array flags. Heaven's net. Suppress. Levi was a wizard. He would not compete fairly with these guys. He used a third circle array without hesitation. Skybreaking, who wanted to escape, stood blocked by the array. At this moment, the flame giant had already reached his front. Relying on his speed, which surpassed Levi's, Skybreaking dodged and lurked within the array, darting around like a fly, quite annoying. With a single thought, Levi activated the power of the 5 dragons. Dragons might surged like the tide. In the moment of Skybreaking's awe, Levi pointed a finger. Mixed venom. A swarm of deadly toxins enveloped Skybreaking, infiltrating his wounds and infecting him. Destruction sword chi. Levi's sword energy severed Skybreaking's wings. Then, the great black sky curtain completely suppressed him. Who are you? Skybreaking stood bewildered. He could not help but ask. Even Hellfire Ancient Saint was not his match, and now a powerful member of the Fire Lizard clan stood before him. With a shocked expression, Skybreaking realized something. His mind was in turmoil. You are the initial Ancient Saint. Levi frowned. He projected an imposing aura and spoke calmly. Yes, I am the initial Ancient Saint. I have come to make the Ancient Saint Empire great again. Reviving the glory of the Ancient Saints was an undeniable duty. Chapter 769. The Initial Ancient Saint? The assembled Ancient Saints froze. Every figure in the hall trembled to their very core. The name rang with heavy significance. Without the Initial Ancient Saint, the civilization of the Crawlers would never have existed. The Initial Ancient Saint has existed for countless millennia. Such a thing remains impossible. The Initial Ancient Saint exists as the incarnation of Lord Holy Snake. Perhaps his lifespan knows no limits. Divine records do not mention a fall, only a disappearance. Could he truly be the Initial Ancient Saint? Whether the truth matched the name or not, his arrival shook the foundations of the world. The arrogant skybreaking Ancient Saint, the one who had just executed the first Ancient Saint, found his own fate sealed. A crushing force held him fast, leaving him immobile. He was the skybreaking Ancient Saint, the undisputed mightiest warrior of the Ancient Saint Empire. No witness would believe his current, pitiable state. The other Ancient Saints stood frozen, none daring to attempt an escape. I mean no harm. I stated this before. My only desire is to revive the glory of the Ancient Saints and establish a unified empire. In time, I will reclaim both the Mosasaurus Empire and the Wind God Empire. Levi spoke with a calm, heavy tone. Skybreaking Ancient Saint barely held onto consciousness. The toxic swarm gnawed at his flesh. His robust physique kept the encroaching death at bay, though he would have perished long ago without such resilience. Levi had cultivated the mixed venom true form to a level equal to a 7th-rank third circle wizard. He fed regularly on various toxins, making the current toxic swarm far more potent than the original version created by Clay. Those willing to form an alliance with me to rebuild the Ancient Saint Empire may stay. Those who refuse may leave on their own. Levi maintained a solemn expression, treating the matter with sacred gravity. I am willing. Snake Demon Ancient Saint trembled. His worldview had shattered into pieces this day. First, Skybreaking appeared from the void, single-handedly defeating the other Ancient Saints. Just as the dust settled, another nameless Ancient Saint emerged, effortlessly suppressing Skybreaking with a snap of his fingers. They were all Ancient Saints. Why did such a vast difference in power exist between them? Snake Demon Ancient Saint lowered his head in submission. Ridge's Mountain Ancient Saint and the others quickly followed suit, expressing their willingness. Lord, I lack interest in revitalizing the Ancient Saint Empire. I will not participate. Farewell. One Ancient Saint spoke, stepping back from the circle. Not interested? May I ask which Ancient Saint you are? Levi smiled, though the gesture did not reach his eyes. I am Blackstone Ancient Saint. Then you may leave. I force no one. Levi waved a hand, granting the figure permission to depart. Blackstone Ancient Saint turned and fled, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Levi maintained a casual demeanor. He drew his bow and strung an arrow. The blood feather bow hummed. He fired the blood imprisonment all. Thud. The arrow flashed like a stream of light, vanishing in an instant. A moment later, a muffled groan drifted back from Blackstone Ancient Saint in the distance. Before long, Blackstone Ancient Saint returned unsteadily to his original position. The blood imprisonment all, resembling bone-penetrating maggots, remained embedded in both of his legs. This blood imprisonment all had absorbed the blood of many strong individuals over the years. Its power had increased subtly. Lord, I am also willing to join the alliance. Very well. To establish the Supreme Ancient Saint Empire, we require the assistance of you all. Today, we form a covenant, in the name of Skybreaking Ancient Saint to establish a new empire. Lord, why in my name? Skybreaking Ancient Saint looked confused. His voice came out weakly from Levi's palm. Because I believe you are more suitable to be the ruler of this nation than I, Levi replied. A glimmer of hope ignited in the heart of Skybreaking. He would be the ruler of the empire after all. His strength had clearly won the recognition of the initial ancient saint. Levi wanted to avoid the title of initial ancient saint. If the true initial ancient saint still lived, the charade might lead to trouble in the end. It remained better to let Skybreaking rule the ancient saint empire, while he secretly controlled the situation. Levi and the other ancient saints formed a covenant. A new empire rose from the battlefield. Levi returned to Blackline City, leaving Skybreaking to handle the remaining matters. He left a trace of the toxic swarm within the body of Skybreaking. This pressure reminded the ruler of the consequences of disobedience. Neither the covenant nor the toxic swarm provided a foolproof guarantee. The most secure method involved the Scarlet Contract. Unfortunately, the Scarlet Dragon breathing technique of Levi remained at level 14, leaving some distance to go. This solution served only as a measure of last resort. He believed that with the strength he demonstrated, the ancient saints would not turn rebellious so quickly. Monka arrived at the mansion of Levi one day with a serious expression. Lord, a distinguished guest waits outside. Who is it? The Hellfire Ancient Saint. Let him in. A lizardman with crimson scales soon arrived. His figure lacked the robustness of Levi. Holland greets you, Lord, the Hellfire Ancient Saint said immediately, bowing with respect. He had avoided the recent ancient auction. He already possessed an ancient magic ring. Furthermore, he learned that Skybreaking had already slain Tyrannosaurus Ancient Saint Rex. Fear of the news had driven him into hiding. Later, rumors of the unified Ancient Saint Empire reached his ears. Skybreaking left Lonely Wind City and took control of the central Dragon City of the Empire. Using Dragon City as the core, he led the other ancient saints and tribes to sweep away all forces, large and small, that refused to submit. Chapter 770. Hellfire Ancient Saint knew the overall situation was grim. Hiding in the deep mountains and forests offered no solution. He decided to seek refuge with this initial ancient saint, a powerful figure, who had suppressed Skybreaking Ancient Saint with ease. He hoped to secure a prominent position in the new Ancient Saint Empire. He inquired from various sources. He learned that this powerful figure resided in Blackline City. He traveled day and night. Finally, he stood before the formidable man who had effortlessly subdued Skybreaking Ancient Saint. Levi looked at Hellfire Ancient Saint. He nodded and smiled. It seems that Hellfire Ancient Saint is also here to support the cause of our new Ancient Saint Empire. Come, let us feast. During the banquet, Hellfire Ancient Saint shifted in his seat. Unease and apprehension clung to him. As a fellow member of the Fire Lizard clan, he harbored many questions, but he dared not ask them. Eventually, after expressing his loyalty and allegiance to Levi, Hellfire Ancient Saint took his leave. Levi sat back. This journey to the alternate plane should come to an end. This trip had been much smoother than he imagined. Conquering the Ancient Saint Empire, Wind God Empire, and Mosasaurus Empire was only a matter of time. In addition, he searched for traces of ancient beasts. He tasked Skybreaking Ancient Saint, with the power of the Empire, to find other Dragon Clan creatures. He no longer needed to worry about it. He also helped the Twilight Knights clear obstacles and take control here. When he returned to the human realm this time, he would try to let the members of the Twilight Knights enter here in batches for training. As for the traces of the Ancient Wizard, the identities of the 4 Ancient Kings, and the Holy Snake, these secrets could be slowly uncovered in the future. Levi sat in the quiet of his room. Delight washed over him regarding the outcomes of this journey to the alternate plane. Afterward, Levi spent some time in Blackline City. Other ancient saints and major tribes with ancient saint arts offered their respective techniques to Levi. Levi only took copies. He did not want to sever the inheritance of these crawler civilizations. Honestly, he felt curious about how far these creatures could evolve in the future. During this time, he stayed in the city. He studied these ancient saint arts, the rock serpent ancient saint art, the frenzied blood ancient saint art, and so on. These ancient saint arts were methods passed down through generations of ancient saints. Legends said they were created by the initial ancient saint, a figure who could be traced back to the ancient era. The initial ancient saint was just a lizardman. How could he have such high intelligence to create so many ancient saint arts? Even Levi, attempting to create the night breathing technique from scratch, had not been able to do so until now. He did not believe the lizardman could achieve that. If he could, that would mean Levi stood inferior to lizardmen. These ancient saint arts might have been created by that ancient wizard. The ancient wizard likely possessed a profound understanding of the path of knights. He plagiarized and modified the content of the night breathing technique to form these ancient saint arts. Levi counted the techniques. The ancient saint arts he collected fell into 4 categories: defense, constitution, speed, and strength. In comparison to the night breathing technique, these ancient saint arts lacked the 2 dimensions of endurance and perception. The defense-type ancient saint arts all traced their ultimate origins to the bloodline source of the Ocean King, the Sea Dragon. Similarly, speed pointed to the Sky King, the Jade Dragon, and strength pointed to the Underground King, the Gloomy Lamp Dragon. Regarding the constitution, Levi had already measured it using the rolling crystal. Its bloodline source was the immortal Banyan Dragon, the Forest King. According to Levi's extensive investigations, the immortal Banyan Dragon was a legendary serpent-shaped dragon that dwelled on the World Tree. Its body had fused with the World Tree. It remained covered in the branches of the World Tree. The World Tree lived on, and the immortal banyan dragon remained undefeated. That being said, the world tree, a colossal deity tree in many civilizations, appeared in various myths, such as Pandora's mother tree in the Elven civilization. Thus, Levi remained unsure which civilization the immortal banyan dragon's world tree pointed to. The jade dragon, the sea dragon of Huang, the gloomy lamp dragon, and the immortal banyan dragon. All 4 dragons under the holy snake were pure-blooded members of the dragon clan. They reached at least the legendary 9th circle level. The holy snake, in particular, surely attained mythological status, comparable to a legendary wizard. Thinking about it this way, the depths of this world seemed quite profound. Levi wondered if the stone he had cast into this world could make ripples. Based on his research over the years, whether it was weak lizard-like beings like Keiku or ancient saints like Skybreaking, none had successfully communicated with the holy snake during sacrificial rituals. Did this imply that the holy snake might have perished? Levi pressed down his doubts. He collected all the ancient saint methods for future use. 1 month later, as Levi prepared to bid farewell, the current ruler of the ancient saint empire, the Skybreaking ancient saint, came to Levi's residence. "Greetings, Lord." Skybreaking ancient saint knelt. He bowed his head low, showing deep respect. "What brought you here?" Levi asked. "Lord, now that the ancient saint empire had essentially achieved unity, those ancient saints who disagreed with serving the empire had been slain by me. Shall we now lead the army to conquer the Mosasaurus empire?" Those barbaric sea tribes frequently invaded the borders of the ancient saint empire. It was infuriating. Skybreaking ancient saint expressed, his voice full of fighting spirit. "No rush for now. Rest and recover first. When I return, we will make plans. In the meantime, focus on stabilizing the empire's internal affairs." That in itself was a victory, Levi advised. His departure was framed as going into seclusion according to Skybreaking and others left behind. Understood. Skybreaking ancient saint nodded. He presented an ancient magic ring. "Lord, according to your orders, these were some plants we had found." Levi opened the storage ring. His eyes widened. He detected a multitude of herbs, astonishing in both variety and quantity. Chapter 771. In the following period, Levi only needed to gather a few more medicinal herb resources not present in this world, and he could then refine a large quantity of meditation supplementary potions. Levi gestured to the surrounding fields, his voice steady. "With determination, continue collecting, and deeply comprehend the planting methods of the plants I shared with you. In the future, not only should you harvest, but also learn the art of cultivation, cultivating a path of sustainable and green cycles. Thank you, Lord, for passing down the seeds of knowledge." Levi had translated and summarized some wizard knowledge of medicinal herb cultivation and low-level meditation art, as well as spell legacies. He left these to Skybreaking ancient saint and other ancient saints, instructing them to find individuals with talents and nurture them. Among the lizardmen, there was a probability of giving birth to spellcasters, and Keiku was one of them. Potential lay buried among these barbaric tribes. Levi stood observing the group, curious about how far this civilization could go in the future. In the end, Skybreaking, full of enthusiasm, left the residence of Levi. As Levi prepared to depart, old lizard Cain stood at the entrance of the mansion, hesitating. Cain stood at the entrance, his aged voice trembling as he inquired, "Lord, are you truly the initial ancient saint? I have heard rumors in the alleys." "Old Cain, do not blindly believe in the initial ancient saint. Everyone could be the initial ancient saint." Levi left behind mysterious words and went on his way. Crossing the vast ancient saint empire, he arrived at the sprawling Yuntis Mountains. Here, the wind roared, and at the mountain peaks, snow covered everything. Occasionally, humanoid creatures with wings, resembling large birds, moved among them. These were the feathered people. A powerful civilization evolved from the crawler civilization. A feathered people messenger traversed the treacherous mountains and eventually descended from the towering snow-capped peak. At the snow-covered mountain zenith, there stood a magnificent palace shining in gold and brilliance. The face of the messenger was solemn. Passing through guards, they finally reached the center of the grand hall. Feathered people ministers of various colors sat upright. On the high seat, a figure with an endless imposing aura, adorned with golden feathers and a feather crown, gazed sharply, like an eagle with an eagle eye. The messenger announced, the words trembling, "King of golden feathers, a major event has happened." So panicked, "What lack of discipline is this? What happened?" "Your Majesty, the initial ancient saint has returned." "What?" In the vast southern sea, the colossal blue-scaled giant sat on the deep-sea throne, like a small mountain. The mouth of the giant opened wide, revealing sharp teeth. "The initial ancient saint has returned." In the Holy Brilliance calendar year 1094, on the first day of the month of beginning, marked the 64th year of the Great Expedition. The birthday of Levi arrived again, and he silently cooked himself a bowl of longevity noodles, slurping them alone in the palace. After finishing the noodles and sipping the soup, Levi sighed, 104 years old. Time flew by when I was busy. 10,000 years is too long, we must seize the day. The grand celebration of his centennial birthday was still fresh in his memory, yet 4 more years had passed in the blink of an eye. Away from the ancient saint empire for nearly half a year, Levi returned to the Dusk Holy Temple, and took his time digesting the knowledge gained from the ancient saint empire. On one hand, he needed to cultivate the breathing technique and the ways of a wizard. Additionally, the new destruction sword chi required the slow cultivation of Levi to enhance its power. Moreover, with his spiritual force reaching 120 points, Levi started learning the third rune language. He opened the book of Starforge runes and contemplated between the strength rune and the hermit rune, both of which he had cultivated to a significant extent. Choosing between increased strength and invisibility, Levi continued his contemplation. The rune language called Fool would undoubtedly be useful. However, even a brief glance at its structure made his head spin. One more look threatened to cause an explosion, turning him into a wild-haired baboon. With a spiritual force of 120 points, far from meeting the requirements to practice the Fool rune, Levi had to choose from the ones that his current spiritual force allowed. Lover's Chariot. According to the Book of Starforge runes, the Lover's rune invisibly enhanced the charm, luck, and favorability of Levi with the opposite sex. It was something mystical. I am not in a relationship, so what is the use? As for luck, let us not mention it. Let us look at the chariot. Levi believed that fate was unchangeable, and the unlucky ones would remain unlucky. He gazed at the chariot rune. The chariot rune is suitable for embedding in auxiliary flying wizard tools, enhancing their flying speed. Levi found the idea of increasing speed quite fitting. When solidified on his legs, he could become swift as the wind. The attribute of speed was a tangible improvement, much more practical than the mystical attributes of luck and charm. Once my spiritual force is abundant, I can also practice the Lover's rune. It was somewhat useful, after all. Even in the worst-case scenario, I can still charm a few rich ladies and live an easy life. The charm attribute was one that even the night breathing technique could not cultivate. The practice of the night breathing technique would only decrease one charm. Charm was related to appearance, but was not the determining factor. According to the rune language, the Lover's rune could tap into the power of the Aries constellation, representing love, luck, charm, and fertility. Chapter 772. Levi cast aside distractions. He began constructing the chariot rune in his mind, and he harnessed his spiritual force. 3 days passed. Above the gaseous magic ring in Levi's mind, a pristine rune language model appeared and rotated. He opened the proficiency panel. Levi, Chariot Rune, Level 1, 1/1000, Special Effect, Power of Pegasus Constellation, Level 1. Power of Pegasus Constellation, Level 1. Communicates with the Pegasus constellation in the rune language, amplifying your speed with a current increase of 5%. Pegasus seems to be paired with horned bull. Levi murmured to himself, never mind that. Solidify it directly on the legs. He drew from the successful experience with the strength rune. Levi quickly solidified the Pegasus rune on his legs. The fleeting white Pegasus pattern merged into his body. He paused, gathered his focus, and without employing the scarlet power, Levi dashed from one end of the grand hall to the other. Speed has indeed improved, but the amplification is not significant. It needs cultivation. Probably, like the strength rune, it will increase by 40% after reaching level 5. When paired with my scarlet escape, even a fifth circle wizard will not catch up. Cultivating the rune language was a gradual process. Levi remained in no hurry. He exited the grand hall. The Divine Light Knight waited anxiously at the entrance of the Extreme Path Palace. Divine Light Knight, what brings you to me? Levi stared at her, his eyes assessing her. The Divine Light Knight felt the weight of his gaze. Despite her legendary knight mindset, she became nervous. Her heartbeat quickened. Her chest, covered by the exaggerated pectoral muscles of a female legendary knight, heaved irregularly. The chest muscles of a female legendary knight were simply too exaggerated. Commander, I recently visited the Peacock Kingdom. It seems the mortal plague is resurfacing. The Divine Light Knight spoke with anxiety. She had been to Peacock City. Her brother, King Boyka, informed her of the situation. He hoped that with her legendary knight abilities, she could find a solution. The Church of Holy Light had failed to solve it. What could she do? After much contemplation, one figure in the mortal realm came to mind. The commander possessed limitless capabilities and mysterious power. The commander was a powerful wizard. Wizards possessed vast knowledge and expertise in potions. Perhaps he could resolve the issue. Divine Light Knight, I am aware of the situation. However, the plague in the Peacock Kingdom is peculiar. It is shrouded in thick mist. Currently, I am powerless. Levi sighed. Even after Levi arrived in the mortal realm, Andrew had reported the plague situation to him. Upon personally investigating the Peacock Kingdom, Levi discovered that the sources of these viruses differed. Various virus types plagued the region. Even with his pharmacist skills, developing so many antidotes proved difficult. Clearly, the puppet master behind this was an expert in epidemiology and virology. This person might be a formidable figure from the Ghoul House. Levi, with his current strength, did not want to get too involved. His abilities were limited. He was not a savior. He did not rely on faith to live. In his current state, he could not do much for ordinary people. Moreover, with the presence of the Church of Holy Light, as challenging as the plague was, it would not wipe out the entire population. That would defeat the purpose of the church's existence. I understand, Commander. Divine Light Knight Denise turned away with a hint of reluctance. Denise. Levi called out. Commander, is there anything else? Divine Light Knight Denise inquired. I just want to say, there are limits to human power. Do not put too much pressure on yourself. We are just knights, not gods. We do not have the ability or qualification to save the world. If you truly want to be the savior of mortals, then focus on your training. Levi offered his advice calmly. Denise looked stunned for a moment. Then she wore a bitter smile. I understand, Commander. Thank you. Levi watched Denise's retreating figure. The mortal realm is becoming more chaotic. Various gods and demons are making their moves. Time flew by like an arrow. In the blink of an eye, 6 months had passed. With the secret medicine made from the flame blood earthly dragon beast bloodline, the Crimson Emperor dragon's breathing technique training speed noticeably increased. In addition, Levi's chariot rune had finally reached level 3. It provided a 20% boost to speed. Level 3 was a threshold in the rune language. Subsequent training speeds would gradually slow down. However, the magnitude of the enhancements after level 3 continued to grow. After reaching level 3 with the chariot rune, Levi began preparing to return to the wizard world. Although he acquired many medicinal herbs in the ancient Saint Empire, it was not enough to refine meditation supplementary potions. He needed to purchase more from the wizard world. Besides, he wanted to find some contract-based wizard tool blueprints in the wizard world. He planned to craft a contract item that could be used to bind members of the Dusk Holy Temple. As the Twilight Nights expanded, it was only a matter of time before internal conflicts arose. Suddenly, the Greenfield Immortal House, which Levi had not paid much attention to, showed some activity. Levi promptly used his spiritual force to investigate. Something is happening with the Zerg. As Levi became busier, he paid less attention to the Saint Scorpions and red-faced sea ghost spiders. They were mostly left to roam freely. Chapter 773. Levi wasted no time disposing of the enemy's corpses, immediately tossing them into the enclosure to feed the Zerg creatures. Within the Greenfield Immortal House, the two types of Zerg creatures, the Saint Scorpions and red-faced sea ghost spiders, freely reproduced and multiplied. Their numbers had now reached tens of thousands. The Greenfield Immortal House lay silent, though scattered corpses of Saint Scorpions and red-faced sea ghost spiders littered the ground. More infighting, Levi wondered, having grown accustomed to the creatures killing each other. After all, they reproduced rapidly, and Levi considered it a form of nurturing. As he examined the corpses, a monstrous creature about the size of a wild dog with golden armor and red spots sat among the remains. The creature chewed on the bodies of the Saint Scorpions and red-faced sea ghost spiders. Sensing a gaze, the creature lifted its head, revealing a scorpion-like face with a somewhat human appearance. What kind of creature is this? Levi wondered. The creature opened its mouth. A slightly childish, sharp, and unpleasant voice echoed in Levi's mind. Mom, it said. Mom. Levi tested his insect-controlling spell, the spider and scorpion song. The spiritual force connection remained, indicating that he could control the creature. Mom, the creature repeated. Mom. I am not your mom, Levi said. The creature tilted its head. Dad, it chirped. Dad. I am not your dad either, Levi replied. Call me master. Levi frowned. Based on his knowledge of entomology, he could not explain the current situation. Could it be that some of the bodies I fed them earlier were problematic? He wondered. Did some Saint Scorpions mutate after eating them, or were they possessed? Levi searched for an answer, but found none. Why did you eat your brothers and sisters? Levi asked. The Saint Scorpion seemed capable of communication, displaying rudimentary childlike thoughts. Mom, I am hungry, it said. Levi released the surviving Saint Scorpions and red-faced sea ghost spiders from the corners of the Greenfield Immortal House, where they had hidden. He had kept them there, giving a home to the surviving Zerg creatures, all bearing scars, but exhibiting great strength. In the Greenfield Immortal House, only the mutated Zerg creature remained. Levi took the creature out and examined it closely. From its features, it appeared to be a stitched-together monster combining the traits of Saint Scorpions and red-faced sea ghost spiders. Out of all the Zerg creatures, only this one had been born. I am hungry, the creature said. This creature, still not satisfied, roamed the grand hall in search of food. Despite its fearsome appearance, the creature showed no signs of aggression towards Levi. The insect-controlling spell remained effective, indicating no betrayal from the creature. If there were any signs of a backlash, Levi would not hesitate to eliminate the creature. Levi tossed some sea beast meat from his storage bags to the creature, allowing it to feast. Approaching the creature, Levi touched its tough exoskeleton. Though not extremely hard, it felt sturdy, with a rubbery texture. Levi tested its defense and found it surpassed that of a level 12 golden snake, far superior to ordinary Saint Scorpions. Next, Levi retrieved a second circle transcendent creature, an armored woolly ox, from Alice's ring, and placed it before the creature. The monster pounced, its size comparable to a small mouse. However, with razor-sharp mouthparts, the creature effortlessly tore through the ox's armor, which resisted second circle spells. The creature injected venom and wrapped the prey in silk, immobilizing the ox completely. Subsequently, the creature burrowed into the ox's body. The ox writhed in pain, its surface occasionally bulging as the creature traversed within. Facing a second circle transcendent creature alone, it was instantly slain, Levi observed. It should possess strength close to that of a third circle being. Soon, Levi noticed a phantom image of the ox's soul struggling at the creature's mouth, on the verge of dissipating. The creature swiftly sucked in the soul, consuming it. Satisfied, Mom, the creature said. Having finished its meal, the creature approached Levi, nuzzling his leg with its peculiar head. Eventually, it lay down, falling asleep like a kitten. Witnessing this scene, an odd sensation stirred in Levi. I am afraid even the most senior insect-controlling wizards in the School of Insects would not be able to explain what is going on, he thought. Taking advantage of its slumber, Levi used a dream entry spell to hypnotize the creature and alter its memories. I am your master, not your mom or dad, Levi whispered into its mind. Creatures like you are born to be loyal to your master. Otherwise, your master will be unhappy and might abandon you, leaving you hungry. The dream entry spell allowed Levi to implant subconscious suggestions, making the creature more loyal. While such a method might have modest effects on mature human minds, for this immature creature, the results should be satisfactory. From now on, I will call you Leon, Levi decided. Levi placed the peculiar creature, Leon, into the Greenfield Immortal House, keeping it in solitary confinement for exclusive nurturing. Leon exhibited abilities amalgamated from saint scorpions and red-faced sea ghost spiders, and displayed increased strength in all aspects. Levi anticipated significant growth in the future. After completing these tasks, Levi proceeded to the volcano, where the subdimensional portal node was located. The volcanic eruptions had ceased, and Levi followed the passage he had previously created. Deep underground, at the center of a lava lake, he found the spatial vortex. Surrounded by a heavy water barrier, and protected by golden snake scales, Levi entered, vanishing from sight. Upon reappearing, he found himself in the midst of a molten sea. Before he could recover from the disorientation caused by the teleportation, danger signaled through his spider-sensing ability. Levi was abruptly sent flying as he collided with an immense force. The heavy water barrier shattered, and the golden snake scales were torn apart. Levi's formidable fire dragon true form suffered damage, but quickly regenerated with the aid of death ember power. Enduring the pain, Levi focused on the adversary. A flaming phoenix, about 100 meters long, composed of flames and molten rocks, stared menacingly at him. Seeing the elusive and powerful opponent, Levi's expression froze. A fire elemental spirit, he thought. And it is at the 5th level. Retreat. Without any hesitation, Levi's scarlet dragon seed ignited, releasing all scarlet power within. The chariot rune glowed, and a blood fog enveloped the molten sea as Levi transformed into an unparalleled streak of blood-red light. In the blink of an eye, he vanished before the fiery bird, leaving only residual blood chi that quickly dissipated. If it were a 4th-level adversary, Levi might have fought, but against a 5th-level fire elemental spirit, even with the fire dragon true form's flame resistance, he did not want to take unnecessary risks. Life only offered one chance. Observing the disappearing enemy, the fiery bird's gaze remained cold, choosing not to pursue. It withdrew its attention and continued lurking in the depths of the molten sea, absorbing the fire elemental power to grow stronger. Meanwhile, in a deep-sea cave within the 100-eyed demon territory, Levi, having set up a concealed array, hid within and consumed a potion for vitality restoration. After eating plenty of food, he began to recuperate. This marked his first use of Scarlet Escape, and he hoped it would be the last. In that lava sea, encountering a 5th-level fire elemental spirit is too dangerous, Levi thought. If it crossed the spatial vortex and reached the mortal realm, the church would face a formidable adversary. Chapter 774. The month of Wheatfield arrived in the year 1094 of the Holy Brilliance calendar. Deep in the endless sea, within the 100-eyed demon territory, a week passed since Levi returned to the wizard world. The lingering side effects of his Scarlet Escape faded. Finally, he felt like himself again. The side effects were truly brutal. After such a long stay in the human world, the state of the wizard world weighed on his mind. He needed to find a spot to gather intelligence. Levi stood, packing away Tyrant 2 and the protective array. He left the ocean. The flying shark soared through the clouds. He rushed toward familiar locations etched in his memory. Riptide City beckoned. He found a small tavern in the chaotic outer district. On stage, strippers performed a rhythmic dance. A beautiful, furred woman with long rabbit ears led the troupe. He remembered the day he broke through to the second circle. He had invited a dancer from the Fur clan to celebrate with Grimm and Tommen. Time marched on. Tommen and Grimm died in the war. The cruelty of the wizard world left its mark. Levi shifted his appearance. Using the hermit rune, he slipped into Riptide City. He masked his magical aura to appear as a first circle wizard, and pulled a grey robe over his shoulders. He headed for the tavern on the outskirts to collect gossip. According to the reports he heard over the last few days, the flames of war still burned across the wizard world. The conflict between the dark and righteous factions stretched on for 60 years. Black Sun Adam, and the 100-beast Berserk which stood at the peak of the 8th Circle realm. They stood only one step away from becoming 9th Circle Grand Wizards. For great organizations led the Black Wizards, Black Sun Steeple, Boiling Beast Blood, Immersed Ancient Castle, and the City of Unrighteousness all operated under the command of 8 Circle Wizards. Although the Star Tower possessed greater strength, they struggled to achieve a swift victory. The realm of Azure Cloud remained stable. Reports indicated that small guilds in the realm of the unbelievers had fallen, swallowed by Dark Wizard territory. A new regime took root there, leaving righteous wizards as nothing more than stray dogs. The School of Ice in the realm of Ice suffered a similar fate. The School of Ice rose to prominence under the Frost Witch Gulwig. However, the legendary, which left the wizard world for the distant Federation of the Five Planes. She engaged in a legendary game against the evil god under the command of the Lord of Chaos, Lady Famine. With the Frost Witch gone, not a single Grand Wizard remained at the School of Ice headquarters. Dark Wizards seized the opportunity. The School of Ice faced a serious crisis. The Panplane Wizard Council transferred manpower from major factions to support their righteous brethren. Meanwhile, the war in Riptide City halted. Aside from demons hiding in the mortal world, the dark wizards in Area 6 were eliminated. Many wizards from Riptide City departed to the realm of ice to fight on the front lines. As for the Great Expedition, the myriad machine plane was recovered. The legendary wizard led troops back to quell the internal strife in the wizard world. This served as a rare piece of good news in recent years. The legendary wizard proved the stronger of the two. The Father of Plagues could not defeat him. Would the Tower Master return? The Father of Plagues suffered heavy injuries but survived. Killing an evil god remained a monumental task. Levi thought of the plague in the human world. A connection between the two seemed possible. Levi left the city after gathering enough intelligence. His identity required caution. Staying in Riptide City too long risked exposure for faking his death, which would lead to forced conscription. Half a month later, he arrived at the Yellow Earth continent. In Lion King City, he found the old golden lion, Leon. The Yellow Earth continent remained stable over the past few years. After recuperating, the golden lion Jostar family grew stronger following the annexation of the Alhid family inheritance. Sir Levi, long time no see, Leon said. His face beamed. He mastered his second innate spell and advanced to a third circle senior wizard. A good mood clung to him. Sir Leon, where are Dinos and Emperor Mui? Levi asked. Dinos remains in seclusion. Rumors suggest he attempts to break through the shackles of the legendary realm. As for Emperor Mu, he left the Yellow Earth continent a few years ago for the Inner Sea region. Which district did Emperor Mu choose? Levi asked. I believe it was Area 7. All right, I understand. Thank you, Sir Leon. Levi walked out of Lion King City. He wanted to take Emperor Mu and Dinos, but he had to put the matter on hold. Emperor Mu went to the Inner Circle area. He remains only a second circle wizard knight. Survival in the Inner Sea region proves difficult. Plus, Area 7 serves as the territory of the Thunder Dragon family. Everyone follows their own destiny, he mused. Forget it. Let us visit Miss Marlene. He arrived at the giant tree secret realm. Granny Marlene, Levi is back, Winnie shouted. She hurried Levi toward the treehouse. Miss Marlene's aged face turned toward Levi. She had not seen him in a long time. I knew it. I knew it was impossible for Levi to be dead, Marlene muttered. She gazed at the burly figure from her memories. Teacher, how did you know I was dead? Levi asked. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. Chapter 775. Marlene leaned back in her chair, a pensive look crossing her aged features. Winnie asked her friends in Riptide City to find out. Levi nodded, keeping his expression neutral. All right then. Marlene tapped a finger on her desk, her gaze distant. Oh right, that bastard Tower Master might return in the future. If he did not die in the myriad machine plane. Levi watched his teacher closely. I also heard that with the Tower Master's abilities, he should not die in battle. He is basically an alchemical creature. As long as he keeps his brain, he can reassemble his body. Marlene sighed, turning her head toward the window. I hope so. Levi shifted his weight, his voice lowering. Teacher, if you had the chance to leave the wizard world in the future, would you choose to leave? Marlene glanced at him. To the human world. Levi nodded slowly. Yes, I know of a place with elemental power that is not inferior to the wizard world. However, that place needs to be kept a secret. I can only bring some of my most trusted people there. He felt that the wizard world was too dangerous. Although the giant tree secret realm was temporarily safe, it could not guarantee eternal safety. Therefore, he wanted to bring those teachers and companions from the Grey Tower, the ones with whom he had built a good relationship, to the human world. Marlene shook her head. I want to wait for the Tower Master to return before we talk about this again. If we all leave this outer sea region, how will he be able to find us when he returns? Levi felt the weight of her loyalty. I understand. He sighed, his shoulders slumping slightly. Tower Master Herman was Wizard Marlene's guide, and he was like a teacher to her. Teacher Marlene would not leave this place in a short period of time. Levi reached into his pouch and placed several items on the table. He left some second circle meditation supplementary potions for Miss Marlene, as well as an extra portion of the Lake Fairy potion that he had previously refined. It would be best if his teacher could break through to the third circle in the remaining decades of her life. If she could not, Levi had done his best, and would not leave behind any regrets. If the Lake Fairy potion was sold outside, it would be snatched up by other second circle, and even intermediate wizards. Even at a price of 100,000 ether stones, buyers would clamor for it. Levi had previously refined 4 of them. He used one for himself and gave one to Miss Marlene. There were still 2 left, and Levi planned to keep them for himself or give them to some important people in the future. The main reason for this limitation was that he had already used up the evil spirit dream fairy's dust. Otherwise, Levi could still mass-produce the potion. Before leaving, Levi went to Manla's grave. This good friend he had known as an apprentice had also died of old age. Old friend, I hope that you are doing well in the underworld. In this chaotic era, which was filled with blood and fire, being able to die of old age was also a kind of luck. Manla's daughter had become an official wizard, and was now teaching in the lush forest tower. The little girl, Leah, whom he had left behind for his teacher, had become a wizard. However, she had not seen Levi for a long time, so she seemed a little distant. Helplessness washed over Levi regarding this. After all, in Leah's memories, the one she was most familiar with was Grandpa Keg, who forged iron and bragged while drinking beer in the blacksmith shop. Leah's mother, the lady boss of the tavern, was already an old granny. Although her hair was white, she was still full of energy. However, Levi could tell from her ashen eyes that she was surrounded by a death aura and was not far from her death. Levi gave her some ordinary potions that could strengthen her constitution and slightly prolong her life. Finally, Levi went to visit Horman. This good brother who had helped him get through the difficulties in the early days was near the end of its life. Horman's bloodline was relatively thin, so it would be difficult for it to advance to a third circle transcendent creature in its lifetime. From the first Tower Master until now, it was already 500 years old. It was also an old snake and its time was almost up. Levi reached out and stroked Horman's head. "Old friend, come with me. I will see if I can help you take another step in the future." Horman shook its head. Levi understood the gesture. It wanted to stay by Granny Marlene and Winnie's side. Levi nodded. "All right, take care. Live a few more years. When I have developed the bloodline potion for the mixed blood dragon race, I will not let you die so easily." Everything in the mortal world could not escape from birth, aging, illness, and death. In fact, it was good to let nature take its course. However, Levi was unwilling. He wanted to live forever, but he did not want to live forever alone. As far as he could, he also wanted those who had helped him to live as long as possible. After all, they were one of the few beautiful memories on his boring cultivation path. After settling his worries, Levi left the giant tree secret realm. The things he was going to look for next were basically all in the inner sea region, or even in the Star Sea. Therefore, he might not return for a long time. Levi traveled secretly to Area 9. The situation there was no different from when he left. The black-eyed crow, Modi, occupied his own Blackfire Island and controlled Area 9. The 8th on the dark list was a senior 4th circle wizard. He had mastered at least 2 3rd circle and 2 4th circle innate spells. His strength was not something that ancient saints who could not even fly could compare to. Therefore, Levi did not have any thoughts of revenge yet. It was just a loss of an island. Levi set off immediately for Area 5 of the Inner Sea region. 3 months passed. Levi visited several wizard markets. However, he discovered that not only the Black Pearl Market, but the other markets had also become the property of the Thunder Dragon family. The medicinal herbs and materials he needed were not sold in the market. The Thunder Dragon family monopolized all the raw materials for the meditation supplementary potion and the realm breakthrough potion. Then, they would let the family's pharmacists make potions and sell them at a high price in the wizard market. Chapter 776. Levi calculated the costs. Purchasing the finished product from the Thunder Dragon family would cost 10 times more than refining the potions himself. Even after accounting for labor and time, the Thunder Dragon family reaped enormous profits. They offer no path for ordinary wizards. They force everyone to buy their potions. Levi left in indignation. He swore to destroy the Thunder Dragon family when he gained enough strength. They acted as a tumor within the wizard world, appearing even more hateful than the dark wizards. Now, I must head to the Star Sea. The higher Levi traveled, the more the problem of resource monopoly and uneven distribution weighed upon him. The dark wizards had caused to start a war. Under the rigid structure of the wizard world, the powerful monopolized everything. Ordinary wizards struggled to climb higher. The giant ship left behind by Sauron decayed long ago. Everything needed to change. Blood and sacrifice seemed inevitable. Levi let out a long sigh. All his unwillingness dissolved into the air. Levi faced obstacles at every turn, yet he finally arrived at the Star Sea. This region served as the Sea of 6 Towers. The 6 Towers consisted of the 7 Waters Steeple, the Witches family, the Ocean Abyss Alliance, the Letney Wizard family, Lilith's cabin, and the Hurricane Steeple. The 7 Waters Steeple built famous ships. The Witches family accepted only witches and excelled at pharmacy. The Ocean Abyss Alliance housed masters of the Sea Clan's bloodline and tamed sea beasts. Lilith's cabin functioned as an ordinary organization without special features. These 4 organizations belonged to the Ocean faction. The Hurricane Steeple and the Letney Wizard family represented the Storm faction and the Lightning faction respectively. The latter organization stood as the only one among the 6 towers structured as a wizard family. It possessed a long history and once produced a demigod-level Grand Wizard. Beyond these 6 towers, countless wizard organizations populated the Star Sea. Entering the Star Sea so early was not Levi's original intention. This region functioned as a playground for the strong. Levi remained a mere 3rd circle wizard. He could barely contend with a 4th circle wizard by relying on his path of knights. In the Star Sea, he sat neither at the bottom nor among the high-level wizards. The resources he needed lay here. Searching for them in the Inner Sea region would be a waste of time. In the Boundless Sea, Levi sat on the flying shark and absorbed the rich elemental energy. The elemental energy in the Star Sea is several times that of the Outer Sea region. It is a holy land for cultivation. Islands arranged like stars lay below him. These private islands belonged to the wizards who lived in the Star Sea. They carried a high price. Intermediate wizards or even primordial soul wizards occupied these islands. Beyond these small private villas, giant islands existed in the Star Sea. Wizard markets and cities populated these locations. Levi set his course for one of them. Old Xavier came to the Star Sea. I wonder how he fares now. Levi arrived on a huge island. This island, Nether Island, served as one of the 12 islands that guarded the Star Sea. These 12 islands contained 12 giant wizard cities, known as the 12 Wizard Cities. The Nether capital stood as one of them. With the war raging, these cities enforced strict identity checks for outsiders. Levi encountered the guards before he could enter the city. Money resolved the issue. Levi obtained the identity token. The Nether capital enforced a fifth circle no flying array. Other than respected high-level primordial soul wizards, no wizard could fly here. The rule allowed for easier management and prevented wizards from escaping quickly after causing trouble. The streets bustled with all kinds of wizards, along with mortals acting as servants, slaves of other races, and various knights and guards. Levi needed potion materials and headed straight to the largest potion shop in the Nether capital, the Witch's Family. This potion shop belonged to the Witch's Family in Nether capital. Levi entered and approached a beautiful witch reading a potion book. She did not look up from her book as Levi approached. If you need any potions, you can tell, little witch. A little girl, approximately the size of Levi's palm, flew through the air. She wore a bow tied around her neck and dressed in a loose black wizard robe. A pair of wings as thin as a cicada's wings flapped rapidly behind her. I am Little Witch Kelly. Mr. Wizard, what potion do you want to buy? Levi felt a flutter in his chest. As expected of the Witch's Family, there is actually a servant like the little fairy. During the ancient wizard era, little fairies acted as butlers for wizards. They managed medicine gardens, wizard towers, and all aspects of daily life. They proved efficient and powerful. Despite their small size, they had mastered powerful fairy spells. The overcapturing of this species made these little fellows a rare sight in the wizard world. The flower fairy mentioned in the cantrip known as Flower Fairy's Tear, which Levi had learned as an apprentice, belonged to this type of fairy. Chapter 777. Levi estimated that the little witch in front of him should have the strength of a second circle wizard. She was also considered a top-notch powerhouse among the little fairies. Hello, Kelly. I need to buy potion materials. I wonder if you sell them here, Levi asked, leaning slightly forward. The little witch hovered in front of Levi and rested her chin on her hand. She shook her head. I am sorry, sir. We do not sell medicinal herb materials now. Why? I remember that you all sold them before, right? Levi asked. At this time, the witch who was reading on the other side moved her eyes away from the book and looked at Levi calmly. She replied that it was a time of war now. She explained that the resources of medicinal herbs in the wizard world were scarce. In addition, most of the wizards who looked for and planted herbs had been sent to the military. Therefore, they had stopped selling materials and only sold potions. Even if he went to the shops of other wizard organizations, he would not be able to buy them. Levi felt depressed. He sighed and prepared to leave. Are you a pharmacist? The witch asked. Yes. The witch raised an eyebrow. How many circles? Levi offered the answer. Third circle pharmacist. The witch thought for a moment. I do have a way for you to obtain the potion materials. Please tell me, Levi said gratefully. Our Witch's Family has recently received some large orders from the military. The pharmacists in the tower are too busy to handle them. We are currently recruiting temporary pharmacists. As one of the rewards for the temporary pharmacists, they have the right to purchase materials from the Witch's Family. If your pharmacist level is good enough, I can arrange an interview for you. Oh right, my name is Celia. The witch named Celia explained. The Witch's Family only accepts female wizards. Otherwise, with Levi's pharmacist skills, it would not be difficult for him to join the Witch's Family. I will take a look around. Thank you for telling me. Levi turned and left the Witch's Family. For the next few days, he temporarily stayed in this city. There were many shops in the Nether capital, and there were also some wizards who set up stalls, but Levi remained unwilling to give up. In a blink of an eye, a month passed. During this time, Levi had toured the Nether capital, and even some of the surrounding cities. He had managed to collect some of the materials needed to refine the meditation art supplementary potion from the nomadic wizards and at the wizard markets. This cost him a total of 50,000 ether stones. However, just as Celia had said, the material stores of those large organizations no longer sold potion materials. This made the situation for many nomadic wizard herbalists even more difficult. It was getting harder and harder to earn money by relying on the pharmaceutical industry. All the resources were controlled by the wizard organizations and families. If one wanted to obtain them, one had to join them. This world, Levi muttered to the empty air. Helpless, Levi returned to the Witch's Family. Seeing Levi return, Celia looked as if she had expected this. Do you want to interview for the temporary pharmacist position? Yes, please help me arrange it. Several days later, after passing the interview, Levi signed a temporary contract with the Witch's Family. Celia smiled. Sir Levi, we will need to use a teleportation spell next. Please hold my arm. After a moment of hesitation, Levi coughed and carefully held the witch's white, smooth, and soft arm with his big hand that could crush an ancient saint. Angumokayan, Celia held a badge of the Witch's Family in her hand and chanted a spell. The next moment, Celia and Levi disappeared from the small pharmacy. When Celia opened her eyes from the dizziness of the teleportation, she found that Levi had already let go of her arm. He was looking ahead in shock. In front of Levi, there was a towering tree that was thousands of feet tall. It pierced through the clouds like the world tree in myths and legends. Beautiful witches with their own merits flew around, coming in and out. On the trunk of the giant tree, there was a powerful and slender gray dragon that seemed to have fused with the giant tree. It was sleeping and snoring like thunder. Levi stared at the creature, his voice barely a whisper. Immortal banyan dragon. Chapter 778. Miss Celia, is your organization really not recruiting male wizards? Levi asked, his eyes fixed on the sleeping dragon. He could not look away. The sight before him defied expectation. A real dragon clan member appeared before him so quickly. No hybrid, no subdragon. A true, pure-blooded dragon clan. Sir Levi, that is the rule set by the first witch. No one can change it, Celia replied. All right then. I was just joking. Do not take it seriously. Levi smiled. I did not expect that your witch's family would actually have a giant dragon. I have learned something new. Actually, the 6 towers of the Star Sea all have their own guardians. These guardians and the 6 towers share a symbiotic relationship. Sir Levi, you are probably new here, and do not know much about the situation in the Star Sea. You will know more in the future, Celia said with a smile. She looked at the sleeping dragon. This is Lady Yggdrasila, the guardian of the witch's family. She is a growing immortal banyan dragon. 3,000 years ago, she signed a guardian contract with the witch of that time. We provide her with a salary, and she guards the witch's family to protect us. She spoke with pride. Having a pure-blooded dragon was a reason for pride. Legend has it that the immortal banyan dragon stays on the world tree. Could this tree be the world tree? Levi asked. You can say so. This is the original root of Pandora's mother tree that our first witch borrowed from Sir Sauron. Later, the first witch and other masters of the ocean faction came to the Endless Sea and planted this root here using a secret technique. Tens of millions of years have passed, and the roots have grown into a towering tree. We call it the magic tree. The magic tree grows only 1 centimeter a year, or 1 meter every 100 years. From the height of this magic tree, you can see the changes in the growth rings of time. Levi looked at the magic tree and estimated it stood about 3,000 meters tall. In other words, 300,000 years had passed since the end of the Antiquity Age. Wow. The Emerald Kingdom disappeared in 1,000 years. Based on that estimation, during the growth of this magic tree, there may have been 300 Emerald Kingdoms in the human world. This was the meaning of the vicissitudes of life. In my previous life, I would have developed advanced technology long ago. However, this transcendent world repeats the cycle without improvement. At the very least, the wizard civilization has made great progress in the past 300,000 years. Compared to the ancient era, it has developed faster. Levi sighed. Follow me, Sir Levi. I will bring you to report for duty, Celia said. Thank you. Levi tore his gaze away from the dragon. Although it was only a subadult immortal banyan dragon, its strength matched a high-level primordial soul wizard. Levi stood insignificant before the dragon. Not long after, Levi followed Celia to the base of the magic tree. Wizard towers of various shapes surrounded the magic tree like stars circling the moon. According to Celia, these wizard towers belonged to high-level primordial soul wizards. They spent most of their time cultivating in the tower, living in seclusion, and rarely appearing in public. In recent years, a portion of them went out to fight the dark wizards. Now, only a few remain to guard the headquarters of the witch's family. What dense elemental power, Levi murmured. Of course, Pandora's mother tree itself is a divine tree. It absorbs the waste energy released by wizards and some transcendent creatures during their cultivation, transforming it into pure elemental power, Celia said with pride. The disparity of the world. Bitterness washed over Levi. If the density of the elemental power in the outer sea region was 1 standard unit, then the elemental power in the inner sea region was 2, and the star sea was 3. In the witch's family, it was above 5. If high-level elemental convergence arrays were added, the difference would be even higher. In the future, I will plant the roots of the entire Pandora's mother tree in the plain where the ancient Saint Empire is located. I want to plant trees too. When I build a wizard tower, I might as well use this kind of divine tree as the main body. A bold idea took root in his mind. Of course, without the roots of Pandora's mother tree, it was all nonsense. The potion hut. This place housed the pharmacists of the witch's family. The potion hut also managed temporary pharmacists like Levi. The interior of the house resembled the mortal world. It was warm and simple, complete with a fireplace. Several books lay casually on the table. Levi glanced at them. Introduction to Advanced Podiwaning, Ancient Potionology, and 100 Herbs Comprehensive Mirror. Wizards often preferred to read books on paper. Levi guessed the owner of the witch's hut preferred the same. These paper books were protected, so Levi could not casually check them. Madam Triss, I brought a newcomer, Celia said. Wait a while. An elegant, magnetic female voice drifted from the attic. All right, madam. Sir Levi, let us take a walk outside. I will take this opportunity to tell you what you need to know, Celia said. Chapter 779. Levi nodded, pleased with the arrangement. Naturally, he wanted to succeed. They stepped outside, chatting as they walked. Celia lowered her voice, careful to keep the conversation private. When you meet Madame Triss, do not call her senior. She dislikes the title. You should know, she is one of the few high-level pharmacists in the witch's family, and she serves as a vice president of the Pharmacist Association of the Endless Sea. Levi stifled a sigh. He was just a temporary worker, and the formality felt excessive. He recalled small, run-down businesses from his past life. Those places required endless rounds of interviews, forcing candidates to face the boss before hiring. The current state of the Endless Sea made the caution understandable, however. Celia continued, listing taboos as they walked. He could not extract dragon blood without permission, nor could he steal the roots of the magic tree. The specificity suggested such crimes had occurred in the past. As their conversation waned, Celia received a notification from Madame Triss. They returned to the cabin. A blonde witch with curly hair and a disheveled appearance leaned lazily in her chair, wearing a casual nightgown. Madame Triss shuffled through papers on her desk, I have read your file. You come from the human world and joined a wizard organization in Area 9 of the Outer Sea region. Now, you are a nomadic wizard. Achieving the rank of third circle pharmacist at your age is impressive. That is why I chose to meet you alone. Levi bowed his head. I am humbled and honored to have your attention, Madam Triss. The witch's family had collected data on his early years. Later, damage to the heart of Skynet had left gaps in their intelligence, requiring Levi to improvise. He kept his key secrets and major events hidden, but provided the rest of his actual history, including his talent as a pharmacist. Revealing a portion of his skill would smooth his path forward. Celia's kindness likely stemmed from her knowledge of his pharmaceutical skill. Triss leaned forward, a playful smile on her lips. Unfortunately, you are a male wizard. If you were a witch, I could bring you into the witch's family. Perhaps you should learn a sex change spell. The witch's family strictly prohibits recruiting transgender witches, but we could make an exception for your talent. Levi paused, uncertain if she teased him. I prefer to remain a male wizard, he replied. Truthfully, he wanted to avoid joining a high-level wizard organization. The restrictions would be stifling. Working part-time and maintaining a cooperative relationship suited him perfectly. Triss straightened up. I am not joking. Take this temporary badge. With it and the accompanying spell, you can travel between our organization and Nether Capital as you wish. Male wizards are not permitted to stay overnight in the witch's family. Return to the Nether Capital after you accept your pharmaceutical missions. Celia is your contact person. She will assign your work. Unless the assignment involves special potions, the success rate for ordinary third circle potions must remain above 80%. If you fail, we will terminate the temporary employment agreement. You will also have to compensate us for the breach of contract and the cost of any lost materials. Triss handed a green, leaf-shaped badge to Levi. It bore the symbol of the witch's family. That is all. If you have any questions, consult Celia. She yawned, patting her lips with slender fingers. Thank you, madam. We will take our leave. Levi and Celia exited the room. They secured the potion-making mission and materials. Levi moved to leave with Celia, but a witch in gorgeous attire approached them. Her eyes widened in shock. Sir Levi, why are you here? Levi recognized the face. It was the Rose Witch, Newt's partner, and one of the 24 flowers. I am here for a temporary job. It has been a long time. How is Wizard Newt? Levi remembered the serious man. Newt found a position as an appraiser professor in a wizard organization. He has returned to his old craft, the Rose Witch replied. Which organization? Levi asked. The Starfire Wizard Academy. It is a recently rising fifth circle wizard organization. Memories of the Black Pearl Wizard Market flooded Levi's mind. That was the organization Garcia, Sparrow, and the others built. It had done quite well for itself. The success was unexpected. I still have matters to attend to. Where are you currently staying, Sir Levi? The Nether Capital? When I am finished, I will look for you so we may catch up, the Rose Witch asked. Yes, I am temporarily staying in the Nether Capital. You can reach me through the witch's family, Levi replied. After bidding farewell to the Rose Witch, Levi returned to the witch's family pharmacy in the Nether Capital, utilizing his badge and the spell. He realized this pharmacy served as the primary teleportation point to the witch's family headquarters. Sir Levi, do you know the Flower Witch? Celia asked. No, I do not know her. I only know the Rose Witch. Is she a temporary pharmacist here? No, the Rose Witch is an official member of the witch's family, Celia clarified. Is the Rose Witch not a member of the Flower Witch? I recall the Flower Witch is the leader of the Sword Flower Tower. Why is she here? Chapter 780. The Flower Witch hails from the witch's family, where she currently serves as a high-ranking member. She founded the Sword Flower Tower as an independent organization outside the family, though she is still considered a member. Levi studied the witch before him. I see. Your Excellency Celia, if there is nothing else, I will take my leave. Here is the list of potion materials I require. Please help me collect them from the witch's family. I intend to purchase them at market price. Celia glanced at the list in his hand. Very well. If your funds are insufficient, we can deduct the cost from your remuneration. She scanned the items. Every ingredient listed was for refining a third circle meditation supplementary potion. They were all exceptionally expensive. Gathering such a sum would prove difficult for a nomadic wizard. Celia understood this well, as she was a third circle wizard herself. Even after her long tenure within the witch's family, she rarely used such supplementary potions. Using a few in a single year was considered a luxury. Thank you. Levi bowed slightly. Goodbye, Sir Levi. You are welcome to the witch's family again, the little witch said with a sweet smile. Goodbye, Kelly. Levi waved and turned away. He held 10 sets of potion materials from the witch's family in his possession. The contract required him to complete the refining process within half a month and deliver the finished goods on time. Proficiency in potion making would increase once more. He had even acquired a free potion formula. The formulas required signed confidentiality agreements, meaning they were for personal use only and could not be utilized for profit. Levi possessed pharmaceutical skills already at level 11. Perhaps he could raise them to level 12 here, the standard of a third circle senior pharmacist. He rented a room in the Nether Capital. He planned to stay in the wizard world for a while, collecting unique resources and knowledge to bring back to the human world. A month passed quickly. Apart from refining potions, Levi scoured the Nether Capital for low-level spellbooks. He needed them to prepare for the fusion of third circle innate spells. He managed to acquire a few third circle spells, though not many. Knowledge concerning spells, potions, and arrays above the intermediate rank remained under the strict control of wizard organizations and families. Nomadic wizards struggled to obtain them. This control explained the rapid rise of the Starfire Wizard Academy. The threshold for joining was low, and it provided nomadic wizards a much-needed avenue to obtain resources. That afternoon, inside a small tavern, Levi and the Rose Witch sat across from each other, nursing glasses of wine. Violet is currently in seclusion, attempting to break through to the third circle, the Rose Witch said. Otherwise, I would have brought her along to meet you. You made quite an impression on her, and she mentions you often. Even our master has expressed interest in you. Levi offered a bitter smile. I am merely an ordinary wizard, barely making a living in the wizard world. I am homeless and lack any organization. I am not worthy of being remembered by a big shot like the Flower Witch. By the way, is she also part of the witch's family now? After Master advanced to a primordial soul wizard, Rose replied. She took the initiative to participate in several battles against other primordial soul wizards, and made significant contributions. Later, while preparing to build her own divine tower, she left the wizard world to travel to other planes in search of materials. She has been gone for more than 10 years. I do not know when she will return. Primordial soul wizards frequently traveled across dimensions for decades, or even centuries. The lifespan of a sixth circle primordial soul wizard stretched as long as 2,000 years. As far as Levi knew, the Flower Witch was currently less than 300 years old. Moreover, after becoming an intermediate wizard, most wizards found their cultivation slowing down. She, however, grew faster with time. Consequently, many rumors circulated that the Flower Witch might be the reincarnation of a grand wizard, or perhaps even a legendary wizard. The Flower Witch denied these rumors, of course. Levi, however, believed such a thing highly possible. Now that he possessed the proficiency panel, coupled with elemental affinity talents and resources, his cultivation speed essentially equaled that of a conventional child of the elements. However, 80 years had passed since he began his journey as a wizard, and he had only managed to reach the third circle realm. Levi estimated it would take 400 to 500 years to reach the higher levels. While differences in talent existed among the children of the elements, along with other variables affecting cultivation speed, the disparity remained relatively small. In Levi's opinion, only those who had reincarnated and begun cultivation anew could ascend so rapidly. Levi sighed to himself. When will I be able to catch up to the Flower Knight and recruit knights? He remained preoccupied with the thought of recruiting the Flower Knight. His daydreaming broke when Rose spoke. So Levi, are you still researching and collecting transcendent creatures? She glanced at the Alice ring on his finger. Yes. I wonder if you might be interested in the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow. The Crimson Netherworld Sparrow? Was that transcendent creature not declared extinct in the wizard world 1,000 years ago? Levi had only heard of the bird because he had come across its information while collecting creatures for the undying bird bloodline. To tell you the truth, my two friends and I found a long-lost entrance to a secret realm in the Endless Sea some time ago. Inside lies an ancient wizard relic, which appears to have been left behind by an intermediate wizard organization. She leaned in. The relic contains a large botanical garden, with many rare potion resources in the outer area. Unfortunately, a large black bird guards the garden. My two friends and I are all third circle wizards, and we include a veteran third circle wizard among us. Chapter 781. After a fierce battle, we were not a match for that bird. We had no choice but to withdraw. We made plans again, and came out to investigate. That bird was actually the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow. This transcendent creature had an extremely strong self-healing ability. Coupled with the strange array in the botanical garden in the relic, it could almost reach the point of immortality. Unless a fourth circle wizard attacked and killed it instantly with its soul destroyed, the bird would be resurrected. However, if we found a fourth circle wizard, I think we would not have a share of those precious medicinal herbs. I thought that you were a transcendent biologist, so perhaps you should have a solution. Therefore, I would like to ask for your help. After the matter is done, we can distribute the herbs in the botanical garden, as well as the other resources in the ancient wizard relic, according to our contributions. Levi tapped his chin, looking at her. Is Wizard Newt not also a transcendent biologist? If we want those resources, we likely have to kill the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow. You know Newt hates these things. I did not even dare to tell him about it. The Rose Witch sighed, her shoulders slumping. I do not like to fight or kill transcendent creatures either. However, Lady Rose is my friend. I can consider it and give you an answer later. Levi shrugged, leaning back in his chair. I understand. Rose covered her mouth and smiled. After catching up with Levi, Rose left. Crimson Netherworld Sparrow. It is actually this kind of transcendent creature. I have finally found the secret medicine to cultivate the dead ember breathing technique. The black flame demonic bird could no longer support Levi's cultivation. This caused his death ember breathing technique to stagnate at level 12, making it difficult for him to advance. However, there are certain risks in going to the ancient wizard relic and exploring the mythical realm, especially if you team up with others. Lady Rose is fine. My danger perception detected no ill intentions from her. However, it is hard to say about her friends. If I go, I have to be fully prepared. It is best if everyone signs a non-harm agreement before the exploration. The last time Levi teamed up with someone was when he was hunting earthly dragon beasts in the human world. At that time, he was backstabbed by his teammate. Fortunately, he was powerful and successfully counterattacked. he definitely had to go. After this village, there might not be this shop anymore. Besides, Levi could even kill a 4th circle wizard, so he would not be defeated by a few 3rd circle wizards. However, he had to be careful. 3 days later, Levi replied to Lady Rose that he would participate in the exploration. Lady Rose said that she had an array wizard friend who needed to prepare some restraining circles against the relic in advance, so she tentatively decided to explore it in a year. Levi naturally had no objections. He also needed to prepare. In the Nether capital, the cooperation between Levi and the witch's family went smoothly. The quality and success rate of the potions he refined were recognized by the witch's family. On the other hand, Celia had also helped Levi collect all the potion materials and asked Levi to go get them. When he arrived at the witch's family, the little witch quickly calculated the cost. Kelly has done the calculations. A total of 105,000 ether stones will be needed. 3,000 ether stones can be deducted from Sir Levi's remuneration for the next 5 years. Levi took the goods and looked at them. The materials inside should be enough to make about 100 meditation supplementary potions, enough for him to cultivate for 10 years. The higher the level of the meditation supplementary potion, the longer the effect would last. There was no problem with the price. Levi handed over another 100,000 ether stones, and now he only had 250,000 ether stones left. Although he was still a wealthy man among the 3rd circle wizards, he still felt insecure. Even Celia was surprised. She did not expect Levi, a nomadic wizard, to be so rich. Even the 3rd circle wizards of the witch's family, excluding those with fixed assets, could not take out so many ether stones. Celia fantasized. Sir Levi was not a simple wizard. Not only was he talented as a pharmacist, but he was also rich. It was just that his looks did not suit her taste. How could she not want to find a rich, talented 3rd circle wizard full of potential to travel together on the path of wizardry? Unfortunately, she did not like ordinary wizards, and the wizards that she liked did not like her. Therefore, even now, Celia was still alone. "Thank you, Miss Celia." Levi put away the materials and left. Celia was a good person. She did not kill him after she saw that he was rich. However, he had to be careful in the future. He could not show off his wealth. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Year 1095 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, month of harvest. This year, Levi's pharmaceutical proficiency had increased more than in the past few years combined. Coupled with the materials that he already had, Levi had gathered 100 sets of meditation potion materials. In half a year he had refined all of them, making a total of 86 successful sets, which was enough for him to cultivate for a long time. He estimated that after he digested all these potion materials, coupled with the dense elemental power in the Star Sea, his spiritual force would reach 150 points. As for the 3 arts of the wizardry, weapon refinement, and array, due to the lack of higher-level blueprints and inheritances, they were still stuck at level 5, which was the level of the 2nd circle. As for spells, the 3rd circle spell, Sunflame Explosion, Levi had already reached the maximum limit, level 9. Let us go test its power. Levi left the Nether capital alone and found an uninhabited sea area. Chapter 782. A weird single-rimmed monocle sat over his right eye. Polished crystal formed the lens, engraved with complex, miniature arrays and runes. Levi clutched the casting materials. He chanted the incantation for Sunflame Explosion. 5 golden flames grew in his palm. They spun, fusing rapidly. They transformed into a golden sun, 10 meters wide. He threw the golden flames. They exploded. The shockwave engulfed him. Boom. Flames soared toward the sky. Numbers appeared on the lens of the monocle. Attack energy detected. Attack strength coefficient, 33 Ka. Sunflame Explosion, cultivated to perfection, possessed an attack strength of 33 Ka. Not bad. The upper limit of a 3rd circle spell's attack power sat at 39 Ka. This power would shatter most 3rd circle defensive fields. Caslot, the wizard who invented this tool, possessed true genius. Levi removed the monocle and tucked it away. These glasses, known as Caslot's eye, originated from a high-ranking wizard in the wizard world named Caslot. So far, no mass production existed. Most low-level wizards knew nothing of the device. Levi only learned of the item through his connection with Rose at the witch's family. He spent 3,000 ether stones to acquire one for testing. Had the war not intervened, the Wizard Council would have promoted Caslot's eye throughout wizard civilization. It would have introduced a system to classify spell attack power, the Caslot test. This test method would overhaul the messy, inconsistent spell strength grading system of the previous wizard civilization. It would abolish the arbitrary S, A, B, and C grades. From that point, all attack spells would rely on the Caslot strength achievable at the limit of the spell, without amplification variables. It was shortened simply to Ka. The standard of 1 Ka relied on the fireball technique for comparison. A perfection-level fireball technique reached an attack power of 1 Ka. The upper limit of a 1st circle spell sat at 3 Ka, a 2nd circle spell at 12 Ka, and a 3rd circle spell at 39 Ka. The upper limit defined the theoretical ceiling of a spell. Generally, only standard S-rank spells reached this limit when cultivated to perfection. Most spells fell far short of their upper limit. The higher the circle, the wider the range of attack power. Under normal circumstances, the Sunflame Explosion only hit around 27 Ka. That remained strong. Levi reached a terrifying 33 Ka due to the Ether Dominance special effect, and the amplification of the fire dragon true form. He stood only 6 Ka away from the theoretical limit. Those 6 Ka stumped 99% of third circle spells. With this wizard tool, testing spell power and selecting suitable innate spells became much easier. If he synthesized an offensive spell with an upper limit of 39 Ka, his actual attack power with his special effect would exceed 40 Ka. It would reach the lower limit of a fourth circle spell. If Levi possessed a full set of top-grade third circle spells hitting their upper limits, he could fight an ordinary fourth circle wizard without relying on his Path of Knights. The highest quality third circle spell differed little from the weakest fourth circle spell. Top-grade spells remained extremely rare. For ordinary wizards, obtaining a top-grade third circle spell proved more difficult than finding an ordinary fourth circle spell. It was rarely worth the effort. However, for Levi, the proficiency panel changed everything. With enough low-level spells, he could synthesize top-grade spells. To Levi, top-grade spells acted like equipment, without level restrictions, in an old online game from his past life. This allowed Levi, a level 3 player, to use level 4 equipment in advance. Wearing the glasses in the future would also allow him to detect the strength of enemy spell attacks. Battles would become data-driven. Failure would be less likely. Caslots I could only test spells below high-level ranks. High-level spells, grand spells, and legendary spells remained beyond the measurement capability of the instrument. After reaching the high-level realm, spell strength underwent a massive change, exceeding the range of the device. Levi tested the other third circle spell in his arsenal. The Glacial Sword Finger, mastered to level 8, registered an attack power of 20 Ka. It fell far inferior to the Sunflame Explosion. Thunderbird registered 12 Ka, the theoretical limit of a second circle spell. Sword Blade Storm reached 10 Ka, and Glacier Descent hit 9 Ka. Let me test the strength of my physical attack. Levi revealed his normal fire dragon true form and punched. Boom. Energy poured forth. In the void before his eyes, the number soared. The intensity factor stopped around 30 Ka. Under the normal fire dragon true form, an ordinary punch produced a power of 30 Ka. If I use the serious punch of the Furious Dragon Lord and the Giant Dragon Warrior, it might exceed 100. Levi tried the Destruction Sword Chi again. A grayish-white air current surged from his longsword, shooting out with a loud bang, piercing through gold and breaking rocks. Attack strength coefficient, 39 Ka. This actually reached the limit of the third circle. With the form buff, it would likely reach 100 Ka as well. Levi felt he had succeeded again. The theoretical upper limit of a fourth circle attack sat at only 200 Ka. After testing his combat strength, Levi returned to the Nether capital. In a few days, he would depart to explore the secret realm. Preparation remained necessary. Chapter 783. Realm of Ice Lake Bega. This was the largest lake in the realm of ice due to the relentless cold. A thick layer of ice covered the lake year-round. An endless snowfield stretched across the surface, and a blizzard merged the sky with the ground. 5-colored light filled the sky like an aurora. A team of wizards marched through the wilderness, their frost-white robes blending into the ice. A slender witch carried a heavy spear named Eternal Night, while holding the hand of a little girl, who stood only as tall as Elsa's chest. Sister Elsa, why do you always carry this spear on your back? The little girl, an apprentice wizard, tugged at the witch's sleeve. Because I was once a knight, Elsa said, her voice soft. A knight? What is that? The girl asked. It is a kind of faith, Elsa said, a bitter smile touching her lips. What else could it be? Even legendary knights could not make her settle down in the wizard world. She could not reach the polar cave to slay the enemy who killed her master and senior sister. Wizards believe in the truth, but what do knights believe in? Gods? The little girl asked. I am not sure, perhaps, Elsa murmured, recalling the past. The Snow Queen of the Evernight Kingdom, the so-called saintess, appeared ridiculous now. At the end of the day, she was just a tool of the church. She had never possessed the dignity of a queen. She could not even meet her own child. You have a lot on your mind, Sister Elsa. The little girl looked ahead, her expression full of heartache. Mina, where is your family? Elsa asked. I do not have a family. The wizards of the Silver Fox cabin brought me up. They said dark wizards killed my parents after I was born. I was picked up from a white bear's den. Are you not sad, then? Do you not miss them? I do not think so. I have never seen them. I am already lucky enough. Because of my wizard talent, the wizards saved me. Ordinary people without talent, children like me, would have frozen to death on the streets long ago, Mina said. Elsa remained silent. She stroked Mina's head, her heart heavy with depression and desperation. It was unknown how many children like Mina had lived through the flames of war from birth to death. In this world where transcendent power reigned supreme, being weak was the greatest sin. After Elsa left the White Bear Tower, she had been wandering outside, and had yet to join a new wizard organization. She learned that the realm of Frost had completely fallen. An 8th Circle Peak wizard, the deputy tower master of the Winter Tower, a regional management organization like the Star Tower, betrayed the organization and led the way for the Dark Wizards. He backstabbed the Tower Master, who was loyal to the Frost Witch, and became the Tower Master and regional administrator. After he came to power, he massacred those close to the Tower Master and eliminated all dissidents. Now, he was suppressing the Frost Giant Resistance. The Frost Giant Resistance was an underground resistance organization formed by the forces of the former righteous wizards. They kept fighting against the current rulers of the Dark Wizards, waiting for the support of the Parliament. They used the Frost Giant as a symbol because the legendary witch who made a fortune in the School of Ice then traveled to the central realm, supposedly possessed the bloodline of the frost giant ancestor, Yugmir. Therefore, many spells and wizard tools created by the School of Ice used the frost giant as a prefix. We are about to arrive. Everyone, buck up. Hold on a while longer. The Parliament army will come to support us soon, the leading wizard said. He was the only second circle wizard in the team. Exhaustion lined everyone's faces. It was late at night, and the temperature was even lower. It was no exaggeration to say that the water had turned into ice. Cracking sounds fractured the silence of the ice. Boom. The 10-foot-thick ice suddenly wrinkled and cracked with an ear-piercing screech. An ice blue fang beast, resembling a giant walrus named Bluedeye, pounced ferociously. As the walrus split the ice, the light of arrays ignited, forming a blizzard cover. It surrounded the small team in an instant. The second circle array was a wind snow prison. Enemy attack, the team leader shouted. It is too late. On the back of the giant walrus, 2 second circle wizards stood side by side. One controlled the array, while the other began to chant spells. Elsa's expression tightened. She patted Mina on the shoulder. Run with me, she said. I will think of a way to break the array. She knew betrayal had likely occurred. The odds were against them. A terrifying spell descended from the sky, and the team leader struggled to resist. The other teammates used spells to engage the enemy. Elsa shielded Mina, searching for a way to break through. The walrus charged through the team, unleashing ice spells. The beast was a second circle transcendent creature of extraordinary strength. After Elsa dispatched a few enemies, she seized the chaos to reach the corner of the array. Ice Aurora. Ice runes flickered on Elsa's body. This was the result of the ice body tempering technique she had learned over the years. At the same time, the Aurora bird seed also burned. Chapter 784. An extreme attack tore a hole in the array. Elsa grabbed Mina, tossing the little girl through the gap. She squeezed through just before the hole sealed. The blizzard shattered her protective spell. Second circle arrays possessed terrifying power. Go, Mina, Elsa urged. Elsa sprinted, relying on the speed of the Aurora breathing technique to put distance between them and the pursuers. She carried a grudge. She would become stronger, then return to the human world to find her daughter. Someone escaped. I will pursue. You can handle the rest alone, right? No problem, but come back and support me. Yes, I am just chasing after a little bug. It will not take long. The silver-haired wizard among the 2 second circle cultivators sneered. He activated his flying wizard tool, rising into the air to give chase. He was a second circle wizard. The target could not escape. So fast, I cannot catch up. The second circle wizard felt a surge of shock. He flew with a wizard tool, yet he struggled to keep pace with a witch running on the ground. What was happening? I am getting serious. He chanted an incantation, and more spell power surged into the wizard tool. The artifact turned into a stream of light, closing the distance. He began to chant a second ring spell, then pointed gently. A terrifying ice spear whistled toward Elsa. Elsa barely dodged the second ring spell. In the next moment, another area of effect spell struck, and a dense rain of ice fell. Every attack threatened to cripple her. Mina tried to resist with her apprentice cantrips, but they shattered like paper. Elsa's spear blocked for a moment before flying from her grip. A huge gap remained between the second and first circle. She threw Mina out of the attack range. Mina understood the intention and distanced herself. Without Mina, Elsa fought with all her might. She moved like a phantom through the icy rain, graceful and agile, a swimming dragon. The speed of the Aurora bird. Interesting. A body-refining wizard. Your body tempering technique is not bad. The silver-haired wizard stopped attacking. Hand over the body tempering technique. Become my servant witch. Make a servant contract and I will spare your life, the silver-haired wizard said, his tone dripping with condescension. Elsa hesitated, then spoke seriously. If you keep your promise, I can sign a servant contract. Becoming a slave outweighed the cost of death. If she died, the future vanished. As long as she lived, anything remained possible. That is right. I like people who know how to adapt. The silver-haired wizard drafted a contract and threw the slate to Elsa. Elsa took a deep breath. She reached for the contract, but a loud voice cut through the air. You cannot sign it. A muscular wizard crashed from the sky, shattering the ice and sending shards flying in every direction. He straightened, his fists popping. Elsa stared, stunned. The spiritual force fluctuations suggested he had only recently become an official wizard. Where did this hothead come from? Is a mere first circle wizard trying to save a damsel in distress? Ridiculous. The silver-haired wizard waved a hand, shooting an ice arrow at the stranger. The burly man caught the ice arrow in his palm. The projectile shattered into fragments. The snowstorm seemed to pause. Both Elsa and the silver-haired wizard stood in shock. He had crushed the ice arrow with his bare hands. Hee, another body-refining wizard. Since you are courting death, do not blame me for being rude. The silver-haired wizard chanted a new spell. The burly wizard stomped, shattering the ice as he rose from the ground. His body expanded, his robes bulging, strained to the breaking point. A golden mist ignited around him, like golden fur. Power gathered on his palm. 8 Kinkagong, City Crusher. The silver-haired wizard felt no concern until his protective force field shattered under the palm. The problem became clear too late. The giant palm landed on the silver-haired wizard's chest, sending him flying like a broken kite. The burly wizard, now standing more than 3 meters tall, and resembling a golden giant, followed closely. He threw a punch. The silver-haired wizard used a spell to resist, narrowly avoiding the impact. The ice layer cracked, floating on the surface of the lake. Elsa felt a deeper shock. She recognized the truth. This man was not a body-refining wizard. He was a legendary knight, just like her. How was this possible? How could a legendary knight defeat a second circle wizard? Could a legendary wizard have become a body-refining wizard, just like her? Elsa remained puzzled. Sister Elsa, who is that? Why did he save us? Mina, having returned to the area, asked. Elsa shook her head, dumbfounded. She had never seen him before. Who exactly are you? The silver-haired wizard dodged, preparing his spells. Serious injuries made casting difficult. Chapter 785. The silver-haired wizard held enough strength to avoid this sorry state. His overconfidence proved fatal. He never expected an enemy to shatter his protective force field. Elsa seized the moment. She rushed forward and unleashed a flurry of strikes. She used her superior speed to coordinate with the strange legendary knight. She recognized the truth. The knight possessed unparalleled attack power, but he lacked speed. Compared to her own swift movements, he lagged behind. Mina launched the few cantrips she knew at the silver-haired wizard. The silver-haired wizard panicked under the encirclement. 8 Kinkigong, Moonshot. The burly wizard focused every ounce of energy. The Saint 8 seed within his body roared. Endless power surged into his palm. Boom. The earth-shattering strike shook the ice. The silver-haired wizard collapsed. He gasped his last breath, unable to accept his fate. What on earth defeated me? The wizard whispered. He closed his eyes, unable to find peace in death. A huge foot crushed him, and his body shattered. The wizard gathered the storage bags and the discarded wizard tool from the ice. He turned to the female knight. She panted, drenched in sweat. You must be the goddess knight Elsa, he said. How do you know? She asked, breathless. Have you seen me before? My name is Emperor Mew, he said. I have never seen you before, but I know who you are. Emperor Mew. The name rang a bell. Are you Emperor Mew of the Tuva Empire, the Fist of the Empire? That is right. We cannot stay here for long. Let us find a safe place to talk. Soon, Elsa and Emperor Mew fled the site and found shelter in a hidden ice cave. The second circle wizard on the other side retreated, mourning his fallen comrade. I never expected you to enter the wizard world, Elsa said. She had not recovered from the battle. I am just as surprised to meet you, Emperor Mew replied. I came with the Ocean School of Thought to support the army of the Cold School. An accident during teleportation separated me from my teammates. Meeting you feels like fate. May I take a moment to introduce you to an organization with infinite light and a bright future? After Emperor Mew left the Yellow Earth continent, he discovered a special characteristic of his ancestral breathing technique. The technique thrived in battle. The stronger the opponent, the faster the cultivation. Legend claimed the Saint 8 loved combat. He had inherited that attribute. His commander, Levi, always preached safety and quiet cultivation, but that path did not suit him. He required the bloodshed of the vast world to grow stronger. He renamed the technique the Battle Saint Ape. He had accidentally killed a disciple of a 5th circle wizard family. Heaven took pity on him. It was self-defense. The kid provoked him first, relying on his father, a 3rd circle wizard, to bully others without fear. Emperor Mew had finally reached his limit and punched the boy. Fearing retaliation from the powerful family, he joined the army supporting the School of Ice and hid in the Realm of Ice. He hoped to wait until the heat died down. A tracking mark remained on his body, but the distance between realms prevented the family from locking onto him. Elsa leaned against the cave wall. What organization are you talking about? She asked. Lady Elsa, do you believe the legendary realm marks the end of knighthood? Emperor Mew asked. Right, it has been that way since ancient times, Elsa said. If I told you a path exists beyond the legendary realm, would you believe me? Emperor Mew exuded confidence. Elsa stared at the man. He seemed taller in that moment. I did not believe it before, but after seeing your power, I do, Elsa admitted with a bitter smile. Emperor Mew nodded. The path of a knight has no end. A legendary knight is only the first step. 2nd and 3rd steps await. Elsa listened, sighing. You are a god, breaking the shackles of legendary status to forge a new path. Emperor Mew shook his head, gazing into the distance. You are wrong. My path is only the 2nd step. Someone else stands further ahead. He is our guide. What? Elsa felt the shock rattle her understanding. Do not be surprised. Talented people exist in this world. They remain low-key to avoid attention. Our organization follows this rule. If you are interested, we can sign a simple confidentiality agreement, and I can explain more. Elsa took a breath, trying to calm herself. She wondered if the man was playing a trick on her. Chapter 786. Emperor Mew did not rush her. He looked confident. Haha, Commander, you definitely did not expect that I actually met the goddess knight in the realm of ice. Our Twilight Knights will finally have a woman. Emperor Mew felt proud. He did not know that the divine light knight Denise had already joined them in the human world. A moment later, Elsa said, I am willing to sign the agreement. Emperor Mew nodded and handed the agreement to Elsa to sign. Lady Elsa, the organization I want to introduce to you will be the lighthouse for all the knights in the world. Its name is the Twilight Knights. The vice commander is the once famous legendary Blood Knight, and the commander is an unknown big shot who has already stepped into the supreme realm of knighthood. Who is it? The Supreme Knight, Levi. Endless Sea, Nether Capital. A tavern stood on the corner. Levi sat alone in a private room, drinking wine. Nameless wine. Speaking of which, the grass on the grave of the Nameless Knight should be taller than me. The Blood Knight and the Black Knight have already been conquered among the 7 legends of the Shining Tavern. The Nameless Knight, the Golden Knight, and the Lionheart Knight were confirmed dead. My level is too low to conquer the Flower Knight. The only one left is Snow Knight Flare, who bravely charged into the world. He is already hundreds of years old. There is a high chance that he is dead unless he is born with the bloodline of a longevity species or became a wizard. Levi shook his head. At this moment, chatting and laughter spilled into the private room. The rose witch had brought her friend here. Levi put away the nameless wine. Sir Levi, you are already here. The rose witch smiled. Her mood was bright. Two wizards walked in behind her. One was a male wizard wearing a blue robe with a golden lightning pattern on it. His spiritual force fluctuation matched the old golden lion, who had mastered 2 innate spells. It was very likely that he was a third circle senior wizard. This wizard possessed a handsome and elegant appearance. He carried the demeanor of a big family. The other was a female wizard in a white robe with a daffodil pattern. When Levi looked at this female wizard, memories of their past meeting surfaced. As expected, the Whitewater witch is still alive. Levi remembered that before Area 9 fell, she and the extreme fire ancestral wizard disappeared, while being chased by the black-eyed crow. It seemed that she had run back to the Star Sea. Thinking about it, it made sense. She was different from the extreme fire ancestral wizard. The extreme fire ancestral wizard was a nomadic wizard, and did not have a backer, but she did. Naturally, the Whitewater witch had seen Levi before. However, she did not greet Levi at the time. She had wanted to invite Levi to join the Monsoon Tower. Unexpectedly, the Monsoon Tower was destroyed by the black-eyed crow, and she almost died there. Sir Levi, let me introduce you. This is the Whitewater witch. Like me, she is also one of the 24 maids of the Flower Witch. This gentleman-like wizard is Lager Leo Letney. He is the pride of the Letney family, and a third circle array wizard. Of course, he is also the partner of the Whitewater witch. After that, the Whitewater witch smiled. Sir Levi, we are old acquaintances, although we did not greet each other. Levi smiled. There was something urgent at that time. I hope Lady Whitewater can forgive me. Leo's expression changed slightly, but he quickly returned to normal. He coughed and remained silent. Your Excellency Lager Leo, it is our first time meeting. I hope our cooperation will go smoothly this time, Levi said with a kind tone. Leo nodded and smiled. With Sir Levi's participation, this exploration of the ancient ruins should not be a problem. He looked at the Whitewater witch and said jokingly, I did not expect you to know Sir Levi. Such a young and promising transcendent biologist and a third circle pharmacist, he must be a descendant of a big family, right? Why do you not introduce him to me? We only met at that time, and did not even greet each other. How can I introduce you? Besides, Sir Levi is not a descendant of any family. The Whitewater witch rolled her eyes at Lager Leo. I am just joking. Let us get down to business. About the things to take note of during this exploration. Sir Levi, you must have a basic understanding of that ancient wizard relic, right? Lager Leo looked at the Rose Witch. That is right. I have been introduced to His Excellency Levi. That is good. I wonder if Sir Levi has a way to resist the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow's undying ability? Lager Leo asked. I have a way to stop its regeneration. Do not worry about that, Levi stated. He possessed the Death Ember power that could suppress the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow's self-healing ability. All right, because I was the first to discover this secret realm, and I am also in charge of the most important array part of this secret realm, I will take 40% of the gains from the Secret Realm Botanical Garden this time. Do you have any objections? Lager Leo demanded. No problem. This was previously discussed by everyone. The Rose Witch replied. I am fine with it too, but the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow's corpse belongs to me. I do not care about anything else, Levi said. That was why he had come. He would always be able to find medicinal herbs. An almost extinct transcendent creature like the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow was the most important asset to him. Leo nodded in satisfaction. Yes, I am very impressed that a nomadic wizard like Sir Levi can have such a mentality. After all, most nomadic wizards are poor and like to fight for trivial benefits. I have never liked them. Chapter 787. Levi kept smiling. You are right. If there is a choice, who would not want to be a disciple of a high and mighty family? He did not refute anything. That would be meaningless. A genius like Lager Leo lived in a different world than him. All right, let us go. Let us not waste any more time. Rose sensed the atmosphere was a little awkward. There were friends on both sides, so she smoothed things over. All right, I know you are a disciple of a large family clan. Rose and I are also nomadic wizards, right? If you look down on nomadic wizards, why are you with me? Lady Whitewater spoke with a slightly plaintive tone. Lager Leo smiled. You are different. Besides, I do not mean to look down on Sir Levi. Do not misunderstand. I am just stating some objective facts. I agree with Sir Levi. Levi smiled but said nothing. He followed behind the group. After leaving the no-fly zone of Nether Capital, Levi brought out the flying shark and prepared to enter. Leo retrieved a small model of a wizard airship from his storage bag. Then, he chanted an incantation. The model grew with the wind and kept expanding. Finally, an exquisite and luxurious wizard airship appeared. A fierce golden lightning pattern adorned the side of the airship. It was the emblem of the Letney family. It was obviously custom-made. Sir Levi, your flying shark is a little slow. Why do you not take my lightning model? On the way, we can communicate with each other and discuss how to deal with the ferocious creatures in the ancient ruins. As far as I know, there is more than just the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow. Lager Leo let the two ladies go up first. The Rose Witch frowned slightly. On the other side, the Whitewater Witch did not look too good either. She regretted saying that she knew Levi. Levi flashed his white teeth in a warm smile. In that case, I will not stand on ceremony. Thank you. Nothing happened along the way. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Somewhere in the Star Sea, on the surface of the sea, a golden wizard airship descended with a bang. Huge waves cleared the sky, and the runes on the surface of the airship flickered. It broke through the seawater and drilled into the sea, turning into a submarine. At the bottom of the deep sea, a green light appeared in front of Levi. He stayed on guard. Danger perception issued warnings. He could not tell if it was because of the danger in the secret realm. Lager Leo posed no problem. Although his attitude was very arrogant, he should not have any hostility. He just liked to show off. The entrance to the secret realm is up ahead. I will put away the wizard airship later. Everyone, get ready to enter, Lager Leo said. At the bottom of the deep sea, a cave emitted green light. 4 wizards appeared at the edge of the cave, and a hideous strange fish rushed out. It was about the level of a first circle transcendent creature, but a golden lightning chain on Lager Leo's fingertip annihilated it easily. There are always some ants who overestimate themselves, Lager Leo said with a smile. He snapped his fingers. On his palm, golden electric arcs like spider webs danced, illuminating the deep seabed, including everything in the cave. The spells of the Letny family are really something. Lady Rose sighed. The Whitewater Witch nodded in agreement. He could clearly use lumos or spiritual perception to be able to cultivate to this level. He is at least 100 years old. Why is he acting like a little kid? Levi complained. He could not understand the thoughts of the disciples of large families. What was the point of being in the limelight? Other than that moment of vanity and satisfaction, it was meaningless. There were 3,000 great Taos, and the hidden Tao existed forever. Levi followed silently and stepped into the glowing door. When he reappeared, he stood in a place filled with birds and flowers. Sir Levi, do not run around and try not to fly. The crimson netherworld sparrow will not leave the botanical garden. Instead, it is the least dangerous here. From the last time we explored, there might be some other dangers in this secret realm. It is elusive and unpredictable. It is impossible to guard against it, the Rose Witch reminded. Levi nodded and followed the group. Everything around him stayed within the range of his intuition perception. This secret realm was much larger than the giant tree secret realm, and Levi's hurricane secret realm. The giant tree secret realm was a miniature secret realm, while the hurricane secret realm was a small secret realm. This was a medium secret realm. It was unknown how far they had traveled. Master, I am hungry. In the Greenfield Immortal House, Leon lay on the ground. The strange insects paced back and forth, as if they were very anxious. Levi felt helpless. He sent some transcendent creature meat into it. It seemed as though he had been left far behind by the Rose Witch and the others. He chased after them and followed behind silently. As he walked, the Rose Witch and the others in front stopped talking. It felt a little strange. Your Excellency Rose, how far is the botanical garden? Levi asked without batting an eyelid, his hair standing slightly on end. The Rose Witch in front just kept walking without looking back or paying attention to Levi. The Whitewater Witch and Lager Leo did the same. The dense forest covered the sky and the sun. The light became dimmer and dimmer, and the sound of birds faded away. The air was a little wet and cold, and the faint sound of water dripping echoed. A cold wind penetrated his body and brushed his soul. Chapter 788. Inside his mind, the divine ring tower spun slowly. Everything appeared normal. Levi closed his eyes. Upon opening them, the ashen eye manifested. A grey kingdom reflected in his pupils. Ashes fell from the sky. The 3 wizards in front of Levi lacked any flames on their bodies, as if crafted from ash. This meant they stood no chance of survival. Levi's eyes remained as calm as an ancient well. With a light tap, the glacial sword finger flew out, piercing through Lager Leo. Like a punctured balloon, Lager Leo deflated with a series of puffing sounds. Grayish-white water flowed from the hole. A moment later, Lager Leo transformed into a human skin and a pool of grayish-white water. The Rose Witch and the Whitewater Witch continued walking forward. They ignored the changes in their companion. A moment later, Lager Leo stood up, walking forward shakily, like a paper effigy. Interesting, Levi thought, his lips curling up. Leo's voice echoed from the Greenfield Immortal House. Master, let me out. I want to eat. Wait a minute. Levi chanted, and a golden flame emitting scorching heat appeared in his hand. Boom. He let the golden flames explode, centering the blast on himself. Flames soared toward the sky. Trees charred instantly, turning into nothingness. Ash rose within the high temperature. Everything within a radius of nearly 100 meters burned away, including the 3 phantoms that only cared about walking. The human skin and gray water melted, dissipating into ash. Flames purified everything, pretending to be mysterious. A gust of cold wind struck from behind. A heavy water barrier flared into life. The golden snake's scale layered over his skin. Levi revealed his fire dragon true form. Flames burned across his entire body. Death ember power wrapped around him. Ashes and flames rose. A dull thud echoed. A foreign object struck Levi's back. He grabbed it backhanded. A thin snake with a miniature beauty's head struggled in his hand, emitting an unpleasant roar that remained incomprehensible to Levi. Levi threw a copper ashen coin. Unyielding silver seat Owens, he commanded coldly. Windmill Village in the Ashen World. The armored man, sitting alone at the entrance to the village, lost his daze. An excited expression took over. He drew his silver sword and cried out. Windmill Village's #1 expert, Owens, is here. Then, Halfling Owens, standing only a little over 1 meter tall, looked at his stunted body with worry. I say, can you summon me with silver coins next time? Owens sighed. I am not asking you to fight. Help me identify this. Is it the deathfall you mentioned? Levi's ashen power restrained the human-headed snake. It wrapped its body around Levi's arm, struggling nonstop. This is deathfall. What is going on? Has your world been invaded by deathfall too? Owens's expression turned solemn. I am not sure. Levi's death ember power and flames erupted, finally crushing deathfall to death. What exactly is deathfall? Levi asked. In his hand rested an irregular gray crystal containing a trace of mysterious energy. This is good stuff. Unfortunately, this is my incarnation, and I cannot bring it back. Owens stared at the crystal. Master, I want to eat. I want to eat. I am hungry. Leon's anxious voice reached Levi's mind. Levi did not rush to give it to Leon. He fed it some ordinary flesh and blood before keeping the gray crystal. What is deathfall? I cannot explain it either. Baron Megan said that they seem to be an undying existence formed by the negative, dark, and decadent obsessions of all living beings. In our world, only the sword of the Grey Swordsman can kill Deathfall. You can kill Deathfall probably because your strength and the power of the Grey Swordsman come from the same source. It is also this power that can allow a foreigner like you to enter the Ashen World. To a certain extent, you can be considered a member of our Ashen World, Owen said. Levi took out a silver coin with a Death Ember Dragon engraved on it. So what is this? Levi asked. This is the coin of life, Owen said. I mean the pattern on it. Oh, about that, I do not know. After all, I have not studied, and I am illiterate. I only heard Baron Megan say that a long time ago, there were quite a number of big shots in the Ashen World who had the authority to mint coins. They were collectively known as the Ashen Lord or the Ashen King. The patterns on the coin of life forged by each Ashen Lord differed, but they basically resembled the lords themselves as the supreme symbol of royalty. They rewarded these coins of life to the most heroic Grey Swordsmen under their command. At that time, there were many experts above the 6th stage of the Grey Swordsman in the Ashen World. Unlike now, where a 3rd stage Grey Swordsman like me is already an expert. Unfortunately, for some reason, the Ashen Lords had all disappeared. It was also possible they had fallen. After that, deathfall began to spread in our world. The coins of life are getting fewer, and it is getting harder and harder for the Grey Swordsmen to advance. The strong are gradually withering, and deathfalls are becoming more and more common. This is an endless cycle. Levi's expression grew solemn as he looked at the silver coin and pondered. Is this not forged by me? Could it be that I am the Ashen Lord? He put away the silver coins. Not long after, Owens disappeared from the secret realm because his strength was exhausted. Levi stared at the charred glade. He continued to move forward. Those things just now should be an illusion created by the Deathfall beauty snake. This Deathfall's ability was indeed as Rose had described. It was impossible to guard against. Even Levi did not know when he had succumbed to it. Beauty snake was what Levi called it. Its strength was probably no weaker than a 3rd circle wizard. The most troublesome thing was that it might take a lot of effort to kill it with spells alone. Not long after, Levi located Rose and the others resting in the forest through intuition. They were chatting and laughing, unaware that they had disappeared. Levi's expression changed slightly upon seeing this. Beside the Rose Witch, there was another Levi who had the same expression and aura as him. He sat silently. Then who am I? This secret realm did not seem as simple as he had imagined. Levi suddenly thought of a terrifying question. Did Rose and the others really come back alive after the last time they explored the secret realm? Chapter 789. Nameless Secret Realm. In the lush primitive forest, Levi did not advance rashly. At first, he only suspected that the Levi beside Rose was fake. Now he began to suspect that Rose and the rest were fake too. No, that is impossible. I am scaring myself. Rose is a member of the witch's family. There are so many high-level primordial soul wizards in the witch's family. If it was really an evil spirit in disguise, with their terrifying spiritual force and knowledge, it was impossible for them not to sense it. Unless this evil spirit was stronger than a primordial soul wizard, this was even more impossible. Such a powerful existence did not need to be so cryptic and complex. What purpose did it serve? Everything required a motive. He was already so strong. Was he doing all this to fool others? Was there a point? He was so bored he could scream. Therefore, if there was really an evil spirit, or some kind of deathfall playing tricks, it would not be very strong. He could only rely on this old-fashioned perception deception to create illusions. It was a lure to trap him step by step, or to deal him a fatal blow when he suffered a mental breakdown, and let his guard down. I will not fall for it. My danger perception remained silent. However, speaking of which, is danger perception accurate? He relied too heavily on danger perception. These supernatural things and ghosts are so boring. Levi's expression remained cold. Inside the storage bag, Leon paced back and forth anxiously. Master, I am hungry, Leon said. Why are you hungry? I do not know. I am hungry, Master. I want to eat that thing. Leon kept repeating the same sentence like a child who did not know anything. Levi did not waste any more time. All around him, endless coldness assaulted him. Following that, the chatter from Rose and company drifted in. Beyond that, the surroundings were quiet. Only Levi's heartbeat remained, a burning furnace within his chest, like firewood popping in a fireplace. His hand traced over chest muscles as hard as gold and iron, and the cold scales coating his body. He held Frostmourne tightly. A sense of security settled over him. All fear stems from insufficient firepower. I am not afraid of these things. Levi clenched his fists and began to retreat silently. No matter what, this place felt strange. It was better not to explore for the time being. It was not that Levi was afraid. He just felt that it was boring. It is just a monster. How dare it appear in front of me? I will crush it with the giant dragon warrior. I will let the flames purify everything. Levi muttered to himself as he retreated. A creaking sound came from the solace of his feet. He did not look down. His intuition told him it was just a fallen branch. Suddenly, he looked at a big tree full of vitality beside him. On the rough surface of the bark, unknown insects crawled. Levi frowned and opened his right palm. A trace of the casting materials of the sun flame explosion spell remained in his hand. I used the sun flame explosion to burn this place just now. Everything within 100 meters became ashes. What is going on? It grew out so quickly? Damn it. I have not broken the illusion yet. Levi's expression changed slightly. He looked into his storage bags. The gray crystal formed by the death of the Deathfall remained. It is a little strange. It feels like a dream, but it also feels like reality. I cannot tell, Levi muttered to himself. In his previous life, he often experienced such situations in dreams. He would think he had woken up from a nightmare, but in fact, he had only entered a deeper dream. What was called a dream in a dream. After the alarm clock truly woke him up, he would realize the last time he thought he had woken up was also in a dream. However, ever since he became a wizard, he did not sleep at all. Occasionally, he would sleep and not dream. Dreams were a sign of low sleep quality. How cliché. He no longer cared about Rose and the rest in front of him. Regardless of whether they were real or fake, Levi did not care anymore. He only wanted to leave this place now. He knew that nothing good would come out of exploring relics. Gradually, their voices drifted further and further away from Levi. Levi's battle with the beauty snake seemed to have never happened. The sound of birds chirping returned to the deep forest. It was as if he had pressed the pause button and, at this moment, pressed the play button again. In the dense forest, Levi stayed on full alert as he walked towards the exit in his memory. He did not run or fly. That would only make him look afraid of the other party. In fact, Levi was not afraid at all. If that thing dared to appear in front of him, he would directly exorcise it. Levi returned to the exit in his memory, a pitch-black cave. No green door of light existed in the cave. A rotten smell assailed his nose, as if a long time had passed. This was the cave that Levi and the others had entered. Logically speaking, it should have been a green door of light. Through the door of light lay the underwater abyss. As expected, the exit is gone. Either someone has closed the exit, or I am still in the illusion. Even my memories are starting to become chaotic. Levi's heart turned cold. He took a deep breath, held Frostmourne, and turned back in the direction he had come from. Chapter 790. Let me see what the hell you are. Soon, Levi returned to the dense forest. Rose and the others were no longer at the place where they had been resting. Levi followed expressionlessly. He did not know how much time had passed. As the voices of the conversation had drifted toward him, he finally caught up with Rose and the rest. They looked anxiously for Levi. The moment Rose saw Levi, she heaved a sigh of relief. She smiled. Sir Levi, why did you fall behind? We were all waiting for you. Levi's intuition spread out, and his heart skipped a beat. The fake Levi had disappeared. The illusion was gone. The ashen eye appeared. The world in front of him turned gray again. Rose and the rest stood like clusters of bonfires with ashes flying everywhere. They are alive, Levi said to himself. Sir Levi, what is wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Did you encounter an evil spirit? Lady Whitewater asked with concern. Major Leo stared at the scene, his expression unchanging. He urged from the side, since we are here, let us hurry to the botanical garden. After dealing with the crimson netherworld sparrow, and dividing the medicinal herbs, let us leave. This place is indeed a little strange. It seems different from the last time we came. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I am fine. Let us continue, Levi said with a smile. No one knew his thoughts. Let us go. The group set off again. This time, Levi followed them closely. At the same time, he opened the proficiency panel. Levi, Golden Snake Breathing Technique, level 14. When the proficiency panel appeared before him, Levi's nervous and anxious heart calmed. After an unknown period of time, Levi and the others finally passed through the forest and arrived at the entrance of a deep valley. A layer of gray fog lingered in the valley, making the scenery inside invisible. The outline of some plants sat inside, as if a silent person stood there. Vaguely, something peered through the fog. A simple road sign similar to the one in the mortal world stood there. Botanical Garden. Below the sign, small blood-colored words appeared. There are guardians inside. You are not allowed to trespass into the botanical garden to steal medicinal herbs. Otherwise, you will bear the consequences. Signed the Botanical Garden Management Committee. Levi stood in front of the sign and stopped. Danger perception flared, pointing toward the botanical garden. It might be the crimson netherworld sparrow, or something else. Do not worry about that. This was established before this organization was destroyed, Major Leo said with a frown. Did you not come here once? By the way, do you know why this organization was destroyed? Levi asked. Rose shook her head. Lady Whitewater hesitated, her expression puzzled. She looked at her partner, Major Leo. Do not ask me. Although I was the first to discover this place, my understanding of this place is not much better than yours. I guessed that he might have done some forbidden experiments, or he might have harmed a dark wizard. Sir Levi, if you are worried about the danger, just back off. Anyway, without you, I am confident that I can take down the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow now. If it was not for Lady Rose, I am afraid that she would go back on her word to you. Actually, I did not want to bring you here, Lady Leo said impatiently. Levi, do not worry. Did we not sign an agreement not to hurt each other before we came in? Rose offered a pleading look, unwilling to see Levi clash with Lady Leo. Let us go. I am just curious. I do not mean any harm. Levi was not angry. He took the lead and stepped into the territory of the botanical garden. Upon entering, elemental power surged, far richer than the outside air. A large-scale elemental convergence array hummed, nurturing the plants. A bird chirped deep in the valley. The sound was hoarse, mournful, and intermittent. Be careful. There might be evil spirits hidden in the botanical garden. Lady, stay closer to me. This way, it will be easier for me to protect you. Evil spirits are most afraid of flames and lightning. Lady Rose, you had better not be too far away from me. Lady Leo reminded her. Sir Levi, I heard that you are a body-refining wizard. You should be able to protect yourself, right? Yes, do not mind me. The heavy water barrier around Levi lit up, and the coldness disappeared like an ebbing tide. A force field vortex as bright as golden smoke lit up around Lady Leo. It revolved around him, forming a golden tornado. In the tornado, wisps of golden electric current interweaved into a net, forming a terrifying force field that shattered all darkness. Electricity crackled loudly, and the fog in the botanical garden scattered. Lady Leo proved the strongest third circle wizard Levi had encountered. The man likely mastered 3 innate spells. Levi frowned. If this was an illusion, everything felt too realistic. Even a third circle wizard could not pierce the veil. Suddenly, insects ground their wings in the fog. Levi prepared to attack when Lady Leo stretched out his hand and pointed. A golden chain of lightning tore something out of the fog like a whip. Chapter 791. An emerald green mantis, the size of a puppy, stood before them. The difference lay in the head. It was a human head. The face possessed great beauty. It looked exactly the same as the beauty snake Levi killed previously. Death fall. Levi held back his attack. He wanted to see how Lady Leo dealt with the creature. Master, I am hungry. Go hungry. I will give you a good meal when I get out. Levi spoke to the insect. Golden lightning chains erupted from the golden thundercloud vortex, protecting Lady Leo. They lashed out like tentacles. The chains struck the monster Levi called the beauty mantis. A terrifying electric explosion shook the botanical garden. Under the onslaught of Lady Leo, the beauty mantis writhed in agony for several minutes before it died. A gray crystal lay on the ground. Lady Leo inspected it. This was not his first time killing a deathfall. He collected the crystal. The object looked much smaller than the crystal from the beauty snake Levi had killed. Owens had explained that larger crystals indicated a stronger monster. Lady Leo sighed in relief. He drank a bottle of spell power recovery potion. This thing is an evil spirit. It is strange and difficult to kill. An ordinary third circle transcendent creature would not have lasted more than half a minute under my attack. Lady Leo frowned as he spoke. An evil spirit. Whether called an evil spirit or deathfall, they were merely different names for the same creature. These monsters gave Levi a sense of déjà vu, even though he had never seen them before. A human-headed monster. He remembered the specimen known as the nightmare creatures. He found them at the bottom of the Mirror Lake on the Yellow Earth continent, in the Dreamland Steeple branch. There were frogs with human faces on their backs, spiders with human faces, and strange birds with human faces on their hips. The mouths of the human faces were where the strange birds excreted. Nightmare world, Ashen world. Are these two worlds related? Levi suppressed his doubt. Rose and the rest continued forward. They occasionally encountered evil spirits along the way. Levi never had to make a move. Lady Leo killed them all. Although Levi disliked disciples from large families, he admitted Lady Leo was a reliable and powerful teammate. Lady Leo collected every gray crystal. Levi did not know their purpose. Leon complained of hunger throughout the journey. The insect had become uneasy and anxious since entering the secret realm. Eventually, the group stopped in a clearing. Tall stone pillars emerged from the fog ahead. They displayed the trajectory patterns of an array. A large black bird perched on the top of one pillar. It opened eyes that burned with black flames as it locked onto Levi and the group. The Crimson Netherworld Sparrow is indeed a transcendent creature declared extinct. Levi muttered to himself. He had to find a way to capture it alive. A dead Crimson Netherworld Sparrow could not provide the resources Levi needed to cultivate his breathing technique. After reaching the legendary stage, the secret medicines needed to practice the breathing technique required the blood of transcendent creatures. This blood had to be purified to create bloodline essence. Only living transcendent creatures could serve Levi over the long term. Ideally, every creature would have a partner of the opposite sex. They could pair up and give birth to descendants in Alice's ring for his personal use. Unfortunately, finding even one transcendent creature was difficult. Finding a pair to breed was nearly impossible. Even with their long lives, finding a mate remained a mystery. The stronger the creature, the harder it became. Do you see that stone array? As far as I know, that is the fourth circle Undying Windfire array. This array makes that damned beast arrogant. I will use the third circle array I prepared to temporarily suppress the effect of that array. The three of you, especially Sir Levi, must take advantage of this opportunity. Kill the beast within 1 minute. My array only lasts for 1 minute. If you leave even a trace of life in the beast, it will be reborn within the grand array. Lady Leo emphasized the urgency. Understood. Be careful. Lady Whitewater spoke with concern. Thank you for your concern, lady. Major Leo smiled. Rose looked at Levi. Levi nodded. If you are ready, I will begin. Golden lightning flickered in Major Leo's pupils. He chanted a complicated incantation. Golden array flags broke through the fog and rushed into the clouds. A golden 8-pointed star array appeared on the ground and rushed toward the stone pillar. The collision between the two grand arrays began in an instant. The stone pillars trembled as beams of black light connected between them. Chapter 792. The rose which fixed her gaze on the target. In front of her, a mirror made of huge water currents appeared. A ray of white light shot out toward the crimson netherworld sparrow. This was the innate spell of the rose which, flowing water shot. Lady Whitewater used her second innate spell, Gluttony Flower. A terrifying giant, man-eating flower took shape and enveloped the black bird. Its tragic cries pierced through the clouds and cracked rocks, making the eardrums of everyone nearby ache. Rose turned to the group. Levi, get ready, she said. Slash. The black bird claw tore apart the defense of the gluttony flower, leaving the beast riddled with wounds. However, these wounds constantly healed. Without the effect of the grand array, the self-healing process slowed. Flames engulfed the crimson netherworld sparrow as it charged at the group. Levi triggered his fire dragon true form, and the death ember power coiled around his body. Boom. He rose from the ground and collided with the crimson netherworld sparrow. In the next moment, the creature reeled backward. Levi stumbled, then recovered, his large hand encased in death ember power and lunging for the beast. Endless black flames swept across and drowned Levi. Although these flames were strange, they were still flames. With his high resistance to fire and golden scales shielding his skin, the heat washed over him without consequence. The Rose Witch and Lady Whitewater exchanged glances. Levi's power surpassed their initial estimates. Killing the sparrow seemed imminent. Seconds ticked by. Half a minute later, Major Leo shouted, his face tight with strain. Come on, I cannot hold on much longer. Levi slashed with Frost Morn, sending destruction sword chi tearing across the air. The blade severed the sparrow, but stumps erupted into new heads within seconds. The death ember power swarmed the body, restraining its growth. Levi stepped forward and drove the crimson netherworld sparrow from the sky and into the earth. The impact resonated with a rumble. Birds scattered in panic across the botanical garden. The ground shook and the heavy fog parted, revealing the clearing. The force behind the blow proved catastrophic. Levi sliced the beast into fragments. The remains twitched and trembled, fighting to knit themselves back together. Death Ember. Levi surged the power of the Death Ember forward. A tide of ash-like energy swarmed the pieces, coating them like batter on meat. The great black sky curtain clamped down. Waves of 5 dragons might assaulted the soul of the crimson netherworld sparrow. The enslavement effect of the 5 dragons might was only effective on the dragon clan. However, it could also produce a mental attack effect on other existences whose spiritual force was weaker than Levi's. Pinned beneath Levi, the crimson netherworld sparrow wailed. Its spirit faded, edging toward disintegration into ash. Levi's scarlet dragon breathing technique had yet to advance, or else he could have forcefully contracted the beast. He produced a third circle life-binding ring. He had spent 200,000 ether stones to acquire it specifically for this capture. The investment was massive, comparable to the price of some low-quality fourth circle wizard tools. Levi had less than 100,000 ether stones remaining. Still, given the potential of the crimson netherworld sparrow, the cost was justified. The contract wizard tool took hold, and the beast ceased its struggle. Levi maintained his grip. After binding the sparrow with the great black sky curtain, he deposited the creature into Alice's ring, leaving it for the Wind Thunder-winged Dragon Raja and Tyrant 2 to inspect. Now that I have resolved one of my worries, the next step is to think of a way to leave this place, Levi muttered. He began his recovery. Nearby, Major Leo deactivated the array. The wizard's face stood starkly pale, but after he downed a series of expensive potions, color rushed back to his cheeks. Did I not ask you to kill it? Major Leo fixed his cold gaze on Levi. I am a transcendent biologist, Levi replied, meeting the wizard's glare. Is it not the same if I capture the beast alive? What if it breaks your contract? Major Leo snapped. Do not worry, it will not happen, Levi said, his expression flat and unreadable. Golden lightning flashed in the pupils of Major Leo. Lady Whitewater grabbed his arm and shook her head gently, indicating for him to relax. Then you take only 10% of the medicinal herbs, Major Leo said. It does not matter, Levi said with a shrug. Rose walked over to smooth things over. Levi is a transcendent biologist. Although he is a little stronger than Newt, and not to the extent that he cannot bear to kill transcendent creatures, he definitely cannot bear to kill a transcendent creature with his own hands. Do not worry, he has the ability to suppress it. There will not be a next time, Major Leo said coldly. He quickly brought Lady Whitewater to the precious medicinal herb garden on the other side of the array. Rose offered a bitter smile. Let us go too. Levi looked apologetic. I am sorry. Sigh, we are all friends. There is no need to do this. I should thank you. If it were not for you, it would be very difficult for us 2 witches to deal with the crimson netherworld sparrow in a minute, Rose said. She quickly flew toward the herb garden. As the battle subsided, the scattered fog surged over from all directions. It was cold and gloomy, and it made a comeback. Levi stepped out and extended his hand into the fog at the same time. He grabbed a chameleon with a beautiful woman's head. The creature was caught and could not move. It opened its mouth and stuck out a long tongue like a chameleon. Along with its saliva, it shot toward the face of Levi. Chapter 793. The circles of teeth in the creature's mouth mirrored the jagged rows of his own vampire touch. Levi did not hesitate. He summoned the Death Ember power and the Crimson Emperor's fire, reducing the chameleon to ash. Bah, ugly thing. In the herb garden, Lager Leo, Rose, and Lady Whitewater gathered the medicinal herbs. Levi studied the flora. Many were varieties from the plain where the ancient Saint Empire once stood. He had already secured the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow, so greed felt unnecessary. He could simply gather the scraps. He remained motionless, letting them work. The secret realm felt heavy with strangeness. He stood on the periphery, waiting for the others to finish. Leon paced nearby, his voice trembling in Levi's mind. Master, I am hungry. We will be out soon. Levi watched the strange insect. It grew more anxious by the second. Later Leo stepped in front of a rare plant, his face blank. This is mine, he said. Rose plucked a specimen. This is mine. The Whitewater which followed suit. This is mine. Levi stood back. You choose. I do not want the herbs. Let us leave after you pick what you need. He lowered his head, his expression hardening. He looked at his arm. Goosebumps rose along his skin, standing stiff against the cold wind. A cold, strange sensation returned, washing over him in an unstoppable tide. It drowned his senses. Rose and her companions appeared before the herbs repeatedly, like a flickering, stuttering reel of film. Their voices rang out, devoid of emotion. This is mine. This is mine. This is mine. They seemed to have forgotten him entirely. Again, sigh. Levi sighed, extending his palm. Flames and Death Ember power erupted, soaring into the sky. The explosion shattered the fog. In the firelight, the phantoms of Rose and the others continued their cycle, flashing in front of the charred remains of the herbs. They repeated the same line. This is mine. Thousands of voices seemed to fill his ears, all chanting the same sentence. So, you damn things only know how to use repetition to play tricks. Levi roared, leaping high into the air. The phantom of the nine swords Azura loomed behind him. Golden scales encased his body like armor. Flames formed a battle robe, and a scarlet cloak billowed behind him. Bloodline Dharma body, nine swords Azura, grayish-white currents, infused with Death Ember power, blasted in every direction. Faint screams pierced the fog. This is mine. It is mine. Mine. The repetitive voices faded away. Levi dismissed his Bloodline Dharma body, and released Leon from the Greenfield Immortal House. His heart, once as calm as stagnant water, churned with ferocious vortexes. Master, I am hungry. The spell between master and servant was the only thing keeping Levi from destroying the creature. If you are hungry, then go hunt. I will wait here. Return when you are full. Levi's eyes turned cold. He drove Frostmourne into the ground, sitting cross-legged behind the blade. He gripped the hilt, motionless as a king. Leon's blurry face twisted into a grotesque smile. Thank you, master. There is so much delicious food. The creature roared and lunged into the fog. Screams erupted from the darkness. Levi flicked a silver coin into the air. Owens materialized in the space before him. The armored figure landed with a heavy thud. He looked at Levi, who sat waiting. You were surrounded by Deathfall? There are so many auras of Deathfall. How did you persist? I am the 100 Slayers of Death, and I am not even sure I could survive a siege of this magnitude. I suspect as much, but the Deathfalls are trivial. There is something else behind all of this. Levi's mouth curled into a smile. Owens, chat with me for a while. Owens imitated Levi, driving his own silver sword into the dirt. You actually used a precious silver coin to summon me just to talk. What a waste. Tell me what you want to talk about. Tell me the story of Windmill Village and Baron Megan. Levi looked ahead, his gaze piercing through the layers of fog. His voice dropped to a low murmur. Owens nodded, beginning his tale. Baron Megan is a very gentlemanly lord. Levi listened to the story, nearly hypnotized by the boredom of the surroundings. After an unknown period, he looked at the empty ground beside him. Owens had left. Leon remained hungry. After another day, the fog in the valley dissipated completely. A round figure emerged from the dense forest. Burp. Master, I am full. There is so much. I cannot finish it all. They have all run away. Do you know where it went? I know, but I am too full. I cannot move. Leon collapsed onto the ground. Levi stared down at the creature. Leon, do you know what you are eating? Chapter 794. Leon's speech and intelligence seemed to have improved. The creature was growing. Food, Leon said. Forget I asked, Levi said, his voice flat. He remained silent for a long moment. Levi suspected that Leon might have accidentally mutated after the Saint Scorpions ate something similar to these Deathfalls. He carefully recalled the food he had fed them. Seconds ticked by as he waited. Levi was not used to the silence without Owens there to nag. Unfortunately, he did not have any silver coins left. He had to admit that the ghost behind the scenes possessed some ability. As he pondered the situation, the line between reality and illusion began to blur. Sometimes the world felt true, sometimes false. It no longer mattered. The only thing that mattered was that there was nothing that could not be killed. Levi firmly believed in this. Mortal knights feared the so-called unkillable evil spirits and undead because they were ignorant and lacked firepower. It was the same in the wizard world. Even wizards had areas beyond their knowledge. The greatest horror was the unknown. He knew nothing about that creature, which led to this confusing situation. It did not mean that the entity was powerful. If it were truly strong, whether it wanted to possess Levi, kill him, or harbored other intentions, it could have directly subdued him. However, it had not. It relied on the 3 teammates who came in with Levi to constantly torture his mind and will. By the way, where did the fake me go? Levi wondered, remembering the duplicate that had disappeared after he returned. He sent his consciousness into Alice's ring again to confirm that the crimson netherworld sparrow remained there, and had not transformed into anything. The grey crystals left behind by the death fall he had killed were also there. All of this must be true. Leon, bring me to your food, Levi commanded. He waited for a long time, but the existence did not manifest. Therefore, he decided to take the initiative. All right, Leon chirped. The carapace on Leon's back suddenly opened and a thin, membrane-like wing grew out. Levi followed Leon and disappeared into the empty valley. After a long time, the fog surged over again, and the botanical garden seemed to return to normal. Levi followed Leon and left the strange botanical garden. A secret realm was not large to begin with. He did not believe he could not find that sneaky entity in such a small place. Levi searched for a long time, but could not find Rose and the rest. He stopped looking for them. It seemed that something might have happened to the 3 of them. In the secret realm, Levi's perception of time began to weaken. He did not know how long he had been walking. Now he stopped under a huge tree. The trunk was covered in green vines, plants, flowers, and butterflies. The patterns on the butterflies' wings resembled a pair of large eyes. Fortunately, if it is not a human face, it is a normal butterfly, Levi whispered. His intuition sensed a corpse behind the vines. The flames in his hand burned away the foliage, revealing a decayed, hollow tree hole. Inside, a rotten corpse lay, its original features obscured. A large number of caterpillars rested on it. Some had even formed pupas. The ones hatching from the pupas were the butterflies Levi had just seen. After being frightened, these bugs quickly ran away and disappeared in an instant. Levi looked at the robe, which remained in good condition. A golden lightning pattern adorned the fabric. Later Leo, Levi murmured, though he did not come to a firm conclusion. He spat out a golden snake tongue to collect the aura of the site. Although the smell of decay was potent and mixed with countless scents, Levi sensed that the aura of this corpse might not belong to Lager Leo. Earlier, a disciple of the Letny family entered this place and died in this tree hole. According to Levi's understanding of the decaying speed of a wizard's corpse, this disciple might have died only a few years ago. The first person to discover this secret realm was Lager Leo. Could this be a companion who entered with him and died here? Lager Leo had not mentioned this situation before. It was just a guess. Levi remained on guard as he searched the body. Unexpectedly, the corpse's storage ring remained. Levi broke the restriction and opened it. He realized that a few pleasant surprises waited inside. 50,000 ether stones, some low-level spellbooks, and 3 spell crystal balls. The crystal balls contained third circle spells. They held the Thunder Snake technique, Thunderstorm Force Field, and Lightning Chain. The Thunder Snake spell is the advanced spell of the Thunderbird that I need. It saved me a lot of money. The other 2 are not bad either. That force field should be the one used by Lager Leo. Levi put these away. He also found a scarlet metal the size of a human head in the corner of the storage bag. This is actually heavenly fire meteorite iron, an elemental metal of a higher grade than luminant gold. Even with Levi's steady state of mind, excitement flared. Such a piece of heavenly fire meteorite iron was worth more than the luminant gold Levi used to forge Tyrant 2. This was because this meteorite iron could be used to forge 4th circle and 5th circle wizard tools, and even soul artifacts. Even if Levi had not obtained the crimson netherworld sparrow, this trip to the secret realm would have been worth it. Chapter 795. Of course, that was assuming Levi could get out. With his current realm, the Frostmourne sword forged with luminant gold was simply not enough. It was time to forge a better weapon. The disciple of the Letny family surely did not die at the hands of another wizard, or else the storage bag would have been taken away long ago. After confirming that there were no other clues, Levi left and asked Leon to continue leading the way. The twisted and deformed skeleton in the tree hole remained silent as caterpillars surged over it, and vines once again covered the opening. In the end, Levi followed Leon to a plain filled with fog. Buildings appeared vaguely through the mist. The outermost area consisted of huts for mortals, while further inside lay the residences and wizard towers of practitioners. In the center, a towering wizard tower stood as a landmark. The structure spanned 5 floors. More particular wizard organizations usually used the number of floors in their towers to demonstrate their status. The 5th floor likely belonged to a 5th circle wizard. If this secret realm were an intermediate wizard organization, this location functioned as the core of the entire space. Master, there is so much food inside. Leon gazed at the wizard tower greedily. I want to kill all of them and eat them all. Levi patted Leon's head, and the insect rubbed Levi's hand affectionately. Then come with me to take a look. Since some things only dare to hide in the dark, play tricks, and avoid facing me directly, we will take the initiative to face them. Levi's bones crackled. He tilted his head and gripped Frostmourne tightly. He stepped into the fog and headed for the wizard tower. Along the way, the walls of the mortal residences felt dark and damp. They were covered in colorful mold that felt sticky to the touch. Levi paid close attention to every detail in his surroundings. He did not waste any more energy destroying the environment. After the previous battle, he knew that some kind of external strength had interfered with this secret realm, possibly an array or an illusion. The answer lay within the wizard tower. Laughter of women echoed from the surrounding fog. The sounds conjured images of enchanting, plaintive, or cold faces. Roar. Leon hugged a beauty centipede charging at Levi. He opened his mouth and swallowed the creature whole. The centipede struggled with its many legs. More and more weak death falls pounced at Levi, who remained wrapped in his death ember power, like moths to a flame. Levi watched the fallen monsters vanish and felt a surge of confidence. Are you afraid? He grabbed a monster that pounced on him. The creature possessed a lizard-like body and thin, insect-like wings on both sides. A crown-like growth sat on its neck, and colorful scales shone along its back. It looked a little like the nightmare lizard in the dream dragon breathing technique inheritance diagram, but that nightmare lizard lacked a crown, or such gorgeous colors. This was one of the few monsters in the fog that did not have a human head. Like the crimson netherworld sparrow, it counted as an ordinary transcendent creature. The 5 dragons' dignity inside Levi's body activated and swept toward the strange lizard's mind. The lizard's mind went blank. 5 terrifying dragons of different shapes, all high and mighty, watched it from an indescribable distance. Without much effort, the strange lizard quieted down. It wailed in fear and begged for mercy. Levi knocked the lizard out, tied it up, and placed it in Alice's ring. Even if it is not a nightmare lizard, it probably has the dream dragon bloodline. Levi dripped blood into the crystal ball. The reading indicated an unknown transcendent lizard bloodline of 67% and an unknown dragon clan biological bloodline of 4.3%. It seemed the crystal ball lacked a database, but the creature likely belonged to the dream dragon family. Wherever Levi passed, the weak death falls quickly died and turned into gray crystals. He lost count of how many he had killed. Leon no longer felt hungry and simply waited for instructions to keep the rest. The 100-strike record of Owens paled in comparison to the toll Levi was taking. His intuition swept across the mansions and small wizard towers. Some timid figures hid among them, perhaps death falls or something else, but they were beginning to show fear. Levi arrived at the bottom of the largest wizard tower, and the fog broke. Someone stood there. The figure looked exactly like Levi. Levi smiled. The figure smiled back. Levi stirred, and so did the duplicate. Levi sighed in his heart, recalling the process of being teased along the way. The moment he saw this fake version of himself, an unknown anger burned. Hellfire wrapped around Frostmourne and transformed the weapon into a flaming sword. Levi's body expanded until he became the tallest existence on the plane, save for the wizard tower itself. He spat out a mouthful of sulfurous air. Endless flames cleared the fog around the tower. He looked down at the tiny fake Levi. You do this too. The terrifying world-extinguishing flame sword wrapped in black death ember power and grayish-white destruction sword chi. The two forces, black and white, spun and coiled like twin fish. Beep it. The fog on the plane tore open as if by a furious god. Sunlight penetrated the canopy and illuminated the fake Levi's face. The features seemed to change constantly. One moment it was Levi, then Ledger Leo, then Rose, then Lady Whitewater, and finally the face of an unfamiliar man. In the end, the appearance fixed. It became a face Levi had seen before, expressionless and hollow-eyed. Dense death falls surrounded him like locusts, blocking the sunlight. The flames collided with the darkness. The wizard tower collapsed in a massive quake. Levi looked at everything reduced to ashes and the distorted face. Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard. Chapter 796. The Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard stood as a legendary figure in Area 9. He disappeared while exploring ancient wizard relics. By the time he returned, he held the rank of a third circle wizard. Kulam and Joanne, who worked for Levi, both belonged to the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard organization. However, after the Black-Eyed Crow defeated the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard, causing his disappearance, these two followed Levi. Seeing the Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard surprised Levi. Yet, after so many deceptions, Levi struggled to determine reality from illusion. Real or not, he needed to end it. A group of death falls collapsed under the weight of Levi's world destruction sword. Gray crystals rained from the sky. Levi intended to collect them once the battle concluded. He would study some himself and send the rest to Owens in the Windmill Village during his next trip to the Ashen World. That man's strength required improvement. The Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard remained silent, his demeanor that of a puppet. He cast no spells, choosing only to assault Levi with waves of death falls. Levi relied on his endurance and the death ember power to annihilate the death falls. These death falls appeared particularly weak, resembling a toxic swarm. Still, other wizards would struggle. Even fourth circle wizards might find themselves exhausted to death if caught in the swarm. A golden flame materialized, and the sun flame explosion erupted. Terrifying shockwaves swept across the area. The Extreme Fire Ancestral Wizard's body melted. His face turned to wax, as did his body. He dissolved into a pool of pus and evaporated beneath the flames. The fog enveloping the plane faded. He died just like that. Levi stood motionless for a long time. He approached the wizard tower, which his sword had already leveled. Vines and flowers choked the tower, indicating the array had failed long ago. Levi let his intuition sweep across the structure. The tower seemed safe, so he stepped inside. Damp walls oozed with slimy fungus, and water dripped somewhere in the darkness. The black nameless fungus infected everything inside, living or dead. A virus, Levi muttered. Ordinary viruses infect living beings, but this one infects everything. He activated the heavy water barrier. Flames radiated from him, keeping the fungi at bay. He spotted a book on a fungus-covered bookcase. Dream Analysis by Freud. This had to be a relic of the Dreamland Steeple. Levi gripped an identical book that had manifested in his hand. The Daydream Wizard, leader of the Dreamland Steeple, went by the name Freud. Had the nightmare world invaded this place? A terrible realization struck Levi. The Dreamland Steeple dedicated itself to researching the nightmare world. Every member had consumed hallucinatory potions to enter that realm. They vanished into the nightmare world, never to return. They disappeared from the wizard world entirely. The nightmare world was a superior realm. According to research from the Dreamland Steeple, it functioned as a high-dimensional spiritual plane like the underworld and the astral world, rather than an ordinary material plane similar to Nora. Time passed with no results. On the third floor of the wizard tower, Levi encountered a mirror. It looked like an ordinary antique. Mold covered the frame, yet the glass remained clean. Levi stared at the mirror, stunned. The surface reflected more than just Levi. A spider-bodied monster, with a woman's face loomed behind him. The woman's face matched the beauty snake, and the beauty chameleon exactly. 8 compound eyes stared back, each composed of a human face. Levi's expression shifted. Surging power from the death ember lashed out toward the human-headed spider. The wall of the wizard tower disintegrated. Nothing stood behind Levi. Yet, glancing at the mirror, he saw the human-headed spider clearly behind him. No, Levi realized. It is not behind me. It is inside the mirror. Clarity struck him. He slammed his palm forward, and endless flames obliterated the fungus. The wall vanished. The mirror on the wall remained pristine, untouched by the devastating attack. The spider's 8 female faces curled into teasing smiles. It felt like a hunter mocking its prey. Levi realized the extreme fire ancestral wizard served only as a puppet. This strange human-headed spider was the mastermind. He produced a breathing technique inheritance diagram. Man-faced spider breathing technique. This was the first perception-type breathing technique Levi had obtained. With his progress, spider sensing and vibration perception had become his most vital skills. Man-faced spider, correct? Levi asked with a smile, feeling a measure of relief. The spider in the mirror ignored him, its 8 female faces fixed on him. Chapter 797. I finally understand why my perception was disrupted. I have met the main character, Levi thought. Although the man-faced spider on the breathing technique inheritance diagram appeared abstract, it depicted the same creature reflected in the mirror. Legend claimed the man-faced spider excelled at creating illusions. It used terrifying abilities to drag prey into the deepest nightmare. Levi and the man-faced spider in the mirror stared at each other. The creature gradually disappeared into the glass. A real mirror world existed within the frame. Levi recognized that place. Nightmare world. Levi blasted the glass with fire. The mirror shattered into pieces and melted into liquid. It had been an ordinary mirror. The man-faced spider simply chose to manifest itself in that form. The cold sensation of being watched receded the moment the glass broke. Levi continued to search the wizard tower. He found 4 white cocoons in the laboratory of the tower master. Transparent containers lined the room, holding specimens that resembled nightmare creatures. They were strange, random combinations of monsters from nightmares. He moved toward the white cocoons, which consisted of tightly woven cobwebs. Levi used Frostmourne to cut them open from left to right. The first was empty. The second was empty. In the third, Lady Whitewater lay with her eyes closed. She breathed regularly, as if immersed in a dream. Levi nudged her, but she did not react. The fourth cocoon held the rose witch, who remained in a similar state. Where did Lady Leo go? Levi looked at the second cocoon, and extended the golden snake's message. The aura inside belonged to Lady Leo. The first cocoon likely held the extreme fire ancestral wizard. A complicated pattern covered the floor of the first cocoon. It seemed like a symbol. Levi recorded it on his memory slate. He trusted his mental strength to remember the symbol, but he worried about the potential influence on his memory. He carried the rose witch in one hand and Lady Whitewater in the other. They quickly left the wizard tower and the plain, returning to the botanical garden. The fog had vanished. Traces of his battle with the crimson netherworld sparrow remained on the ground. His expression remained calm as he passed through the primitive forest and arrived at the cave. The rotten smell had disappeared. The familiar green light door stood before him. Levi hesitated for a moment before stepping through. The secret realm fell silent. After some time, the fog began to spread out from the plain again. The antique mirror reappeared on the collapsed wall of the wizard tower. The glass reflected the surroundings, the broken walls, and the blue sky soon to be shrouded in mist. The reflection painted a drowsy, distorted world. Black fungi covered the earth like trees made of flesh and blood. Vague, human-shaped fungi attached themselves to the trees. Whispers echoed from the distant darkness. 8-legged shadows hid within, as if countless faces spied on everything. White cocoons hung in a deep underground cave. 2 had already cracked. One contained the peaceful, sleeping face of the extreme fire ancestral wizard, though the life had left him. The other held a handsome face, brow furrowed as if immersed in a nightmare. Suddenly, he opened his eyes. Golden lightning flashed, and wisps of electricity burned the white cocoon. He crawled out. He took a deep breath and carefully walked out of the cave. He moved through the forest of flesh and blood, looked at the sky, and saw a red and black curtain. The sky groaned with cracks, and indescribable monsters flew through the air. Through those fissures, he witnessed the rebirth and destruction of countless worlds. Then, a massive shape blocked his vision. A spider, large as a mountain, blocked the horizon. Its 8 legs stood like pillars supporting the sky, enveloping the surroundings. Its head and compound eyes, made of the faces of 8 women, stared directly at him. Endless oppression and suffocation crushed him. Even Lady Leo, a third circle wizard, felt insignificant. Welcome to the nightmare world, the massive spider hissed. Levi had set up a concealment array on a deserted island in the Star Sea. He brought the Rose Witch and Lady Whitewater out. He had many questions. It seemed the human-faced spider had found a way to invade the Nora plane, and he needed to prepare. Levi set the two witches down and administered potions. He then confirmed his gains from the trip. He sent his consciousness into the Greenfield Immortal House. Leon slept soundly. Its body had grown larger. The creature shared a link with the Deathfall and the Nightmare World. It might be the key to unlocking that realm. It acted as the nemesis of the Deathfall, just like Levi, as it fed directly on them. Chapter 798. Levi confirmed the insect control spell remained effective. He cast the dream entry spell one last time, planting a subconscious hint within the creature's mind. Only Leon, who listened to his master, was a good child. Those who did not listen would have to wander outside and starve. Leon feared starvation above all else. Levi retracted his consciousness. Without Leon, he might have required much more time to escape. He turned his attention to the heavenly fire meteorite iron. The metal sat before him. It was no illusion, a realization that brought him immense relief. The crimson netherworld sparrow remained too. Contracted by Levi's wizard tool, the bird lay listlessly in a corner, flanked by Raja and Leviathan. Levi summoned Kalam. The man had been cleaning the refuse of transcendent creatures inside Alice's ring. Upon appearing, Kalam offered a ready smile. "Senior, why are you looking for me? You said the extreme fire ancestral wizard entered the ancient ruins. Do you know which ones?" Levi asked. "I really do not know." "Why not ask Joanne? He is a ruin hunter, so he might know something," Kalam replied. "Did anything happen to the extreme fire ancestral wizard after he returned from the ruins?" Levi changed the topic. Kalam shook his head. "I did not sense anything abnormal. He always did research in the wizard tower alone, and never seemed to sleep or rest. Members like us rarely interacted with him, but he sold us many wizard tools found in the relic that seemed ancient." Kalam produced a holy grail-shaped wizard tool. This wizard tool can form a protective shield, but it is broken. It shattered when I accidentally barged into Senior's Blackfire Island. The extreme fire ancestral wizard was too deceitful. He clearly knew that it would not last long, yet he still sold it at the normal price of a functional wizard tool. Levi inspected the holy grail in Kalam's hand. It resembled an ordinary second circle wizard tool. Perhaps the extreme fire ancestral wizard had discovered it in the ancient ruins. Levi dismissed Kalam to return to his duties and summoned Joanne. He asked similar questions, but Joanne knew nothing. Although he was a ruin hunter, he had joined the organization late. By then, the extreme fire ancestral wizard had already returned from the ruins. Levi stopped wasting time. He tended to his needs and waited for the two witches to wake. 3 days passed. Lady Whitewater stirred first. She opened her eyes, her gaze frantic. "Sir Levi, run quickly. There is something strange about this secret realm." "Madam, we have already left the secret realm," Levi said. Lady Whitewater sat up, glancing around. "Have we left? Where is my husband, Lager Leo?" Levi recounted his experience, omitting specific details. "You are saying that we teamed up to defeat the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow in the Botanical Garden?" Lady Whitewater asked, her brow furrowed in confusion. "Did we not?" Levi asked, pausing to consider. Lady Whitewater shook her head. "As we walked, we realized you were missing. Rose wanted to look for you. My husband said not to bother. We had a dispute over this. Then, you returned very quickly, so we advanced together. On the way to the Botanical Garden, we got lost. Perhaps some kind of evil spirit played tricks on us. Then, we accidentally walked to a huge plain and saw a 5-story wizard tower. My husband suggested that we explore it. In the wizard tower, I saw the extreme fire ancestral wizard. He no longer recognized me. He controlled those strange evil spirits to attack us. We were not his match and were quickly captured. We realized then that we had been separated again. I lost consciousness. I had a dream. I dreamed of an extremely terrifying world. The sky there was dark, and a magma river hung upside down in the sky." Lady Whitewater curled up in shock. The dream felt so real. She feared that if she had not woken up, she might have been left in that place forever. Levi pondered her words. It seemed that after he was separated from Lady Whitewater and the others for the first time, the man-faced spider used an illusion to replicate him. The creature separated the real Levi from Rose and the others and brought them to the wizard tower on the plains. Levi, meanwhile, was drawn to the botanical garden by the illusion of Rose and the others, created by the man-faced spider, which interfered with his perception. He suspected that the illusion created by the man-faced spider lasted for a specific period. When it began to lose effectiveness, it started to repeat meaninglessly, much like a broken tape. From the beginning to the end, no cooperation occurred. Levi defeated the Crimson Netherworld Sparrow alone. Those conversations might have formed subconsciously within Levi, influenced by the illusion, much like a dream. In short, Levi and Rose were forced into two groups. The man-faced spider must have witnessed the power of Levi's death ember, understanding that the death falls under its control could not defeat him. It feared that Levi would derail its plans. This delay kept Levi in the botanical garden. Meanwhile, the spider tried to draw Rose and the others away through some other method. If Levi judged correctly, the ancient ruins that the extreme fire ancestral wizard had entered might have been a branch under the Dreamland steeple. It was very likely located here. The wizard might have taken the hallucinatory potion and entered the nightmare world of his own accord. Of course, judging from the white cocoon, he might have been dragged into the nightmare world by the man-faced spider. If the latter were true, the situation was truly terrifying. Chapter 799. Levi concluded that the extreme fire ancestral wizard had provided the medium for the man-faced spider to invade the secret realm. Without a medium, separated by two distant worlds, not even an illusion-type ability could bridge the gap. Not even legendary wizards and the 7 gods possessed that much power. The 7 gods had to send saints and angels to interfere with the main material plane. Later Leo, that unlucky fellow, had likely been pulled into the nightmare world. If Levi had not arrived in time to break the white cocoon, Rose and Lady Whitewater would have met the same fate. Are the man-faced spiders actually powerful nightmare creatures? In appearance and style, the man-faced spider resembled a creature from the nightmare world. Among the 6-dimensional breathing techniques, perception-type creatures appeared to be strange entities, such as the Great Nightmare, the Dream Dragon, or the Cloud Insect. My realm remains too low. I fell for the man-faced spider's trick. This creature matches my theory. It relies on illusions and the death fall to kill prey. Because the man-faced spider's main body resided in the nightmare world within the mirror, it was not physically present in the secret realm. Even if I faced it directly, it could not harm me. Of course, that resistance might also stem from the heavenly nightmare power within my body. The man-faced spider breathing technique holds only shallow quality, while the heavenly nightmare technique far exceeds it. The sky nightmare might also be a nightmare creature. The nightmare lizard and the dream dragon relate to nightmares as well. Levi watched the trembling creature he called the nightmare crown lizard within Alice's ring. I must continue cultivating the dream dragon breathing technique. If I intend to resist the nightmare creatures that might invade the wizard world, the perception-type breathing technique represents the key. Levi reached his decision. He would not retreat. He could not abandon the breathing technique. If he ran away from fear of nightmares, that damned man-faced spider would only toy with him further. If the opportunity arose, when Levi grew strong enough, he would visit the nightmare world personally. He would show these mysterious fellows the meaning of true fear and nightmares. Lady Whitewater woke. Shortly after, the rose witch stirred. "Are we out yet?" she asked, looking around the room. "That is right. Sir Levi saved us," Lady Whitewater said. She hugged her knees and curled up in a corner, her eyes gloomy. "Where is Lager Leo?" "He is missing." Levi and I analyzed the situation. "He might have entered an alternate plane. I have his soul lamp. He is still alive." A small lamp appeared in Lady Whitewater's hand. The candle flame inside burned quietly. "This is troublesome. The last time we entered the secret realm, it was not this terrifying. If I had known earlier, I would not have come." Rose touched her body. Her storage bags remained in place. "What should we do next?" Rose asked, looking at Lady Whitewater. "I do not know. I should tell Lager Leo's father about this. His father is a 5th circle wizard. There might be a way to resolve it," Lady Whitewater said. Her voice wavered with uncertainty. "That way you might die," Rose said. With Lager Leo's cautious and suspicious personality, he would not tell anyone, including his father, that he intended to explore the secret realm. "Now, you claim that you went to explore the secret realm with Lager Leo. You came out alive, and Lager Leo went missing. What would his father think? Even if he knew the truth, that you are innocent, and that Lager Leo was brought to the alternate plane by a monster, how likely is it that he would not blame you? Actually, I did not agree with you being with Lager Leo at first. You think it is a good thing to marry into a big family. In my opinion, this creates a restriction. You should know your place. The Letney family does not fancy you. To them, your master is a young and promising primordial soul wizard. You are just a tool for marriage." Lady Whitewater nodded, recognizing the truth in her words. "Lager Leo is missing. It is fine for a short period of time, but as time passes, the Letney family will definitely discover it. It is wartime now. It is normal to go out, get robbed by dark wizards, and disappear or die. You do not have to go back to the Letney family either. Find a place to hide and wait for Master to come back from her plane trip," Rose said. Levi listened to the conversation between the two women and wiped his frost morn. 2 disciples of the Letney family had entered the secret realm. The first had been dead for some time. He must have gone crazy from the torture of the illusion and committed suicide in the tree hole. To this day, the Letney family had not found his corpse. He doubted Lager Leo would return. In any case, Levi had gained much. He did not suffer a loss. "Sir Levi, let us sign a contract. No one should tell anyone about this secret realm." "This might be better for us," Rose said. "That is fine with me," Levi said. Lady Whitewater nodded. The 3 of them signed a confidentiality contract. Rose turned to Lady Whitewater. "Find a place to hide. Do not enter that secret realm again. Let it be buried deep at the bottom of the sea. When Master comes back, we will tell her about this matter. She has conducted research on that nightmare world." Chapter 800. Lady Whitewater nodded with a heavy heart, her eyes fixed on the floor. "I understand." Rose turned to face him, her expression earnest. "Thank you, Sir Levi, for saving me. I owe you a favor. I will work hard to repay you in the future." Levi waved a hand, his gaze distant. "I did it in passing. On the path of wizards, it is only right for us to help each other." The internal calculation remained hidden behind his calm demeanor. Had he not already appointed the Flower Knight as a future core member of the Twilight Knights, he might not have risked saving the 2 of them. With the help of these 2 witches, dealing with the Flower Knight in the future would be significantly easier. Rose gave a sharp nod. Her estimation of Levi climbed another rung. Lady Whitewater and Levi bid farewell on the island, and Levi returned to Nether Capital with Rose. Upon arrival, he made his way to the witch's family to submit the quest. The little witch, Kelly, bustled behind the counter, her hands full of parchment. Kelly, how many days ago was the last time I submitted a mission? I cannot remember clearly. The little witch glanced up from her work. Sir Levi, it was 7 days ago. Levi nodded, turned, and stepped back into the street, his mind deep in thought. Inside the rented wizard tower, Levi sealed the array. He inspected his body for any lingering marks. He needed to be certain the man-faced spider had not marked him. He then turned his attention to the crimson netherworld sparrow inside Alice's ring, and scanned the other transcendent creatures as well. Every item salvaged from the secret realm required scrutiny. Eventually, everything appeared normal. The tension in his chest eased. Before long, Levi used the bloodline essence of the nightmare crown lizard to brew a dream dragon potion. He sampled a small amount. His proficiency in the dream dragon breathing technique surged, far outpacing his normal cultivation. As expected, this is the nightmare lizard. It serves as a superior substitute. Levi exhaled, a profound sense of relief washing over him. Within this single secret realm, he had secured the two most difficult secret medicines, the undying bird and the dream dragon, in one go. Algerta, take care of the house. I plan on going into seclusion for some time. Remember to send the potions I made to the witch's family regularly. The frost wolf bowed. All right, master. Among Levi's for tribe, Algerta had entered the legendary night realm long ago. In her transformed state, her strength rivaled a senior first circle wizard. As for the other three for clans, so far, only Tiga had achieved the rank of legendary knight. The other two had failed. While the lifespan of fur clans was slightly shorter than humans, it remained strictly limited. Should they fail to reach legendary status before their time ran out, Levi could do nothing more. He had already provided every possible training advantage. For now, Levi held no intention of including the legendary knights of the fur clan in the Twilight Knights system. They remained his servants. Half a year passed in the blink of an eye. Levi's pharmacy, cultivation, and spiritual force steadily climbed in the Nether Capital. Meanwhile, his proficiency in the Death Ember breathing technique and the Dream Dragon breathing technique advanced by leaps and bounds. Additionally, Levi's maximum level 7 Thunderbird advanced to level 8 through the proficiency panel, following his construction of the spell model structure for the Thunder Snake technique. Levi, Thunder Snake technique, level 8. 1 over 100,000. The attack power of the level 8 Thunder Snake stood at 24 Ka, which was not yet perfection. Levi estimated the maximum level 9 would reach around 30 Ka. As he chanted, lightning sparked at his fingertips. Like a long snake, it burrowed into the void with a sharp crackle. The lightning faction is so cool. Levi could not help but praise the sensation. After collecting spells during this period, he had largely decided on the direction of his future innate spells. Of the 3 third circle innate spells, he planned to designate 1 for attack, 1 for defense, and 1 for control. For the attack slot, he leaned toward the burning faction or the lightning faction. The bronze school possessed too few spells, making combination inconvenient. He would synthesize defense and control separately. Levi's philosophy was that beyond functional utility, combat spells prioritized quality over quantity. At the third circle stage, he could create 3 top-grade innate spells and cultivate every one to the maximum level. That would suffice. He would have enough power to fight against ordinary fourth circle wizards. Upon reaching the third circle, even though wizards mastered many spells, they tended to rely on instantaneous, energy-saving, and powerful innate spells when battle erupted. Levi emerged from seclusion to refine a batch of potions for the witch's family. Furthermore, he intended to forge a suitable weapon with the heavenly fire meteorite metal. But first, he needed to meet the Rose Witch. He found her in a private room at a local tavern, where she had already ordered a drink. Levi slid into the seat opposite her. "What is wrong, Your Excellency Rose?" Levi asked. Rose stared into her cup. "Lager Leo is dead. The sole lamp he left in the family has been extinguished." Levi let out a long breath. Lager Leo was truly unlucky. Any news from Lady Whitewater? No, I do not know where she went either. She likely feels guilty toward Lager Leo. Lady Rose, you must have other matters to discuss with me, right? Rose nodded slowly. Yes, Sir Levi. In the past 6 months, I have had nightmares every time I sleep. It is very difficult for me to wake up on my own once the visions begin. Every time I dream, it is about that strange world with the crack in the sky, and that giant spider with 8 faces. To be continued. Hope you liked today's video. Join the community by subscribing and dropping a like. I'll be back with another update as soon as possible. See you then.